Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to LCK 2026. It's time for the AA broadcast. I'm Atlas. I'm joined by Orcs, and we are ready to dive in to two more best of threes here in the LCK for day 3 of week 6. And we're starting off with T1 taking on the DNS. You know what? These two teams have something in common.
Which is?
They both just lost to Life Esports.
That's true.
Yeah. And some would say the DN Supers didn't look that terrible in their loss, which is a positive. And finding those for a team that has strung together some of the most losses that we've seen sort of ever is pretty impressive.
It's better luck. That's the main thing. And obviously going up against a team like HLE, it's a big challenge.
Also, I do need to interrupt you because we're going to go off camera soon. These are the carnations for Parents' Day. It's my first Parents' Day, and my son didn't get me anything.
Wow.
I know. What the heck? We've been raising him for like 6 months.
How do you know he didn't get you these?
Like, I sacrificed all my sleep, 0 carnations.
These could have been from Chester.
No, they were from Zombie.
Oh, okay.
I watched him come over and put them in.
Maybe he was
can't trick me like that.
Maybe he was just delivering them.
On behalf.
Yes.
Ah, kids these days and their technology, being able to communicate across vast distances, very impressive. Okay, Chess is off the hook. Let's dive into the standings here and have a look at what this Parents' Day is going to hold for the League of Legends. T1 in 4th place here, looking to try and challenge GENG for that 3rd spot. And the DN Supers just desperate for any sort of victory, be it a game, be it a match, doesn't matter. They just want to find something positive to talk about in the team house, because right now, yeah, those 10 losses in a row, they have not been pretty. As you can see here, 2-0s the entire way through. That is a 20-game losing streak.
Yeah. It's been tough, especially since, you know, LCK Cup, they looked pretty solid.
Yeah.
And then they got that first win against KRX, and it's just been a struggle since then. Going into round 2, the thing is, the way the score carries over to the rest of the season, with the score carried into round 3 to 4, if you don't start getting wins now, you might just be screwed for the rest of the year.
Yeah, and we're having a look now at our supports and their assists. Lahen's just celebrated his 6,000th, but Life is looking to hit 4,000 here as well. Head up towards Gorilla here, who has, of course, retired for a very long time. And these other numbers are exceedingly large. Carrier Barrel, Kellen, and Delight certainly playing a whole bunch of games and getting a whole lot of assists. We all know which assists were the most important in that list of champions, though. And I guess I don't need to say it because it's obvious. It's Barrel. I didn't need to say it, though, but I did anyway.
You did anyway.
I just like saying his name. I got to say it twice there, and it was in context with the broadcast. Wasn't that fantastic?
You've been struggling this year in general.
I know. It's been so hard.
Your barrels per day is way down.
And honestly, it kind of makes me sad because he's just not here anymore. But the teams are going to make their way out. T1 taking on the DN Supers. DN Supers just wanting to get anything. Even if they look better in the laning phase, we're going to be like, congratulations, heck yeah, DNS, because T1 are looking better and better. Yes, they did lose to HLE, but they did manage to take a game off them as well. And other than that, they've been on a little bit of a tear here in the LCK after about halfway through round 1, where I think some of the circus ran its course.
Yeah, they're definitely looking in much better form right now and kind of ramping up, especially as we head towards the road to MSI. A lot of eye is on our top teams and who's going to be going there, especially since KT's dropped down a couple of pegs. GENG and T1, the teams who have been consistently attending MSI, have definitely started to ramp up in terms of form. So this is an uphill battle. This is definitely underdog against overdogs. But I think one aspect of it is we've obviously hit the new patch. We haven't seen a ton of experimenting. We've seen little bits. But maybe that's where you bring out a curveball that can help you get a bit of an upset. That's the thing. Coming into today, we have to go in with the context that with a 20-game loss streak for DNS, a game is a huge victory.
It is.
We'll take a game. In a matchup like this against one of the top teams in the league, a single game is a big win. A series is obviously phenomenal, but I think we just take it game by game and see what they can do. We know the players of DNS are capable of much higher highs than we have seen from them here in this season. Every single player on this roster has actually played at incredible levels over their career at different points. It's just a struggle right now. They're not coming together they currently seem like weaker than the sum of their parts, which is really unfortunate to say. But I'm hoping that if they can align, we can see some of the form that they showed recently against HLE.
Yep, and the other thing we need to talk about is this guy right now taking a bit of a reset because his birthday was yesterday. So happy birthday to Faker, or it was the day before, it was the 7th. What day is it today? Who am I? Yeah, it was yesterday. So happy birthday to Faker as well. Oftentimes in years past, it has been during MSI that we've been celebrating Faker's birthday, or at least leading up to MSI. And now the schedule has changed. He gets to have a birthday back at home, and so do I, which is very fun. And Bull would too if he wasn't in Brazil.
Oh, well, he gets to have one in Brazil with his friends and fans. But yeah, Faker's 30th, which is pretty huge.
Yeah. Just shows that those of us who blame our age for crappy mechanics don't really have much of a leg to stand on. Don't look at me like that, Ox. Stop looking at me like that. I'm happy just to play ARPGs that don't require any sort of mechanical prowess whatsoever and just get better items, okay? That's what I'd prefer to do.
But also just crazy. Obviously, in esports in general, it does trend towards younger players, and 30 a big milestone.
I do think as well that we have seen the stigma shift away a little bit. As Faker gets older, it feels like the limit for how long you can keep playing and how old you can be when you start playing has just risen and risen and risen over time.
I mean, think how different the league's going to be when Faker is 70 years old.
I know!
You just have a bunch of...
It's going to be StarCraft 2, man, or StarCraft 1, for example, where you've got the same matchups of like Flash taking on Jaedong and things like this. Those guys are like, they've got to be pensioners by now. They've been playing this game for like 30-odd years, and they still seem pretty phenomenally good at it.
ที่วัน Blue Side ครับ ส่วน DNS ได้ second pick ครับ
some hope here, and we'll see whether everybody else can take some inspiration from Faker as well and his longevity here in the sport. Let's do it. Let's get into the draft for game number 1 of T1 versus DN Supers. Second pick has been chosen here for DNS, so we just have the regular blue side, red side, first pick on blue, having a good time.
Yeah, we're seeing more and more of this Jarvan ban come through. There was a period where it kind of transitioned to Jarvan is now the new first pick, and now it's kind of moved more into that ban pool.
Yeah.
We still kind of have the big four, and then stuff like Jarvan and Bard are very commonly the extra bans, especially, I mean, against Carrier. We did get that...
Yeah, we saw the experimentation, didn't we?
Yeah, we got like the...
โอ้แบนบาทแล้วว่า ไม่เหมือน EWC อ่ะไม่อยากไปลองของ
That was road to EWC, their matchup against Bro, right?
Yeah.
Where the Bros were just like, you know what? We haven't seen this for a while. Let's see whether the hands are still good.
Still
As
very
it turns
good.
out, still good, yeah.
Yeah, so presumably Orianna, so big four bans, and then Jarvan, Bard coming through. First pick, something we've seen honestly rising in priority surprisingly has been the Rise, which we saw kind of fall off.
The rise of Rise?
Yeah, we saw it fall off when people were countering with the likes of Anivia and Cassiopeia, and then we saw Rise back up again.
เฮ้ยมีเซราฟีนว่ะแต่ว่าเขาคงแบบว่าเอาซิกเล่นกับไปปะคือโยนเลนได้แล้วเอาไปเดินเกมถ้าเลือกเซราฟีนมาตรงนี้โดนไปตรงพิก3แน่เลย
Ziggs Pike, we've seen Mel Pike. You could also go for some like Nautilus. But what you have so far is you have a Vi who has a point and click lockdown, and a Ziggs who can press ultimate on the head. So the plan very much in team fights and potentially before
ชิงเฉาของโอนเนอร์ครับผม
this potential Ashe Seraphine.
ขออนุญาตปิด alert ฮะ
You won't have the choice to not specifically go for the Seraphine here if they want some more protection.
Okay.
Specifically for the Ashe, they could go for like the Lulu in this situation, or even just for a melee support. Right, and peel.
เซราฟีนหรือเปล่าถ้าไม่เลือกก็โดนแบนแต่ถ้าเลือกก็คือโดนไป
I wouldn't be surprised if they did just go for that.
แล้วเขาเอาซิกมาอย่างเงี้ยคือ 100%
They're faced with this really hard dive from DN Supers.
Yeah, it does feel like the blind Ashe has become a lot more comfortable with the fact that the Lulu has found some success and other things.
แล้วกดโยนนี้โอเคมีโอกาสได้แบนไปว่ะ
champions, man. They are not giving us time to talk about it.
So they go full on. We are going to explode these backlines.
พี่ว่าดับดีเนี่ยไม่โดนไปเว้ย
They still go for the Seraphine. They deliberated, and even though it means you have two kind of potentially vulnerable targets, rather than one protect the other, they still commit to that.
แบนนอตพี่ว่าแบนไปตัว
which would be a bit of a frustrating lane for the Yoni and then Aurora as well.
แต่นี่คือแบนตัวไลฟ์หมดเลยนะ
Nautilus ban, probably Pike next. I could imagine.
นั่งแบนไปเว้ยไปนี่คือตัวการเลย ไม่งั้นมันจะปล่อยซิกไว้แล้วมันจะเอาไปเดินกับวายอ่ะ
Yeah, I think the Aurora ban is kind of interesting. Faker really has been struggling on that champion. I don't think it was.
ข้างบนอาจจะเจอเป็น AD ท็อปนะเนี่ย
Yeah, I think even though Faker's been struggling on it, I think the approach from DN Supers was.
แบนไปอ่ะโอเค
a tough lane for Yone. I just kind of remove these mid lane mages who have a ton of harass.
Yep.
A bit frustrating to play into.
เลือกโยนเนี่ยตรงนี้มัน
Also with it being
ไม่
the
เวิร์ก
Yone,
พี่ว่าถ้าเขาถ้า DN Super เลือกไปเมื่อกี้นั่น
situation. So you have a bit of protection against
มัน
that.
เลย
Now the DN Super is probably just going to be support coming in here for life. Obviously, it's going to be a tough lane if you end up going for a melee.
ลูเหรอเอาคามิวอ่ะ Oh my god.
With a Camille, technically a flex, but probably going to be the support Camille.
คามิวเทคว่ะ
Yeah, and
ไลฟ์เล่นคามิวซัพพอร์ตครับ
we talk
เอ้ย
about this all the time.
คามิวยังเฟรกอยู่นี่ว่า
He was the guy that played John
เราไปมองว่ามัน
support,
เป็นซัพพอร์ต
the guy
แล้วไงตอนเนี้ย
that really was phenomenal at
อุ๊ย
set
อา
support.
ลีเหรอ
Kept playing it. It wasn't
เจอทั้ง
being
วายทั้งคามิว
like it
นะ
was a
เฟเกอ
spark
ร์
of this set support thing that was
แต่
just
ว่าซื้อนาฬิ
happening
กา
all
ไง
the time. But he was the guy that started it, and he kept
จริง
playing it
ไอ้
and kept winning with it as well. And the Camille sort of
คามิว
similar to that
อะไรอย่างเงี้ยถ้า
flavor.
เกิดอาลี
We've
เป็นแบบ
already seen
ถ้าใน
KRX
L มันมี
have a
อูเซปเตอ
phenomenal
ร์นะ
performance on the Camille
อาลี
support.
แม่งจะแบบว่าโคตรชิวอะ
Series
โดนจับ
already
ว่า
with
อูเซปเตอร์
DNS.
ขึ้นไป
As the Ari is going to be the lock-in for Faker alongside the Jace for Doran. And wow, this would be one
โอ
hell
เค
of
ต
a
รงนี้
1-3-1
มีไซออนปะ
composition.
แต่ไซออนมัน
If they just throw down a Yorick or something like that.
Yeah, a lot of side lane pressure achieved.
เอดูเล่นอะไร
The
อ่ะ
Ari makes sense because it has that mobility to
ยอริก
disengage
แต่มันเป็น
from the engage
AD
of,
โอ้โห AD เยอะมาก
supers to dodge away from some of
AP
these
ไม่มีเลยเหร
tools.
อ่ะ
The Jace though,
ต้องเกวนปะ
a little bit
เอา
unsure
เต้เป็น
about
แทง
here.
แล้วกัน
They go for the Cassante, who can kind of contribute in terms of this dive-focused composition of DN Supers, and that is very much what they have
เขาเหมือนจะชื่นชอบในดับตัวเองครับ ถึงก็ใส่แบบใส่หัวแบบว่าขึ้นลงแบบวันนี้เราดับดีนะเนี่ย ผมว่าดับดีนะครับวันนี้
I feel like the Jace is going to be quite a fragile option to pursue for this composition of the DN Supers.
Yeah.
จริงๆพิกสามเมื่อกี้ตรงโยเนะมันแต่เข้าใจว่าโยเนะแบบในคอมของแอสเซลฟีนมันน่าจะมันอยู่มันหาจังหวะแบบแค่อันติโดนมันน่าจะแบบวึ่มแล้วเฟเกอร์ครับได้กลับมาเล่นอาลีอีกครั้งครับผมหลังจากห่างหายไปนานไม่มีแล้วนะออโรราเดี๋ยวมาดูว่านี้จะมีออโรราไหมแต่ว่าเหมือนจะไม่มีแล้ว
I actually think that you can fall behind a little bit as long as you can coax T1 into those circus skirmishes throughout the mid game, because the collapse from DNS is just kind of absurd at that point in time. So we'll just have to see whether they can make it there. But do you know what to me was the most impressive thing? The confidence and the speed in which DNS locked in all these champions. This seems to be a very well-practiced composition that they put together here. Let's see whether it works just as well on stage as it may in practice. As we're not going to find out just yet, as we're just going to take a little bit of time as we make our way in. There it is.
แต่ไม่เข้าใจดับมันจริงไม่เข้าใจดับเดียนซูเปอร์ถ้าจะเอาโยเนะทำไมไม่เอาเซจูนี่งงเขาคงกลัวแอดวายมากหรอมั้งคือวายเปิดแล้วก็แอชแอโร่ตามมันเลยกลายเป็นดับแบบงงนิดหน่อยนะโอ้ยขออนุญาตเปิดแอดแป๊บหนึ่งนะครับผม2 นาทีครับสำหรับใครที่ไม่ได้ซับสไครต์ก็นิดนึงฮะ
But this very different story here today. See whether they can use some of that energy to come up with a victory here for the first time.
อายุ30แล้วอุ้ยโอเนอร์จะเข้ามาตรงนี้ครับแล้วจะดักไลฟ์เหรอครับเจอครับอ้าวเฮ้ยไม่ดีเท่าไหร่ครับโอเนอร์เข้าไปเวทอินเวทโอ้ my god
He's going to have to flash immediately. Gets to the wall. Does have KRX moving their way up, but Doktam's here as well. And we are just 3v3ing over a blue buff already.
มั่นใจได้เลยว่าแอสเซลฟีนโหดกว่าแน่นอน
But also, it does mean that Doktam will get to clear this wave. And I think managed to get experience. So it does have an experience advantage.
มีวอร์ด
As Life just grabs himself his little shield with the passive.
เสียเวฟไปครับข้างล่างแบบไม่ได้มองเลยแต่แรกกับได้บูบลับครับแล้วก็ทำให้วายต้องไปจบบนแบบแค่5หลุมอันนี้มันเป็นสูตรแก้ว่ะมันเป็นสูตรแก้คือเขาคิดว่าวายน่าจะเริ่มบนจบล่างแม่งวายเริ่มล่างจบบนงงเหมือนกันก็เลยเอาเซเลฟินกับแอชมาช่วยไม่งั้นถ้าเกิดไม่ช่วยเมื่อกี้โอเนอร์จะเสียป่าตัวเองไปหมดเลยเพราะว่าต้องเดินถอยแล้วเดินไปฟาร์มเนี้ยอย่างไกลอ่ะแล้วเดี๋ยวเขาอาจจะเดินมาอินเวดอะไรอย่างงี้ได้อีกโอเนอร์เสมอแล้วว่ะโอ้โห2 หลุมครับผมกลับมาเอาแรปได้บลูกลับมาเอาแรปเตอร์แล้วไปแรปเตอร์ฝั่งตรงข้ามกลับมาเอาบลูต่อแล้วเมื่อกี้ได้แรปเตอร์ด้วยเพียวซิกตอนนี้อาการไม่ดีแล้วครับผมเหลือแค่2 หลุมครับยังไงก็จบเวล 4ไม่ได้ถ้าไม่ได้ปู2 ตัวหรือได้ต้องเอาเลสไม่ว่ะไปล่างเลยปล่อยเลสแม่งแล้วกันไปล่างแล้วอาจจะไปต่อยล่างดีกว่าIt's
not a great state of affairs here for the DN Supers. It might be light at the end of the tunnel though.
I mean, with all these matchups, they are matchups
และจะมาเวทคืนครับผมเปียวซิก
It's just the fact that it's all 3 of them at the same time is what makes
โอ้ได้2 หลุมคืนนะนี้เช็คแล้วครับว่าโอเนอร์ไม่มีเลนบัฟครับก็เดินอ้อมมา
They also have triple TP which helps out we do see here Pioshik crossing over to steal away a camp and Life pushes in to provide some vision
ไม่แล้วว่ะ
notice they
เอา
don't
แค่หลุมนึงครับโอ้โหแม่งดีเทลลิ่งการเล่นป่าแม่งเหนื่อยเนาะดูดิคือต้องแบบเซเลฟีนมันวาร์ปกลับนะไม่ได้นะได้แค่นี้นะได้แค่ตัวโกเลมนะอันนี้จะโดนเวทตีนั่นปะสมัยแย่งปะโอเนอร์โดนสมัยแล้วก็โดนเข้า2 ตัวครับผมเนอร์โดนแล้วฮะโดนแรปเตอร์กลับอีกต่างหากเลดก็ไม่ได้เชียร์แล้วเพียวซิกฉลาดมากเลยว่ะช็อตนี้
that he already had vision of. Man, it was pretty premeditated.
ปักหวาดไว้เรียบร้อยแล้วเซเลฟินเดินมาเมื่อกี้ไม่ได้สแกนด้วยOh my god so bad อ่ะอันนี้โอเนอร์แล้วเดินผ่านวาดอีกแล้วโอเนอร์โอ้โหนี่มันสงครามแล้วกลายเป็นว่าเพียวซิกเวล 4แล้วนะ
Yeah, Pioshik actually is going to be heading away from him though.
และเพียวซิกเหมือนกำลังจะเดินอ้อมไปเอาเฟเกอร์ครับซึ่งเฟเกอร์เหมือนจะต้องเดินมาช่วยไงอุ้ยแล้วปักหวาดไม่เจอเฮ้ยเจอแล้วชิปหายแล้วเพียวซิกคาแน่นอนมีแฟดปะแฟดมีแล้วไม่แฟดแล้วเนาะ0-2 แล้วผมแล้วเคตันเต้แม่งซื้อโดรานเฮมด้วยเป็นของที่เหมาะเคตันเต้ดีเนาะการเลนก็เหมาะนะเว้ยไอโดรานเฮมอะคือการเลนมันรีเจนเร็วใช่ป่ะพอมันได้โดรานเฮมมันเก่งขึ้นเลยคือโดรานเฮมมันจะไม่มีบวกรีเจนแต่ว่ามันจะมีเกาะกับกันเวทให้เกาะ10เลยนะเว้ย
Yeah, and this spills over to the rest of the map, right? If your jungler falls behind and you have all these
ตามหลังอยู่เยอะครับ
pushing lanes, it makes it so much more dangerous. Yeah. Because now wherever Pioshik goes, he's halfway towards level 6. He will be able to get kills. You can see already Closer has completely closed the gap, no pun intended. You've got Dudu behind 500 gold still, but
ได้บวกก่อนไงคือมันมีวาดเห็นโอเนอร์ครับโอเนอร์เดินเข้าไปอินเวดมันรู้หมดแล้วเพียวซิกก็ฉลาดครับ ปล่อยให้โอเนอร์เวทไปแล้วก็มาอยู่ในพุ่มรอโอเนอร์เข้ามาเช็ค
Yeah, I mean, you think of the state of the game now. K'Sante has picked up a ton of armor into this matchup into the Jace. The Yone has the Vam Scepter for some sustain, and now has the ult to threaten if Faker steps up a bit too close. That also applies to K'Sante. Now you have ult, Jace has to respect that and can't just recklessly harass you without respecting the fact that you can just kill him. And then the bot lane as well. Ziggs getting more points in his queue and some mana behind it makes a big difference.
เจอแล้ววะ
That early saw point, honestly, it's not like the lanes.
มันนำแล้วเปิดมังกรเลยว่ะชิวจัดเอาไลฟ์มาช่วย
It's a lot more sustainable now for DNS.
ตอนนี้กำลังจะโดนเลสอีกรอบเลยครับโอ้
Moving
my
with
god
Piochik aggressively. Piochik having the ult
ต้องหนีไปก่อน
available
ครับโอเนอร์
means that it is such a big
ตามอยู่
threat.
ครึ่งหลอดเลเว
The
ล
ult from Vi combined with the
จะไป
stun
เวท
from
แรปเตอร์อีก
Camille
แล้ว
and the ignite means if anyone gets caught
สแกนแม่งเลยแล้วกัน
dead.
Yeah. You can see Ona making sure that he does clear out.
พี่เลยรู้สึกว่าป่าตอนนี้ถ้ามีซิกเซนน่ะแม่งดีมากเลยเว้ย
And they're both moving over. Life and Piochik are running here.
มันมาแล้ว
Really careful. He
เนอร์
does
หนีเร็วเหลือไปตัวหนึ่ง
get away, but the timing was tight.
Yeah, Hawkshot did spot them on
แต่ว่าอ
Dragon.
ย่างตัว ชินเฉา
Sure
มัน
that
อาจ
he
จะ
knows that he is gonna be all right.
อาจจะไม่เหมาะเท่าไหร่
Closer is just gonna separate his soul
ที่จริงก็เล่นได้นะ
momentarily.
จริง
Doran is
เล่น
gonna have
ดีเลน
flash,
เลส
and
แบบ
he does
เพิ่ม
so
มูลสปีด
immediately.
แล้วก็
It's a good flash
ซิกเซน
anytime.
ได้
Yeah, it certainly is.
You were just very dead if you overstayed. The problem is now though he's not in a position where he can really walk.
แต่รุ่นนี้มันเก่งกว่าอยู่แล้วคอสมิกกับ
Does
ตัว
Ona move over and help him when he's already behind?
อ๋อ
I just wanna
ไม่เป็นไรครับได้หวาดฟรีด้วย
point something out to you, Ox.
เซเลฟินมาเดินช่วยแล้วครับตรงนี้ต้องมาด่วนนะ
Perfect game pace.
ก็เดินกันแล้วครับเป็นเลนล่าง 1-1 แล้วก็
Can't dispute it.
Yep. See?
แต่ว่าเหมือนจะต้องดันกลางเพื่อเอาเฟเกอร์มาช่วยไม่งั้นไม่ไหว
They might be a bit silly.
แล้วปล่อย
It's
กราฟ
still true.
They do open most games.
โดรานไม่พร้อมครับ
In fact, I'd say all games.
โอเคสวยนะ อันนี้ไม่คือไม่ฝืนเล่น
Both teams are on perfect game pace. That's pretty impressive.
Wow, that's crazy.
คนเนื้อตัวนี้ก็ฟาร์มยับแล้ว
This time
ขึ้นไท
around,
ทานิกเลยปะล่ะ
they're also going to get the
ไหนๆก็ได้ไหน
grubs,
ละ
so we won't even need to debate whether the grubs are part of the perfect game conversation. All that thing.
Yeah, we don't have to have that discussion that I'm sure people still enjoy and not sick of.
All right, Dudu and Doran just
โอ้โห
facing off.
เคซันเต้แม่งมีโดรานเฮมแม่ง
Control in this lane, though.
แล้วรองเท้าเพจแล้วเชนเวส
Feel pretty phenomenal.
เนี่ยเกาะแม่งแบบว่าคลั่งจัดอะเกาะแม่งคลั่งจัดอะคลั่งจนโดรานซื้อเดิร์ทมาก็ไม่มีประโยชน์อะ
Felt a little bit better into more of these tanky matchups.
ต้องฟาร์มว่ะ
Makes you a bit bulkier, which
ต้อง
I
รีบ
think
ขึ้น
into this
แบ็ค
DNS
เลเวอร์แหละ
competition
พี่คิดว่า
goes a long
แบ็คเลเวอร์
way.
ชิ้นแรก
You are. It's either you, Pays, or Carrier. I feel like are the main targets
อ๋อ
generally.
Oh, nice little cue back there as Dudu.
นี่
Just
ไง
bringing out the Dusante to bear. Looking pretty good. It's closer. Closer going somewhat aggressive towards Faker here.
ก็แพท 26.9 แล้วอัน
And
นี้
he also got that first dragon. Got the dragon, got the grubs.
อันนี้ทีม 1-10 นะเผื่อใครแบบว่าสงสัยว่านี่มันท็อปตารางหรือเปล่า 1-10 นะคุณผู้ชมอุ้ยอันนี้เซเลฟินอันติสวยโอ้เนอร์มาแล้วเปิดแบบนี้เหรอเปิดใส่แอสเซเลฟิน
A bit of a heavy force
ก็คอมโบกันเต็มที่แล้วครับแต่ว่าดาเมจมันขาดนะ
available. They think he's an easy
เพราะว่ามีทั้งบาเรียมีทั้งฮิลแล้วเซเลฟินอันติขัดได้
ult available. They also didn't have the ult
ก็คงต้อง
life and
ต้องเปิด
just
โดยไม่
feel
ใช้
like
แฟดแล้วแฟด
didn't
หลบ
quite
อัน
have
ติ
the
เซเลฟิน
damage to kill Pays here. A big factor is Piochik
แต่ว่ามัน
uses his Q over the wall, so it doesn't have that cooldown immediately available.
ไม่มีภาพเลย
The ult from Carrier is phenomenal.
คือ
And again,
ไลฟ์ต้องมีเลเวล 6 อ่ะ ต้อง
ult to
มีอัน
follow
ติ
up
ก่อน
is so much damage lost onto Pays. I still think the fight might look a little bit
เป็นการคำนวณ
rough
ดาเมจ
because
ที่ผิดพลาด
Ona's
อย่าง
there to
มหันตภัยร้ายเลย
But at least if you had Doc Dam's ultimate, Pays would have died, and then you take one of the threats out and can hopefully readjust from there. But
อ๋อซิกไม่มีอันติเหรอ
very quick to respond in that situation.
โอ้ตะกี้ซิกไม่ได้อัน
And
ติ
not
นะ
only do you get a decent amount of gold for Pays,
ก็เลยขาดดาเมจ
but you're also getting Ona back into the game. He's now even with Piochik. Well, about 100 gold.
ไข่กลับมาเท่ากันแล้วครับ
close to
ไข่
what it was before.
ป่า 7 เท่ากันแล้ว หลังจากที่เพียวซิกเนี่ยออกนำโอเนอร์ไปโอเนอร์กลับมาเงนตามเพียวซิกแค่100 เดียวตัวนี้เท่ากันแล้วนะสูสีแล้วแถมได้เป็นซันเดอร์ก่อนด้วย
And so there it goes. It was
เฮ้ย
really
ข้างบ
nice
น
to
ครับ
be able to talk
จะไปแก๊ง
positively about the way
โด
DNS
ราน
were playing out the mid
กลับไปเอาซันเดอร์ก่อนเนี่ย
That was really a great moment that I think all of us will cherish for many years to come.
แล้วแบ็คเลเวอร์มาจริงอะมาละคอน
But
maybe not years.
คอนวิ่งเร็ว
I hope not years.
I hope we don't need to look back on this as the good days.
When we're talking like, oh, so it's about to be 45 games in a row that they've lost. Do you remember when it was 20 and then they almost managed to win an early game? I hope that conversation isn't necessary, as DNS definitely nowhere near out of it, as this composition is only going to get better.
ทีมหัวตารางตีกันหรือเปล่าทำไมตึง
But they do need to be able to get their ducks in a row and make these skirmishes work. And Pioshik needs to avoid sort of hard forcing as much as he has been.
So,
okay. Pioshik is hit by everything and just one breaks out of there. Should be all right. There's now Doctor moving on over. It is going to be the Gromp secured there by Owner though, as he does get satcheled back. Fair bit of damage here from the Ziggs.
Yeah, good disengage there from Pioshik. You can see T1 leveraging the power of this Ash just to set up picks, but
โดราก็ยังฟาร์มได้เรื่อยๆเนาะแบบลุนเขียวด้วย
But we'll give them enough space to put pressure on this dragon
เพสเสร็จภารกิจเรียบร้อย
that and get their first neutral objective of the game. You see Doctor trying to get some poke down.
Yeah, minefield is something they're going to have to walk through here, as Oni either gets hit by that bouncing bomb, as Closer is underneath the enemy turret, as Orcs, come on, man. What was it last time we were casting together? We had 3 in a row.
Yeah, it was pretty.
โดนฆ่าหรือเปล่าตัวเองไม่น่ามีโอ้ตีทิ้งแล้วก็ว้าวโจลานแม่นมันวัดแค่ตรงนี้เลยเว้ยเจสกับเคซันเต้วัดก็ตรงที่ตีทิ้งได้หรือเปล่าตีทิ้งแล้วแบบมันกด W กันได้หรือเปล่า
And I feel like the Dusante is biding his time.
โดรานทำเรื่อยๆครับ
This could be a
2
big
สแต็กเสร็จแล้ว
game.
รับมินเนี่ยนดีมากโดราน
Now get the level 6 from life. He was really behind the XP because he was
เสร็จเรียบร้อยครับ
just letting Doctor
ได้เงิน
solo lane for a good amount of time. Has finally soaked
จะมาเล่น
enough to get
เฮอ
level
โร่
6
กันเหร
and
อ
that ultimate being available is a big tool for setting up plays. We're seeing Pays actually going for the Kraken Slayer on Ash. We've seen pretty much everyone moving over to the Hex Optics Phantom Dancer.
มาแล้วครับผมเหมือนจะสู้เฮอโร่นะครับทีวันเอาแอชมาล่างเรียบร้อยเอาเฟเกอร์ไปบนเอาโดรานไปล่างครับสลับเลนเรียบร้อยโดรานมี TP มาคอนโทรลไซส์ครับแต่ว่า DNS ก็จะเอาเหมือนกันนะเฮ้ยเฟเกอร์โอ้โหOh my god ทอมทำไมมึงไม่ดับแบบนี้ทำไมมึงไม่ดับเฟเกอร์และนาลีบ้างแล้วชามโดนอีกแล้วว่าต้องหนีอ่ะ
As Pays was guessing that disengage was going to land. At least we do have Doctor able to clear out the minion wave, so this top outer turret will stay alive for now.
Seeing the pressure just mounting up here and Faker with a
พอปู่ได้จับข้อมือก็ได้บัฟอ่ะครับ
And Life feel the pain of being a level 6 Camille when there's a level 11 Ari who just does not need to
ไปจับมือสาวมา
explode you in this situation. We've seen Camille's
ว่าทำไมเคเลียทำหน้ามุ้ยตอนเดินเข้ามาอ๋อ
But when you're level 6 and you know there's a level 12 Jace in the game
พอเฟเกอร์แบบพอหลังจากจบถ่ายโฆษณาก็แบบก็ส่งรูปแล้วก็พิมพ์ 55XD ใส่เคเลียครับรัวๆเคเลียก็เลยไม่ค่อยพอใจเท่าไหร่
Yeah, and you're kind of hoping that your team explodes your target before they explode you. It has allowed them to put a ton of XP on a Doctor who's now level 11, but life does feel
แต่ว่าใช้ไปเยอะอยู่อะโดรานแฟงด้านหลังว่ะเหลือเลือด 4,000ลิฟต์ยังไม่ได้ครับแต่เหมือนจะได้ดอกดำหรือเปล่าโอ้แล้วแฟดหลบโดราน 1-3 โอ้แล้วดอกดำเจอเฟเกอร์ไล่แบบนี้ตายแน่นอนดูแฟดติดโอ้ my god ดูวันนี้ดูแบบหมดเหี้ยดูแฟดติดและแอโร่มาและชามต่อได้ไหมชามซีมานี่ไม่ไหวว่าโอ้มันใกล้ป้อมเกินครับดูเป็นแบบว่า
From about 10 minutes onwards, T1 in full control.
เฮ้ยเนอะโอ้โหเอาคืนนะผมเนอะบอกนี่ไงฆ่าผมไว้เหรอ เนื้อแบบว่าเอาสุดเอาจัดอะเมื่อกี้แฟดตามเบลซิกอะเอาคืนครับโดรานคือสวยมากเลยคอมโบติดแบบเสร็จเลยแล้วแฟดหลบคิวของโยเนะต้องมีเฟเกอร์ไปตามเก็บโดนแล้วดูเนี่ยจะพยายามไปช่วยครับผมแฟดติดนิดนึงโดรานดูแบบฝีมือดูเข้มเกิดอะไรขึ้นวะ
out the window. Yeah.
รีคลีนนะครับพี่เฟกอาลีใช่ครับ
Okay, so I was talking a little bit about the level 6 Camille and the concerns.
Yeah.
เขาชื่ออะไรนะคนนั้นนะผู้หญิงเขาชื่ออะไรนะแชท
And everyone else on T1 has not only leveled up but bought items since then. Also, notice Life nearly had the Sun
ที่เฟเกอร์ไปจับข้อมือ
before last fight.
คาริน่าเหรอ
Still.
อ๋อคือคาริน่าจะบอกว่าเฟเกอร์เล่นอาลีให้ดูหน่อยได้ไหมรอบหน้าเฟเกอร์ก็เลยแบบเอาใจก็เลยเล่นอาลีครับอันนี้คือพูดมั่วหมดนะอันนี้คือไม่ต้องสนเลยว่ามันเรื่องจริงเรื่องเล่นนะก็คือมันไม่มีภาพเป็นเรื่องจริงอยู่แล้วก็มั่วหมดอยู่แล้ว
immediately afterwards, so that then he cannot be a liability, allowing Faker to make a few extra plays. As Dudu is almost dead.
จะเล่นโชว์เหรอคาริน่าโอ้โหเกือบตาย
for the angle, and there it is, finds the cue, solo bowler onto Faker and gets the shutdown as well.
Faker chunks out Dudu, thinks I have a kill opportunity if I ult, but the minions blocking his skill shots, not allowing him to land the charm, sets up Dudu to turn the play around and get a pretty sizable shutdown on the K'Sante.
Honestly, the Dusante
คือเพราะว่ามันทำร้ายจิตใจเฟเกอร์ยังไงการที่ฆ่า3-0อ่ะมันแบบว่ามากันแบบเหมือนแบบเฮ้ยเรื่องอายุด้วยไงเฟเกอร์ก็เลยทั้ง 3-1 ดีกว่าจะได้ไม่เป็นการล้อแบบเรื่องอายุด้วยแต่กี้ 3-0 อยู่ก็เลยเป็น 3-1 ดีกว่ามันสำคัญนะเรื่องพวกนี้
Yeah, so I think a big factor was the minions blocking the skill shots from coming through, and then just the
800 gold, not bad.
Yeah.
Faker not too happy about that one. Yeah, he said his combo messed up, but also I think Dudu played that pretty exceptionally well.
นี่มันเต้จริงๆไม่ต่างว่าอะไรหรอวะเพราะว่าไอเทมใหม่ที่ทางไลออดเพิ่มขึ้นมาครับตัวนี้นี่บวก10 Magic Resistance ทั้งตัวแม่งไม่มีอะไรที่เป็น Magic Resistance เลยมีแค่ไอชิ้นใหม่ที่แบบโดรานเทม10 Magic Resistance ทำให้มันรอดไปแก
the difference between Pays living or dying if the K'Sante gets into that backline. So, could be important, could also not mean too much at all. As T1 did manage to grab the first Chemtech Dragon. The next one is going to be up in 3 minutes' time. Shadow Flame done for Faker as he does complete item number 2. And Closer not very close to that second item. This Ari is still very, very strong. Phantom Dancer done for Pays at the same time as he throws out an arrow in celebration. Sort of like fireworks, ladies and gentlemen. But it doesn't really do a whole lot of everything.
อังตีใส่โดรานเลยว่าไลฟ์โอเนอร์แฝดเข้าไปฆ่าไลฟ์ก่อนไม่ไหวแบบดิวไปโดนโคเซอร์เฉยเลยโคเซอร์หนีได้ปะไม่ได้ด้วยเฟเกอร์ตามผมรอบนี้โอ้โหแล้ว4ตัวแบบเน้นๆครับผม
Target goes in, they kill him, they move forward, the Ari resets, so powerful. The encore as well from the Seraphim, they're all funneling in. I was concerned about the Seraphim into this dive threat, but when you're this far ahead, it's very effective. And you see they jump on a Doran, the ult from the Ziggs does seemingly no damage. And Doran, barely under half HP. They can turn the play around, move forward, and just clean everyone up. Dr.
ชามไปโดนแบบโยนนี้ด้วยไง
Very safe, but just unable really to contribute much other than the drew down. Now Purshik's trying to get in the pit for a steal.
Yeah, he's done this before. And T1 certainly remember, but they are making sure they're keeping the lights off as there is the poop over.
Oh my god แม่งปักหวาดไม่หยุดเลยปักคอนโทรลแบบปักคอนโทรลปักฟาไซส์จะเข้ามาแย่งแต่ว่าทีวันไม่เสียครับช็อตนี้ได้บารอนแล้วเฟเกอร์ชาโดว์เฟรมกับ6ดาร์คซิลสแต็กโดลานี่เจอเคาน์เตอร์พิกแต่ว่าขึ้นเป็นสวิตเน็ตก่อนแล้วฟาร์มยับเลยครับแล้วก็ชิวๆว่ะเล่นเจสเจอเคซันเต้ก็สวิตเน็ตแล้วก็ฟาร์มไปเนาะเต้มันก็มันขึ้นในการเล็ดได้แบบไม่ได้เร็วเท่าไหร่หรอกแต่เต้มันก็ได้ฟาร์มไปเรื่อยไง
Doran jumps out, knocks the Vi, and that's the timing for the smite. Just really well coordinated from T1 in this situation to give 0 outs.
ตะกี้โดนแฟดไป E เหรอ
Now it's 7,200 gold.
Wow.
It feels like a million years ago that we were talking about DNS and how well they were doing at the earlier stages. 50 seconds until Soul Point is available here for T1.
ท่านโดทำให้ทุกอย่างจริง
Not feeling like it's all that valuable. But if they do get a Chemtech Soul, and I know I like to tease you for causing all of these Chemtech Souls, but pretty high value for T1, not gonna lie. Even Faker has like healing in his kit, but it's mainly Carrier who will be able to heal them up very, very well. Owner goes in, gets the Crescent Guard, goes down to about 50%, and then is an absolute raid boss. Certainly going to be a scary thing. Charm connecting onto Dudu here.
They're just losing towers here. We have the Yone TPing back, not on a flank angle, just there to potentially engage from the front.
Moral support is what it felt like.
Yeah.
Don't worry, guys. I am here to help.
Dragon up in 5 seconds should be a pretty easy pickup for T1, and it's a 3,000 Baron power play coming through, so pretty high value there.
Yeah, they've just kind of taken everything that they've wanted to take, and there hasn't been too much of a response. It's now Pyoshik. He has been charged, he makes his way, but the fate sealed of the goat in the mid lane.
มันเยอะเกินว่ะ
Close are going to be able to lock that one down. Life will die as tribute.
อยู่ตายปะเรียบร้อยโดนโดราน
Pretty cute.
ช็อกบาร์แบบเน้นๆมีเซอร์เพนแฟงกันด้วยโดรานโยเนนี่ต้องแฟดหนีโอเนอร์เลยดอกดำโอ้ไม่โดนว่ะโอเนอร์ช่วยโอเนอร์หน่อยโดรานตีตัดเกาะอุ้ย
will just walk past DNS and take down this inhibitor turret. With Dr. Dead, that is so much of the wave clear missing. And they should just be able to do whatever they want.
Yeah, DNS find a good pick on a Faker, but T1 really
สัปดาห์หน้านี่น่าดูมากนะสัปดาห์หน้าเพราะว่าวันอังคารจะมี EWC คัดเลือกใช่ไหมก็จะเป็น T1 เจอกับ KRX แล้วก็สัปดาห์หน้าเนี่ยวันที่17จะเป็น GENG เจอกับ T1 ถ้าจำไม่ผิดว่าวันที่17ป่ะ GENG เจอกับ T1 ด้วยครับแล้วก็คัดเลือก EWC เจอกับ KRX มันมากสัปดาห์หน้า16ครับขอไป16 17เป็น How Light KT สัปดาห์นี้โคตรมันแล้ววันที่15 How Light DK ด้วย
Gets hit here by the Wind Becomes Lightning from Owner flashes, which actually cuts the encore short, but just chases down the Ziggs.
Yeah, almost was in extension range here as Life.
คือพอเห็นคามิลซัพพอร์ตแบบเนี้ยทำให้รู้เลยว่าเคเลียเล่นโคตรเก่งคือมันคนอื่นเล่นมันดูแบบว่ามันดูโคตรจืดอ่ะมันดูแบบดูแบบโคตรแบบทำอะไรไม่ได้อะ
will help Owner grab that kill onto the Casantes. Now Crescent Guard coming on through. Owner is so annoyed by how this early game went. It's what it looks like. Here is another shock blast. Will put down Pyoshik this time. They weren't able to get in front of Closer though. So the Fate Sealed gets him back to the fountain. But Owner is still
น่าบอกแล้วครับผมที่ว่าตอนนี้
And they do manage to at least get something done. That Mega Inferno Bomb just hitting
เฮ้ย
absolutely
มี
nothing
ป้อ
at
ม
all.
มีบ่อน้ำยิงนิดนึง
Owner becomes dead, but
โอเนอร์ไปจัดการบาลานซ์ให้นิดนึงอะ
will be able to clobber them in the end. 25 minutes
โดนจุ๊บ
on the
แฟด
clock,
ไป
and
เพส
they'll get some celebratory kills before they take down this Nexus. First one since Faker turned 30 and he picks up the W.
Absolute decimation. Clean
แล้วโอเนอร์เดินแบบ อย่างเท่เลยว่ะ
But it just felt like DNS never really
ดู
found
วัน
a
นี้
way
เล่
to
นไม่อ
make
อก
the
เลยครับแข่ง
competition
ลิฟ
win
ไม่อ
as
อก
a whole until they got really far behind and T1 were just picking them apart. Definitely feels like that ramp up we've seen from T1 is coming together. That being said, with a game 1 this clean,
ไปเชียร์ที
I'm
มแฟน
wondering
เก่า
about
บ้าง
game
นะพี่
2. You know, I'm starting to hear some
ทีมไหนครับ
maybe some horns blaring.
Could you hear the elephant?
Yeah.
I think I heard the
ไม่
elephant.
มีนะ ไม่มีแฟนเก่าครับ เขาเป็นแค่แบบ
These
คนรู้จัก
damage
เฉย
numbers
ๆครับ
are not going to make you feel too good. Owner doing 20.8k is a very large number.
Yeah.
Like he started the game 0-2. Pyosik had basically shut him out. That seemed to have only powered
เจอ
him
พรุ่ง
up.
เจอเจจีพรุ่งนี้เลยได้ปะเอา
I mean, he got
วันนี้เลย
so
ได้ไหม
much
อะ
done in the mid to late game, and this one was just leading the charge. And as you said, it felt
วันนี้เลยไม่ได้หรอ
Certainly did, but now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go to a short break. Afterwards, the space going to break down that game number 1. Remember, it is a best of 3. The DN Supers still have a chance.
แต่ว่ามันไม่ได้ล้างแค้นฮาวาไลแล้วอะฮาวาไลมันจบแล้วอะคือมันไม่มีฮาวาไลเจอฮาวาไลแล้วทีวันอะ
But they're going to have to do it very,
แต่ถือว่าเสมอนะ เพ
We'll
ราะว่า
see it after the break.
ทีวันก็แพ้แล้วก็เสมอแพ้แล้วก็ชนะเป็นเสมอฮาวาไลสัปดาห์หน้าถ้าฮาวาไลชนะหมดเนี่ยมันก็น่าจะขึ้นเป็นอันดับ 1เลยแบบยาวๆแล้ว
Well,
I thought that's how you were looping it back in.
yeah. He was the former frontman of Linkin Park in a past life was my son. And let's get into the draft for game number 1, where in a former life,
Let's
DNS
go.
were
Game
able to win
2
games. But it is not this one from what we've seen so far.
6-7
Yeah, and I think there was some good moments. I know we're saying that the perfect game pace thing is a little bit of a joke, but it was a decent start. It just felt like the coordination, the team fights, they weren't able to
คำพูด
find
ที่
it.
ว่าอยากเจอเจน
I
จี
don't
ไม่มี
dislike the
น้ำหนักหลั
strategy
ง
from
แพ้
DNS
LCK
going
นี่
like
เป็น
we're
ความ
having
จ
a
ริงไหม
dive
ครับ
focused composition, a lot of go buttons, we're just going to start a fight that way and hope it works. But it obviously was a bit of a struggle for them to pull it off there.
Yeah.
Now we
พี่
are
ดู
seeing
ชิวๆ
the
ดีนะ
Jarvan
ที่พี่อยาก
potentially
ได้
being
เกม
left
3
open.
ไหม
It's the
เพื่อความ
choices
ระทึก
Jarvan
ตื่
or
นเต้น
Orianna. And it ends up being the Lee Sin ban from DNS, which is interesting because it's something Pyosik
แค่นี้กำลังดีแล้วครับ
prioritizes. But this kind of signals to me they're willing to give over.
แบนบาดอีกแล้วว่า
The Orianna.
อยากเห็นเคเลีย
But
เล่นอีก
now
อ่ะ
the problem I have with this is you give over Orianna,
Yeah.
presumably
อ่ะ
the
น็อก
trade
เทิล
is
กับ
to
อะไร
pick up Jarvan.
ว่าไป
But
อา
one
การี
thing
น็อกเทิล
that
เหรอ
Owner is pretty phenomenal
Okay.
on. And it looks like they're going to take it away themselves.
ลูลู
But if that's the case,
Please.
surely T1 just picked Jarvan. You see what I'm saying here?
อย่าให้มันเป็น
Yeah,
น็อกเทิล
there's
ลู
a bit
ลู
of
เลย
an
ขอร้องละ
Orianna Jarvan issue that they
Yeah.
are perhaps running into
ลู
here.
ลู
They
พีท
can't trade
ขอร้อง
Orianna Jarvan because then
Lulu
T1
อากาลีเนี่ย
take Nocturne and Nocturne
เนี่ย
Orianna
ลูลู
would go
ตรงเนี้ย
on Nocturne
ลูลู
would
กับ
feel phenomenal.
ยูนาร่า
But in
ลู
this
ลู
situation, they get Orianna and Jarvan, which are two of the really frequently banned picks on this patch.
ลูลู
I
เจ
think
โฟ
T1 feels pretty good
ลูลู
about
พีท
now.
ขอร้อง
DNS have gone for this
อย่าให้มัน
once
ได้
again
ลูลู
dive
นะ ขอ
focused
ร้องทอมอย่า
composition.
please
With Closer on Akali, with Pyosik on Nocturne, they definitely want to target a mobile
ลู
carries
ขอ
in
ร้อง
this
เคเลีย
situation. And we'll see if T1, I think, probably just pick up something for Doran in
I
this
wouldn't even-
situation.
I wouldn't even mind like a blind Nah here, weirdly enough. I feel like it pairs pretty well with the Jarvan. Instead, Nico
oh,
is
Nico
going to be
Kelia.
denied. We've
Yeah.
seen Nocturne Nico be a very powerful combination. We saw it yesterday. Even though it was like in an Ezreal Nico type situation, with the Nocturne there, it is able to work out. As what is Closer going to be picking up here? Will it be something for Dudu and then they can protect it? Could be one of those options, but instead they're just going to take away the
พี่คิ
Jin.
ดเหนื่อยไหมค
See
รับ
Jin
พี่แต่พวกช
alongside
อบ
the
รอ
Nocturne
เฟ้นเจ
also
นจี
find
ค
a
น
bit of
นี้อยู่ข้าง
success
พี่
here,
นะครับ
but
จากใจ
Jin always makes
อื
me sad.
ขอบคุณครับ
When you dive in, but I think the denial of the Nico, Nocturne Nico, I was thinking DNS might take Nico third to pair that all together.
ไม่เหนื่อยครับ
Denying the
สบายๆครับ
Kai'Sa away from Pays, and for T1, I think hammering away at some of
Chill,
these
chill,ครับ
boards that can pair with this style of composition has a good amount of value here. Just trying to limit the ability of DNS to fly in and blow up. Right now, probably the Orianna, but after that, whatever Pays picks up here, the Ezreal already banned would be a pretty safe pick. Now they banned the Pantheon, which could have been a life pick.
Yeah.
Coming through.
I mean, it has to be, right? There's already a Nocturne locked.
Yeah, definitely something he could have lent on to just follow up on that threat, follow up the dive that the team has, and once again play, a sort of carry-based support.
Maybe they ban Set as well, if they're really going through his greatest hits. That would be a cute one, but instead,
Ban
Fate
win.
going to be taken away. and it might sort of indicate a potential
งี้เลือกนาก่อนปะ
Renekton pickup or something like that. There is still Nara available, so maybe wanting to just go for the Nara instead. Vayne has
อย่าบอกนะว่า
to that as well.
จะล่อให้ดูเลือกนาแล้วเลือกทวิตเตอร์เฟดเลนบนอ่ะ
Just going to be locking down a pick for life, and it looks like that is going to be the option here. The Rakan has found some success with the Nocturne, of course.
I like the Rakan just to follow up and layer the CC with some of these threats. Looks like it might just be the Sivir coming out on the other side. Pick that is pretty short ranged, but obviously has some good safety tools, and the ult can kind of allow you to boost up your
แต่มัน
team
ปิดไฟ
speed,
เลย
potentially
มันปิด
disengage
ไฟแล้วทวิตเตอร์เฟด
trying
ไม่
to
ดี
dive in.
Yep. And you also have the Jarvan on your side as well, so you're not too worried about being locked in place. Certainly find a bit of success here. You will be outranged in the earlier stages as
เลนตันอย่างไวครับผมน่าจะเจอนาปะ
so the Dudu
นามันแบบ
probably something that
หนี
we're
แบบ
going to see.
J4 ก็ได้
At least that would be my expectation.
Seems pretty expected. I do like the Renekton into these sort of dive-focused compositions, because when you're going forward targeting the carries, the Renekton just existing can be such a problem. The amount of damage he does to anyone diving in, especially when you have champions like Akali and Nocturne who aren't the tankiest. The Dominus and just his AoE is such a problem to deal with. We've also seen, even though Nara is consistently picked into Renekton, and honestly does pretty well in terms of the game, the laning phase we've been seeing our Renektons do better and better in the early levels and have more and more pressure. So I think once again, we end up with kind of similarly themed compositions to game one, wherein DNS Supers have a very clear objective of we're going to dive in and try and kill your mobile backline. T1 have some counter-engage tools. And this time though, I'd say more so
เอาน้อง
have
ฟ้าครับ
less laning prowess compared to game one.
กิน
Game
ลู
one,
ก
they
อม
had
จีน
triple
แล้วไม่รู้
prio
อะ
in all lanes. This lane, not necessarily
พี่
going to
เจ
be
ซื้อมา
guaranteed in that regard.
จากจีน
But I think a big aspect of it is having just really strong scaling picks.
โอเลียนน่าแพ้กาลีมากเลยพี่จะโดนกี่ตัว
You're
เนี่ย
chilling if this game
เฮ้ย
does go later.
Yep.
เฟเกอร์สู้ได้เฟเกอร์เจอบ่อยแล้วครับ
Doran fan there in the audience.
แต่ว่าปัญหามันคือจะเจอน็อกเทิร์นด้วยดิ
Definitely elaborate, but I'm a bit worried, Ox, because I see this draft from T1, and I think that if they can make it to like, I don't know, 18 minutes into the game without a 3,000 gold deficit, and even that is being lenient, then they are going to be so fine moving into the later stages. The DN Supers feeling like they need to get their ducks in a row early. Let's get into it. Game number 2. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift 4, the second game of this series.
มาครับผม
DN Supers just wanting to not lose 22 games in a row.
Yeah.
That's 21 right now.
And you know, honestly, with the matchups, obviously game one, it was kind of guaranteed that T1 would have triple lanes of prio. They could end up with that in this game. It's just, I think there is more leniency for top and bot lane to fight it out. Obviously, Rakan into a range support. You are going to get harassed down, but you have the sustain, the Gleam and Quill. Jhin as well has some good pushing power. Mid lane, Faker is obviously going to be able to shove closer in. And top lane, I expect Doran to have priority. We have seen some Nars challenge. You can see a good trade there from Dam.
Yeah, managed just to find that fourth shot. Pays putting on the pressure back towards him. Goes to the decision here, Pays. So Dam just using his barrier there. Doesn't need to worry about a barrier in response, but Pays will have that extra movement speed. Man, he's going to be running real fast in this game. As Closer trading out pretty well. Of course, the former protege of Faker on T1. And we have seen this matchup go both ways. Obviously, it's going to always be hard for the Akali in the earlier stages, but can certainly make things happen as that Gunblade comes in, as level 6 is collected. Those all-in threats become a little bit more dangerous. But like you were saying, early game lane priority is going to be a little bit amiss here for the DN Supers.
And
yeah, Dudu actually going
in
a bit of trouble, having to flash out of the way of the house that isn't a house with this particular skin, but I still want to call it that because it's very fun to do so.
Yeah, but if a mistake there from Doran ends up using a flash for it. Also note that Pays has gone ghost here, not barrier, so obviously a lot of strength and movement speed, especially when it comes to team fights, but in terms of laning pressure, don't have that extra trading power. We obviously saw Dr. use his barrier earlier to help out the trade.
เพสลาไม่ดีเท่าไหร่เมื่อกี้
Life hasn't found an angle to punish as of yet. We'll see if he does find one going forward. Now with level 3, this is a point
กระดกดำร้านมินเนี่ยนในป้อมดีว่ะดูดิมินเนี่ยนเยอะกว่าเพสด้วยขนาดดันเข้าป้อมนะ
weird angles for buttons being pressed there as Paze throws a boomerang sideways and does some weird stuff as Carrier is just going to walk towards Dom and they're going to look for the kill and
โอ้ไม่พอไลฟ์ไม่ได้กดฮิวอีเหี้ย
There's a little bit of the smoke and mirrors that Carrier is known for.
Life has healed.
Well,
โอ้
Yeah.
แล้วเป็นสเปลบุ๊กไม่กดทำไมถึงไม่กด
Life
วะ
goes to set up vision and Carrier using the heal to set up this play. Dr.
มัน
holds
มือ
his
เหรอ
flash, thinks I can
มือ
survive
อะไร
this.
อ่ะ
And then
ต้องฮิวแล้วล่ะ
they can survive with the
อ๋อแต่
shielding
คิดว่าแบบ
coming through.
คือแบบมันมีโล่ขาวอยู่มันน่าจะไม่ตาย
Carrier having a bit of a giggle.
What I find kind of frustrating about this is think how many times in lane we've had heal thrown out
For no reason, yeah.
and just for like trading.
คือเป็นสเปลบุ๊กด้วยอะยังไงมันก็อยากใช้สเปลวะ
Decisively save your AD carry there, and it's held, and now it's a kill lead for Paze in the bot lane.
And it's even worse. He's got spellbook, man. He could have had another summoner spell pretty quickly.
Bit of a frustrating mistake. Obviously, a great setup, great play from T1 there, but
แต่เป็นมิสเพย์ครับอันนี้ก็มิส
could
เพย์
have
แห
been
ละ
played better by the DN Supers.
Yeah, unfortunate.
อ๋อ
Not the end of the world just yet. Problem is
เพ
that
ส
it
แก
is the
แกคือ
Supers
ปี
that
ศาจ
need
จริง
all
ๆ
the
เลย
help they can get to find wins. As
โอ้เค
Carrier
เลียตัด
continuing
วาร์ป
to be
สวย
annoying.
มาก
Stops closes back. Will be able to make his way out. No worries there.
แล้วมันเป็นตัวมันเป็นซัพพอร์ตที่
The N Supers now with a
เฟีย
little
ยาก
bit of
มากอะ
an
น้อง
attempt
เทิร์น
on
จะ
the
เฟียมัน
Paze,
วิ่ง
but
เร็วอะไรเงี้ย
fantastic
มันล็อกขา
spell
วิ่ง
there
เร็วอะไร
on
มัน
the grand entrance. Now the heal is going to be used.
หิวแล้วรอบนี้
Nice work.
Able to disengage from that one, just burn the spell shield from Paze and the Ghost, but spell shield pretty low cooldown.
Yeah, Ghost as well, not the most massive of cooldowns either.
Dom is taking a lot of damage.
Indeed.
แต่ดกดำจากคนที่แบบไปอยู่อันดับ2ของแบบเวอร์แบบทีมแบบ KT แม่งมาอยู่ทีม DNS
They can coordinate that with the Nocturne and the Akali and the Rakan. Level 6 of Pureshik will be a big game changer when T1's bot lane are playing this aggressive. You'd like to see something come from that. For now, though, they're going to set their sights on the Dragon. Pureshik going to try and pick that one up for free.
Yeah, just walks on over and starts hitting it. It is a Mountain Drake, so it's going to take a bit of
ดู
time.
ก็เล่นดีโคเซอร์ก็เล่นแต่ทีมมันแปลกมากเลยมันรวมกันแล้วมันทำไมไม่เก่งวะ
Throws a rock at the cannon. We'll be able to lock that one down as Closer is going to come on over and help his Nocturne out. As Life coming on in as well.
Morning ค่ะแชท4 โมงแล้วคุณลิน
And let's see whether this turn
ครอบเลยแล้วกัน
effective as Pureshik in a fair bit of trouble.
โอเนอร์6ก่อนแล้วแย่งมังกรนะแล้วเปียวซิกตายครับ โคเซอร์จะพยายามฆ่าเคเลียต้องไปแล้วเฟเกอร์แต่ไปเตะลูกบอล
And now it is 3-0.
จบแล้วอะ
And the DN
เดียนซูเปอร์คือแม่งจบแล้วอะคือ
This one kinda
แม่งทั้งป่าทั้งซัพพอร์ตคือแม่งไปแล้วหลุดโลกไปแล้วอะ
It felt like they kind of just gave up on the Dragon. You know, Pureshik was doing it so slowly. They see Ona coming, who's already level 6. He prioritized farming from Pureshik spending so much time on this Dragon. And Pureshik has flash, by the way. And just kind of sits in the Cataclysm and dies. Loses the Dragon, loses his life. Life is already chunked out and ends up going down to Faker.
Yeah, this is where he loses his life, actually.
This whole passage of play from DNS felt very lackluster. And it just kept, you know, I understand the want to get that early Dragon pickup.
อ๋อไม่ได้โหลดมาเพส
Going for a play like that, when you know it's going to take so long to take, you don't have the level 6 on Nocturne yet, you're just begging for T1 to contest you, inviting them in, and don't have the tools to deal with them when they do. And now you're already at such a deficit so early in the game.
And the thing that makes it feel even worse is that it's a Jin just trying to survive in lane, but once you get out of lane, you're against a Sivir who's accelerated in your Jin.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't get better. Oh, the double root to come through from Carrier here. But there's not too much of a follow-up as the 2v2 dive is a little dangerous.
We've honestly seen, I feel like Nico fall off a little bit generally in terms of the teams just haven't had the same level of pressure. There's been like the Ezreal Nico that struggled. But in this game, KRX is just putting so much pressure
บอกแล้วว่ามันเป็นการแบบเทเลปีตาจริง
consistently landing this damage and kind of showing why Nico was such a feared pick and at times was getting first rotation banned.
It was something that Carrier was also at the forefront of when Nico was having a heyday.
Yeah. So definitely playing the champion extremely well in this situation. And Duran has his flash back up after the early mishap. So now going to look to set up a play here. Like to find owner or
ไลฟ์ออกได้ชิว
Yeah, he's just going to find himself with
คอแม่งเลยละกัน
health bar as Dudu needs to come on over
เขาโดด
and allow a battle dance, but it's not going to work. The spear just pierces through the Rakan. And Ona doesn't have Takluz
ขนาดพี่เชียร์ทีวันน่ะตอนนี้พี่ยังรู้สึกว่าแบบอยากให้ดีเอ็นซูเปอร์มันสู้หน่อยคือแบบคือไลฟ์มัน
And the good news still not here.
ถ้าเรามา
Finally,
เว้ย
we do have
เพส
Piochik pressing that
แฟด
R button. We'll get the flash out from Pays, who just runs
ล็อก
his
ขา
way
ไม่
out
โด
of
น
there. Curtains
เกิด
are
ขึ้น
being
คอมา
called. Pays just trying to get himself out. Does
ยู
get the
ช่วย
heal and avoids all of those bullets.
Yeah, able to dodge
เค
away
ลีย
there.
ร์ผ
Just
ม
have to ban both summoners to
เรีย
get
ก
out of
น้อง
that
มาตรงหลุม
situation. But
มัง
you'll
กรนะครับแล้ว
absolutely
กด
take
คิว
that. If Piochik's first ult not really getting the value he wants.
Oh no. Oh, Ox.
แล้วน็อกเทิลเป็นตัวที่ผู้ตามตรงค่อนข้างเหงาถ้าสมมติอันติแล้วแบบไม่ได้
Heal
ฆ่า
was available.
ค่อนข้างเห
But
งา
he
เลย
died there.
I feel like could have been used a couple of times now.
ต้องรีบมีสไตล์เบเกอร์แหละ
Yeah. You know, someone called Life.
อู้ช็อคเวฟสวยครับเบเกอร์
Well, Closer are going to get shockwaved. He will need to go back home because that's a lot of his health bar now missing. And this is, you know how we were talking about perfect game pace in the last game?
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
we can talk about it again.
DNS are not on perfect game pace. They actually lost that a while ago. They did start the game with it, but it quickly
และน็อกเทิล
disappeared.
เป็นตัวที่
Maintained it though.
They have.
ลูนมันไม่เอาลูนรองเท้ามาเอาลูนรองเท้ามามันไม่เก่งอ่ะ
We're moving towards 10 minutes in this game as well. There has been one plate.
มันต้องเป็นลูนแบบ
The DNS has been able to pick up.
อันนี้แหละ
Blossom on top of
อันติเมท
Dark
ฮัน
here.
เตอร์ใช้ติได้บ่อยๆ แล้วก็
Two people and feeling
พี่ว่าอีกอันนะซิก
happy
เซน
about
ดี
it.
เว้ย
Yeah, Dogtime doesn't flash there because there's no follow-up, no one with Carrier to threaten, but nearly goes down to Carrier himself, and Carrier playing so aggressively here.
Look at him go. Oh my.
โอ้ my god เคเลีย
stopped that recall as well.
ถ้าหยุดรีคอร์ตะกี้ได้นี่แม่งเป็นเรื่อง
Jin has disconnected from the game.
Yeah, exactly.
คือจินจะเพนทางแบบทางจิตใจอย่างมากอ่ะ
Try to go for this play before onto the Gnar, but found a Rakan instead. This time we'll
อัน
find
นี้
the
ไม่รู้ว่า
Gnar.
จะได้หรือเปล่า
There's the stun. Dominus comes
Okay.
through, and the Takluz
ได้
playing
สบาย
every buttons pressed, and down will go the mini nothing that Dudu can do there. We'll have a look at Ona versus Piochik. Yeah, Ona
เย้
getting a whole
ลองนึกภาพว่าเราเป็นนักแข่งแล้วอยู่ในทีมที่แม่งมัน1-10 อ่ะ
And the expectation is, you know, Jarvan can have
Oh.
that early pressure, but it wasn't even pre-6. Post-6,
คือ
continued to find this pressure, and Piochik just hasn't
เดี๋ยวนะ
really
เขาชื่ออะไรนะ
get that one ult bot lane, didn't get the value.
ไม่ใช่บูลด็อกเขาชื่ออะไรนะเบอร์เซอร์เกอร์อ่ะมาอยู่ปีเดียวไปเลยอะกลับเลยอะแบบไม่เอาแล้วอะ
Rarely ulting, because you know, mid lane, it's a Catalyst, Orianna, not the easiest target who keeps chunking out your Akali. Top lane, the Renekton with Flash does not seem like a good time. Bot lane is probably the easiest, if we're being honest, but last time they tried that, they only got the Summoners. They are still down, so maybe you try and kill the Sivir. But the longer you wait, the further this game is.
โอ้โหล็อกขาแบบ
Shockwave is going to get spell shielded by Piochik, but life is just dead. Closer
ส
looking
วย
for a bit of
จัด
angle
เลย
here,
ทีวัน
Piochik's just looking
แล้วไล
to
ฟ์มันเหมือน
escape.
มันเหมือนเป็น
DN Supers just can find
มันเหมือนไม่มี
nothing
จิต
in
วิญญาณ
this
แล้ว
game.
โดนล็อกเขาที่
Phenomenal
อุ้ย
stand. There is the Twilight Shroud, so Closer will keep himself alive, but I mean, it's defense at best here for the DN Supers, and T1 are just rolling over them in this one.
Yeah, I feel like this one, it's still early, but it just feels like DN Supers aren't able to find any real way in.
Docton gets the jump on Pays, loses the trade. Not really a whole lot of value there from the spell shield, but
แต่ตอนแรกพี่คิดว่าเฮ้ยเป็นการอัปเกรดแบบ DNS แบบเยอะนะคือได้คู่ล่างที่แบบคู่ล่างแบบชิงเวอร์มาอยู่อะไรเงี้ยดกดำกับปีเตอร์อะไรเงี้ย
Oh yeah. Pays was already running very, very fast.
แต่มีช่วงหนึ่งมันแค่แบบมันแค่ลังเลกันเยอะเว้ย
On the hunt plus
คือเปียวซิกลังเลอะไรเงี้ย
I think we've seen
มันก็แบบเอ้ยมีเหมือนกันนะทุก
Yo, Oda put the attention
โดราก็มีแบบมีจังหวะแห่ตุ้งแช่เหมือนกันเมื่อกี้
as well just into
เล่นจระเข้กด E จระเข้เมื่อกี้แล้วก็หัวไปกระถูกับ
I feel like the
กำ
mid
แพง
lane matchup is one we haven't really laser focused on, but Fake has picked up some kills in these skirmishes and now has a substantial lead over Closer on this Oriana. I mean, everyone has a substantial lead, but his is actually the biggest in the game.
Yeah.
On this Oriana.
Slowly but surely, it's building up to be that monster in the late game.
คือ13 นาทีครับคุณผู้ชม 4,400 ครับเงินนำทีวันเรียกว่าหลุดเลยครับ DNS คือแต่ว่าเป็นทีมที่หลุดจริงนะ1-10 เลยอะมันแบบว่า
should be able to walk his way out of there. Didn't even require it. There's now Doran shoving in towards this bottom side of the map. And just to check in on the things that DNS have been able to get this game, it's doubled. It's now 2 plates.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say like 0 is 0.
Hey, that means
วันนี้
it's also
ก็ต้องบอกว่ามันก็
that's what you want to
อย่างที่เห็นดาวครับดาวที่พี่ให้อ่ะคือเราดูดาวของพี่ว่าดาวมันทำมาดีอยู่ โอ้โหเฟเกอร์ไซส์สเต็ปแบบอายุ30ครับผมคุณผู้ชมครับและเฟเกอร์ครับเอามือไปกดคีย์บอร์ดเมื่อกี้ไม่ได้จดเวลาแฟดนะพิมพ์ว่า55 easy
The gunblade from Closer, a big spike and a great angle to look for the all-in, but just isn't
able
to pull it off. And now this mid tower, I think, might just be Gonzo.
Yeah, that one's gonna blow up for sure. That'll be first turret going
เค
over
ส
to
ก็พยายาม
T1.
ดีนาย ห้องกลางระเบิดแบบว่ามันไม่มี
big money.
แต่ว่าต้องมาดูว่า DNS จะกลับมาได้ไงเพราะว่ามี Hexfade และ Nocturne แล้วก็รองเท้า1 คู่แต่มันจะบินไปหาใครอ่ะต้องไปเล่นกับอากาลิแหละทรงนี้
Yeah. It can't always be your incredible Life esports prediction, you know?
True.
Sometimes the caster curse has to reign supreme.
At least I will acknowledge it.
Indeed, and you have to. Like, understanding that the caster curses are real is the first part to becoming not fired here in the LCK.
True, because the person who got fired
พูดตามตรงดูนี่ตอนเจอเฮาอะไรนี่ใส่ซุดไป 0.5 นะคือเขาดุมากนะเว้ยแต่เหมือนฟอร์มดูมันขึ้นลงแบบว่ามันขึ้นลงแบบเยอะบางวันมันเล่นแบบปีศาจไปเลยอะแต่วันนั้นขนาดจัดการสุดไปได้ 0.5 เล่นแบบปีศาจสุดท้ายก็แพ้อยู่ดีเหมือนมันไม่รู้ทำยังไงอ่ะพยายามจะมาฆ่าเฟเกอร์ไม่มีแฟลช
They might be able to get him. No flash here on this Oriana.
Thank you,
He was
Faker.
running relatively quickly, but that is the end of the perfect game, ladies and gentlemen. Closer will be able to finally find his mark.
คือเปียวซิกเดินตีหวาดอยู่แล้ว
Ona just takes the Eye of the Herald and will be able to wander his way out. Doran is also going to collect an outer turret in the bottom lane.
ตัวแรกของ DNS มาแล้วโอนเนอร์โดนว่ะ
As Ona will get exhausted, finds a cataclysm, just puts them in the pen, and gets rid of them. Wants to be able to steal away his own blue buff with a flag. That would have been very embarrassing.
Yeah, so I mean, it's good that DNS got the kill. They got the scoreboard. Unfortunately, losing that tower in the bot lane, losing the Herald. You can't say that they were probably going to lose those things anyway.
คือเปียวซิกดิดหวาดมาตลอดทางครับเฟเกอร์คือแบบว่าชิวๆป่ะวะแล้วใครเอาหวาดออกวะใช่ป่ะตะกี้คือคอนโทรลหวาดเหมือนเคเลียไปปักข้างล่างเว้ยหวาดมันเลยย้ายเปียวซิกตอนแรกเราจะเดินไปตีคอนโทรลหวาดมันแบบหวาดหายไงก็เลยฆ่าเฟเกอร์แล้วกัน
Having a look at the replay here, Doctor needed to flash because a Sivir walked at him.
I mean, Sivir does tend to walk very fast after hitting you.
Yeah.
So was it? I'd say a bit more like the power walking.
That's true.
Like, you know, the Malcolm in the Middle episode where Hal gets into power walking.
He really had good form.
He did.
Yeah, I studied that. I remember. I liked that episode. I'm also
เอาจริงอยากให้T1ขึ้นไปอันดับ2มากแต่ว่าก็ต้องมาลุ้นเยอะต้องลุ้นเยอะเลยอะKTต้องแพ้เรื่อยๆแล้วเจนจีก็ต้องห้ามชนะอะไรเงี้ยแม้แต่มันยากปะเจนจีเจอKRX ไม่น่า
the
แล้ว
sport.
KT ไปเจอกับ KRX ต่อ
We all know that
ก็ไม่
we
น่า
are our harshest critic, and so we can't do that to ourselves.
เฮ้ยแต่ KRX ตอนนี้
this is a really
เฮ้ยแต่
dire
เมื่อวาน
situation
เฟก
here in
แพ้
this
โบร
game.
เหรอ
I have a feeling that DNS
โบรนี่มันทีมยังไงกันแน่วะเนี่ย
losses in a row. I think that might be
เฮ้ย
happening.
โบรนี่มันอันดับ 6 เลยเนี่ยตอนนี้โบรอ่ะ
17 minutes into
ไม่
the
ได้
game.
เล่นๆแล้ว
We
นะ
have Cloud Drake taken here by T1 as well, and so they will be able to. Like, they could have used a Battle Herald, but there was just no real battle to be had. So Shelly is just going to wander down this mid lane. And we're setting up a siege with a Sivir, and it's working. As they do pilot Shelly forward, that is going to be Ona going a little deep. But there's Carrier finding the pop-up.
Oh my god.
And it eliminates
Kelia
everyone. Pushing, trying
กับ
to
ช็อค
get
เวฟ
something
ของ
done.
เฟเกอร์ตะกี้
Dudu there as well, but Close
บ้าไปแล้ว
is likely to die.
ยก 3 รวบ 3
Shield keeping himself alive, and Dudu
แล้วโคเซอร์หมดแล้วครับฆ่าเฟเกอร์ไม่ได้ด้วย
They're gonna break the base.
ตะกี้น้องแอบวางยาไว้เนี่ย ตะกี้โอนเนอร์แบบ
Just give Carrier the
เพส
bomb.
เอาไงกันแน่เนี่ย
Ona starts the fight, but Carrier just slides in and gets the shot
ดูอีกรอบครับผม
combo.
ไม่ใช่เพสนะคือใครอ่ะ
I think they're expecting
เคเลีย
a siege to come in at Towerhead.
เคเลียแบบไม่ได้ชนป้อมไม่ชนปะมันชนหรือไม่ชนวะน่ะ มันชนแล้วนะที่มันชนนะเว้ยแต่มันชนอย่างนั้นได้ไงวะ
My
งงว่ะ
goodness.
เหมือนชนคาตาลิซึมมากกว่าชนป้อมอ่ะ
And then the solo laners of DNS try to clean up the chaos.
แล้วก็รวบแบบยก 3 รวบจากเฟเกอร์ตึงกันจัดเลยเมื่อกี้
Doran is
มันชนอันติจาวาน แต่ว่ามัน
gigantic in this game as well.
กระแทกไป
Able
โด
to
น
take up so much, 2,500 gold
เป็นระบบ
ahead.
แมคานิกที่
Doesn't have the largest lead in the game though. That belongs to Pays, who is getting
งงๆ
towards
อะ
item number 3 pretty quickly.
คือแรง
And you've got
แรงสั่น
Dom
เลยครับ
with
มันมี
the
เรื่องของ
saddest
โอ้
of
โห
slingshots.
จะบอกว่าทีมงาน
It's a
ไลออตเตอร์เขา
slingshot
ทำมาแบบ
though,
เฮ้ยมีระบบฟิสิกส์
which I
แบบ
think is a better
ชน
one.
คาตาลิซึมแล้วมัน
Yeah.
สะเทือนไปยันป้อมอะไรเงี้ย
Put the scope
ก็
and
คง
this-
จะบอก
How
ว่า
would you
ไม่
even
น่า
get
ไม่
that
น่า
on
มี
your
ใครคิดตรงนี้
slingshot
แน่นอน
without like blocking the sling? Would you
It
have
would
to like
be
side
hard to
mount it?
operate.
You'd have to like side mount the scope or something.
Or it's like it
อาจ
turns
จะ
it into a diamond shape. And
ชน
it's
คา
at
ตา
the
ลิซึม
top.
แล้วมันแบบ
Oh,
มัน
yeah.
มันนับ
Then
ว่า
how do you look
ไม่รู้
Oh
เลย
yeah,
ว่านี่
true.
ง
If
ง
you had, yeah, and then above, yeah, I can see
You
that.
need like a
แต่โดยสรุปคือ
periscope
เมื่อกี้
though, so
เหมือน
that you can
หัว
still
มัน
go
ชน
to
คา
the
ตาลิซึม
side.
แต่ว่า
Otherwise,
ป้อม
it
เลือด
has to
ลด
go
นะ
into your head. If you're ever going to look at it and it'd be too far away, unless it's really long, kind of like a pirate's telescope, you know? You're looking out of
เห็
the
น
crow's
ปู่
nest.
อวยพรด้วยวิซิเดนสติ๊กจะเห็นใครเดอร์บอกว่า
I feel like these are the sort of things
เฟเกอร์ทำอย่างนั้น30 รอบเพื่อเป็นการแบบสรรเสริญอายุ 30
Considering this matchup is
เป่าเค้ก
kind of go in that
Fiddle
direction,
stick.
maybe they need to be having this discussion for DNS.
Yeah,
Is how to optimize their slingshots.
at least now Dom has turned it into a gun, so we just kind of know where it goes when it comes to a gun. Don't really need to talk about it as Dom is going to be heading towards the death chamber perhaps as Ona goes in once
ไม่
again.
ตายครับผม
Live with
จ
the
บแล้ว
defense.
แต่ว่าไลฟ์ตายอีกแล้ว
Dear.
I feel like this often happens where when you're so far behind, the Rakan goes in and it's like, please someone help me get out, and no one wants to walk near.
Nope.
So he just dies. Life.
Well,
ไปครับ
here's the re-engage.
แค่จะเอา
Alright,
เคเลีย
both some
เคเลีย
use
ตาย
defensively here, but Carrier will be taken
เฮ้ย
out.
เคอร์ดคอลมา
Curtains have been called. The
จะได้แค่
T1
นี้
are just
จบ
going to wait it
1 ตัว
out. And they will lose their third
3 อันติ
champion of the game. This is a very early part of the game to be sieging inhibitor turrets, right? So it is a little dangerous for T1 in this one. Minute and a half
โดรานต้องแผ่นออก
on the dragon as
โอ้โห
Doran does have to flash to get out of the way of that deadly flourish. Hayes completes the mortal reminder though. He has a full armor penetration item
I don't
over
think
Doc.
they needed reminder. I think DNS are very aware of their mortality at this point.
Yeah.
It is Dr. getting trapped in the cataclysm, and then this is the sad moment. Life is like, please help me, and Dr.
คือปก
like,
ติ
I'm
ทีวัน
sorry.
อ่ะเวลาเจอกับทีมไหนอะก็จะเล่นแบบ
They go
เชิง
for
แบบ
this
สู
tin-round
สี
play, and
เล่น
they
แล้ว
manage
ดู
to
แบบ
explode Carrier pretty
ได้ลุ้น
quickly.
ได้อะไร พอเจอกับ DN Super คือมัน
Unable to really find too much more
มัน
on
แบบ
the
มัน
play.
ลุ้นยาก
That's
มาก
kind
เล
of
ย
the problem is that you can see DNS's composition what it wants to do. You can see them get these occasional picks, but they are just not really capable of finding much more in terms of the team fight. It's
มัน
a
ลุ้นยากจริง
10,500 gold deficit right now.
พลังคาริน่าเหรอ
It's 30 seconds away from this Cloud Soul as well. 21 and 50 seconds into this game. As Dudu taking a fair bit of damage here, but going to be able to get towards his inner turret and will be somewhat safe for now. Owner is on the top
แต่
side of
นิ
the
โก
map.
มัน
Looks like
ตัวมัน
T1
ตัว
are
มัน
a
2
little
ชิ้น
bit
เก่ง
more
เนาะ
focused on the Baron
คือ
at
มัน
this
ขึ้น
point in
Rocket
time.
Bell แล้วมันก็ขึ้นแบบ
Control the
Force
Baron,
Hard อะเนาะ
just making sure
มันเข้าไปอยู่
that, DNS
วงใน
are
ลดดาเมจฝั่งตรงข้ามอะดีมากเลยอะ
What does it mean? Carrier is going back to his people.
แต่ว่า
Going back to his
ADC
people.
ก็ต้องกึ่งแบบเอาตัวรอดเองได้ครับเพราะว่านิโกมันจะเป็นตัว
Wait,
แบบ
he's
ตัว
trying
เปิด
to
อะไร
line up. He's trying to line up.
There we go.
Wait, is that
เฮ้ย
Spaghetti
is
code.
that a visual bug?
Spaghetti code.
เฮ้ย
All right. He
เคเลียไปยืนอ้าว
Awesome on two.
What the fuck
Oh
What the fuck เคเลียแปลงร่างเป็น What
will get taken out. But still
พิวซิกเดินมาแล้วงงว่าเฮ้ยเดี๋ยวนะทำไมหลอดเลือด
dashing around like a maniac.
หลอดเลือดกบทำไมเป็นอย่างนั้นวะ
Comes through and down will go
แล้วเคเลียก็กลายร่างมาเป็นนิโกะยกครับผมแฟดยก ไม่อยากเชื่อว่าเคเลียแกมีสูตรอะไรอย่างงี้ได้ยังไงวะ
Hey guys, have you seen this grump?
Yeah,
Really
his grump
funny
looks
looking.
so weird, man.
แบบว่าเคเลียคือพิวซิกเดินมาบอกเฮ้ยเพื่อนเฮ้ยเราดูเลือดกบดิกบเป็นเลือดแปลกๆว่ะ เฮ้ยเลือดกบแปลกๆเฮ้ยอะไรวะน่ะ
Yoshi figured it out and went, wait, this is their support. And attacked it, and then they just immediately got yeah.
คือคุณทำให้ป่าแชมป์เวอร์กลายเป็นแบบ
Okay, let's see it from Carrier's perspective. That's all right. Okay, there we go. In position. Gets the ward over. They see the ward go down. And
What the hell on earth
it's just laughing, man.
เคเลียขำวะ
All right. I mean, at
Oh
least we
my
could have
God.
the fun little moment in the game that it's been over for about, maybe like an hour. It's all right. Faker with the dissonance will be able to take down Dudu here. As now Closer looking for a bit of an angle. It's the Pop Blossom onto Pyoshik though, who just doesn't really have a way out. He tries to turn off the lights, but it's his lights that do go out in the end. And now we'll have T1 marching towards the enemy Nexus. Bit of fun towards the end there, but honestly, this was utter
เทคนิค
demolition.
ตัดให้หน่อยนะตัดคลิปสั้นแบบคลิปสั้นเมื่อกี้ให้หน่อยได้ปะแบบตัดไปลงเพจลง YouTube TikTok อะเมื่อกี้แม่งฮาจริงที่เคเลียทำเมื่อกี้เอาช็อตที่พี่แบบนั่งดูนะของดีเลยอยากให้คนอื่นได้เห็นนะแชทคนอื่นได้เห็นก็ Happy Birthday Faker ด้วยครับแล้วก็จบไปครับ 2-0 นะครับโอ้โหจบไวมากครับ4 โมง 17 นาทีจบแล้วครับ2 เกมแบบซีรีส์จบเรียบร้อยขอบคุณเมอร์เจนซี่นะครับขอบคุณครับ3-3 เดือนครับ
Showing the form that this T1 has risen to, and even though DNS is not their hardest opponent they're going to face, I think T1, as we get closer and closer to that road to MSI, they are really locking in their level of play and showing what this team is capable of doing.
Yep. And we know
ก็เป็นกำลังใจช่วย DN Super ว่ะคือแบบเหมือน2 ปีกลายเป็นทีมอันดับสุดท้ายตลอดอะแต่พี่คิดว่าถ้าเขาทำระบบเหมือนพรีเมียร์ลีกน่าจะดีนะเนาะคือหมายถึงว่าก็มีแต่มันต้องแบบมันก็ต้องคือทีมในลีก2มันน่าจะไม่ไหวอะ
I mean, if we're being honest, it's kind of like the every game starts on perfect game pace.
คือหมายถึงว่าทีมข้างล่างก็ต้องตกไปลีก2แล้วลีก2ก็ทีมแชมป์ลีก2ขึ้นมาข้างบนอะไรอย่างงี้เงินไม่เยอะขนาดนั้นเนาะ
But yeah, maybe they're even playing too well at this point in time. Although I think a match against the DN Supers is not really that much of a gauge.
คือพี่ว่าที่พวกฟุตบอลเขาอยู่กันนะเพราะมันเป็นเพราะว่าเขามีสนามมีคนดูมีบัตรคือเขาซัสเตนตัวเองได้อะไรเงี้ยอันนี้มันคือแบบมันยากตรงที่ว่ามันไม่มีสนาม
KRX in the very first match.
I think what's frustrating is that LCK Cup started off well.
Yeah.
And it's just reminiscent of last year. And they've changed a good portion of the roster. Obviously, they have brought life back in, but they had a different support, a different AD carry, different AD carry and mid are still there. And it just feels like it's the same team. The name of the team even changed. It still feels like it's the same team. I think it's just frustrating because, as was said before, we've seen so much more every single player on this roster.
อยากได้คลิปแบบว่า
Games like this, it just feels like
ตัดง่ายๆสั้นๆแบบแค่ช็อตเมื่อกี้
games or series.
ฮาดีแล้วก็เอารีเพย์ไปหน่อยนึง
Where they find advantages so few and far between. We're holding on to, a kill onto Faker in the side lane as a highlight in the game for them, and it's just a window for
คู่นี้ไม่มีย้อนหลังแล้วนะครับ
T1 to kind of style on them, which it's great for T1 to look phenomenal, but not so good for the DN Supers.
Yeah. Carrier having an absolute day out here today. I think that his week so far has been incredible. Honestly, was the main character in their series against the Bros earlier on as well. And today, making Nico look like a way better pick than she's looked like for quite some time here in the LCK, especially with this little cute gromp trick that somehow managed to actually work. I swear it was never going to.
ได้
Absolutely did. Faker is just going to flash over and murder Dudu. The Orianna was quietly gigantic in this game. Pays as well. I mean, we weren't talking about him too much, but just did so.
อ๋อ ว้าวเฟเกอร์โอ้โห
in lane and in teamfight impact in both games. So
intrigued. Obviously, I don't have a vote, so I haven't swayed it one way or the other.
มันจืดใช่
Faker doing the
มัน
most
จืด
damage
ไป
in this game by a country mile,
I think
as well.
series like this where they're crushing so hard, and there's a lot of good votes.
Certainly are. Yeah, 4 kills away from a perfect game here for T1. They did do some happy gaming towards the end there, but you can see that gold graph is exceedingly linear. I don't think the coach is going to have very much to say about a series like this, as Carrier will be able to pick it up. 1-1 and 15 on the Seraphine was pretty amazing. Denied that initial engage from the DN Supers and really kind of put them on the back foot early on. And his Nico was just having the best time ever. He'll move up to 300 points alongside a whole lot of people, to be honest.
Yeah, a lot of people on 300 points. Ona also on 300 points in terms of other T1 members. Yeah. And I think that Nico moment, you know, there's been a lot of Nico moments from him. There's the one where he pretended to be the clone around Baron Pit. There was the wolf walking through.
I mean, when he towers Dom as well.
Yeah,
that was pretty cute.
I mean, I'm talking about historic.
Oh, historically,
I feel like it goes into those Carrier Nico moments. There's like a folder full of them.
This was definitely a good one. Also, Faker gave us little biscuits. Aren't they cute? Look at this little cookie thingy.
Adorable.
Yeah, just to celebrate his birthday. So happy birthday to Faker once again. But now it is time for the interview. Let's throw it on over.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dear for the POM interview translation, joined by Carrier on the side of T1. You just secured T1's 7th win of the season. How do you feel? You know, I'm really happy about today's win. I feel like we've been performing really well. And in Game 1, the opponent brought out Camille's support, which is something that you have used in the EWC qualifiers. So did you see it coming?
ไลฟ์เขาเล่นคามินซับ
I think
เหมือนที่คุณ
against
เล่นเลย
Ash Seraphine, you have such limited options, and it just felt like, yeah, that would be one of the plays or one of the picks that they could go for. So yeah, we definitely expected Camille to come out as one of the supports.
อ๋อ ก็คือรู้อยู่แล้วว่าคามิลแบบน่าจะออกมาแหละ
And the enemy
เพราะว่า
had
แบ
a
นไปไป
great
แล้วแหละ
early setup in game 1, and that's how Zinzao started with 2 deaths. So
คือน่าสนใจที่เขาไม่เลือกไปพี่ว่าอาจจะเป็นเพราะว่าไลฟ์อาจจะเล่นไม่ได้
I think
ตรงนั้น
owner he didn't
อาจจะเล่น
really
ไปไม่ชำนาญ
feel
มาก
too
อะไรเงี้ย
pressured.
ก็เลยเลือกโยเนะ
So even with some deaths, I feel like the enemy was
ไปเล่น
actually
ยากนะ
playing pretty extremely in the early game. So if they don't take that edge to try to get a better advantage, their comp doesn't really go well during the late game. So we had pretty good feeling about the whole game while playing it out. And in game 2, we got your Nico performance, and your grump impression was amazing.
ก็แปลเป็น
You
กรอ
know,
บ
this game was so ours, and in the
ก็
very
คือ
last
เกมนี้มัน
team
ผม
fight, I
รู้
just
สึกว่า
really
มัน
wanted to
เกมมัน
create
เป็น
a
ของเรา
fun
แล้วผมก็
moment. So I
ก็
wanted
รู้สึก
to
ว่า
transform,
หาอะไร
and
สนุก
Gromp
ทำ
was
ครับ
right in front of me, so I transformed into Gromp.
ก็แปลเป็นกรอมแล้วก็
And the
เดินไป
original
แอบ
Gromp was looking a little weird, so I
แล้วก็
felt
แบบว่า
like I can
ไม่คิดว่ามัน
definitely
จะเป็น
fit
อย่าง
in
นั้น
right there. So I just
ก็
sitting
เดิน
there,
แล้วไปยืน
and
อยู่
then
ตรง
it
ก
actually
รอม
worked
แล้วก็
well.
เพียว
I
ซิก
saw
เดินมา
good
ตี
angle. You know, I just decided that this would be a good
คือ
decision
คิดดูในแชท
because
ว่าเก
the
มมัน
enemy was
คิด
coming
ว่ามัน
back
เป็นส่วนหนึ่ง
from
เพราะว่าเกมมันแบบ
such a
มัน
huge
มีปัญ
disadvantage.
หา
I'm
อยู่
sure
ป่ะ
they were pretty
คือเปียวซิกมัน
desperate
จะ
at
ไม่
this
เห็นได้ไงว่าหลอด
moment,
เลือด
so
มันแปล
I
กๆ
knew
อะ
that they would get baited.
แล้วไม่คิดว่าอาจจะเป็น
And
บั๊ก
yesterday
เฉยๆก็ได้
was
มั้ง
Baker's birthday. Did you guys celebrate together? Yeah, I'm really jealous that he
ลองนึก
celebrated
ดิ
his
เออ
birthday You know, we got him a cake. He blew
เออ
out
บั
the
กเป็นเรื่องปก
candles.
ติอะไรอย่าง
We
เงี้ย
sang him the
เรา
song.
คิดว่า
And
กรอบ
we
มัน
had
บัก
a
เว้ยปรากฏ
great
ไม่ใช่
moment
เคเลียไปยืน
together.
ซ้อน
And Faker was in an ad with Karina. That ad was just revealed, and it was such a cool ad. Did you watch it? You know, I was playing solo queue, and it was revealed in the very early, late at night actually. So, yeah, I mean, I saw it, and there were a lot of people that was really happy about it. They really liked it. So, since you appreciate idols, were you jealous? Of course, I was pretty jealous. Would you like to say anything to
ก็เคเลียก็อิจฉาครับผมที่เฟเกอร์ได้จับข้อมือ
to try
คา
to
ริน่า
sell yourself so that you can be in an ad with other idols as well? Yeah, I would really love that opportunity.
อิจฉาเว้ย
And today is Parents' Day in Korea. So, would you like to say anything to your parents?
อันนี้คือเป็นวันแบบวันพ่อแม่หรอหรือว่าอะไร
Yes.
เมย์จะพูดถึงพ่อแม่ไหม
I'm really thankful. I'm grateful that for all your support. I think
ก็
I
ขอบคุณ
made
ที่
it this far
ครับผม
because
ตลอดครับ
it's all thanks to you guys.
ขอบคุณ
And
ที่
your
บ้าง
next
มากครับ
opponent is D plus Kia, and in game round 1 they
รอบ
handed
หน้าเรา
you
เจอ
a
กับ
loss
DK
after a 3-game series. So any
T1
message for your
มีอะไร
revenge?
จะพูดไหมครับ
You know, our performance is really good, and I feel like we're definitely reaching new heights with our form. So I hope that we're able to keep it up and do well. And that's all
ก็
from
หวังว่าจะ
Carrier, and back to the
ทำผลงานได้ดีครับ
space. Thank you.
ทีวันก็ต้องการอีก2แต้มเพื่อตามเจนจีให้ทันนะซึ่งวันนี้ได้ไป1แต้มแล้วแต่ว่าเจนจีพรุ่งนี้จะเจอกับวันนี้จะเจอกับ KRX ครับถ้าเจนจีชนะก็สัปดาห์นี้ก็ยังไม่สามารถที่จะแซงเจนจีได้ครับทีวัน
Anything else you guys took from the series? I just really hope DNS can bounce back.
ต้องหวังว่า KRX จะแพ้จะชนะเจนจีให้ได้ KRX อยู่อันดับ8ครับซึ่งก็ฟอร์มก็ขึ้นลงๆแหละนะครับผมแต่ KRX เคยได้ไป1เกมเมื่อปลายเดือนที่แล้วที่30ครับก็เจอเจนจีแล้วได้ไปเกมหนึ่งเพราะฉะนั้นวันนี้อาจจะมีลุ้นหรือเปล่า
Please show it to me. I want to see it. I want to see that potential.
I mean, not only the in-game stuff. I think the draft as well. Like
อ๋อให้ข้อมูลนะคะเดือนพฤษภาเป็นเดือนแห่งครอบครัวในเกาหลีค่ะโอ้
everyone knows.
โอ
Like
เค
everyone knows that that
ดูสนามบิน
champion
ที่
is
ฮานอย
so
นะครับ
broken, or it's just like really good. So you gotta like do
ไป
some
ดูสนาม
trades,
ที่ฮา
right?
นอย
So
ไม่
you
ใช่
give
ส
up
นามบิน
Oriana, you get something out of it, but they didn't.
Oh my god.
So the game 2 was just like, all right, guys. I think we just pick something we just really like to play and like just hope for the best. You know, that's not
โอเคเดี๋ยวคู่
the
นี้
thing that
เรา
we
จะได้
want
เห็น
to
แล้ว
see
เป็น
in
ยังไง
GG low puck. You know, like we
ว้าว
want
กูมายูชิครับผม
I think that's the thing that we are not having with DNS right now.
Yeah, not stepping up to the plate, are they? But let's take a look at the POM votes here because, well, we are going to have some votes for owner and one for the top lane.
ไม่เห็นมีซูสเลย
Pretty interesting on that
What?
one that they do go for Doran. I mean,
นี่ครับผมอุ้ยสวยจังเลยวะเวียดนามสวยขนาดนี้เลยเหรอเฮ้ยสวยมากเลยอ่ะอันนี้ของจริงมั้ยเนี่ยแชทไอ้เชี่ยสวยมากเลยนะเนี่ยAI เหรอAI เหรอเมื่อกี้ว้าว คนนี้อยู่แกม
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to LCK 2026, our very first overseas LCK team
ก็ประมาณ 5 โมงเย็นที่
as
เวียดนาม
we
มา
are
ใกล้
about
ๆเคียง
to
กัน
get
เนาะ
into KRX taking on GENG in Vietnam.
It's so cool. It's so cool
Super
to see. So the signs for Lazy Field as well, who's going to be playing for QMDRX.
เลซี่ฟิวก็กลับไป
And I'm hoping that maybe
มัน
the
ที่นู่น
extra
เนาะ
little boost can make the difference.
I'm hoping so too. I also need to address something.
ตรงไหน
I
ของ
need
เวี
to
ยดนามฉันไม่
apologize
รู้
to
เหมือน
my
กันว่า
son
มันต้อง
who
สวย
did
มากแล้วเมื่อ
indeed
กี้คือเมือง
celebrate
โคตร
Parents'
เขียว
Day.
อ่ะ
I was just a little bit
แต่
late.
เดี๋ยวนี้สีเขียว
as
มัน
there
กลายเป็นทำให้
is
เป็นสีทำให้พี่แบบได้ยินปุ๊บแล้วพี่จะขำตลอดเลย
saying thank you very much and I love you to
So
his parents, to his
precious.
grandparents.
And you slandered him on broadcast.
I know. I couldn't feel more terrible about it as well. So there it is. Just glad that I've cleared the air on that because I was feeling absolutely terrible. Now let's get into some LCK.
มาดูว่า GENG จะถ้าแตกพ่ายก็จะคะแนนเท่า T1 แล้วก็จะถ้าวันนี้ GENG แตกพ่ายได้นะจะมีโอกาสที่ T1 จะขึ้นไปอันดับ3แบบออโต้
Pretty interesting best of 3 when if you were telling me about this like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I'd be like, oh man, this is going to be a little bit of a slaughter. But KRX have been making some strides.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they've been looking more competitive. I feel like we said in the last time these two teams matched up, they were hoping to be more competitive.
แล้วก็เจอฮาวาไลท์วันอาทิตย์นี้นะครับ
A great match when they have this overseas roadshow, and
yeah,
they really delivered.
Road show in Vietnam ของ LCK.
GENG, they also took down Nongshim recently. So I think the one concern is that GENG have been ramping up, but KRX, I think their standing scoreline doesn't fully reflect the form they're currently in.
All right, I would agree. And they're also going to be taking on first place Life Esports on Sunday as well. Still over in Vietnam, which is going to be just a little bit of the KRX celebration there. Hopefully they can also give Life Esports a run for their money, but that's looking like a very difficult prospect here. Into the roar of his hometown as Vietnam's Prince Lazyfield takes to the stage. Of course, our very first import here, as he is, of course, our first Vietnamese player.
เทคนิคเพิ่งลงมาเลยเอาตัวรอดเองได้ครับเพราะว่านิโก้มันจะเป็นตัวแบบตัวเปิดเลย
There we go.
Wait, is that?
เฮ้ย
Spaghetti code?
Is that a visual bug?
Spaghetti code?
เฮ้ย เคเลียไปยืนอ้าว What the fuck What the fuck เคเลียแปลงร่างเป็น What พิวซิกเดินมาแล้วงงว่าเฮ้ยเดี๋ยวนะทำไมหลอดเลือดหลอดเลือดกบทำไมเป็นอย่างนั้นวะแล้วเคเลียก็กลายร่างมาเป็นนิโก้ยกครับผมแฟดยกไม่อยากเชื่อว่าเคเลียแกมีสูตรอะไรอย่างงี้ได้ยังไงวะ
Hey guys, have you seen this Grump?
Yeah, Grump looks so weird, man.
แบบว่าเคเลียคือเบลซิกเดินมาบอกเฮ้ยเพื่อนเฮ้ยเราดูเลือดกบดิกบเป็นเลือดแปลกๆว่ะเฮ้ยเลือดกบแปลกๆเฮ้ยอะไรวะน่ะ
Wait, this is that support, and then they just immediately got
All right. Okay, there we go.
Position.
Ward over. They see the ward go down. And
What the hell on earth
just laughing, man.
เคเลียขำวะ
translated to a lot of Vietnamese fans watching the LCS now that he is over there with Team Liquid. But yeah, I think there is a lot to look forward to with this particular series. I think the next one going to be even more difficult for KRX. So if they do have a good showing here, it might help them out as far as putting their best foot forward against a very fired up HLE.
Yeah, a bit of a momentum builder potentially, and obviously big challenges ahead, but KRX, you know, any wins you can pick up is going to make a big difference, trying to push up the standings and hopefully push up towards where Road to MSI is in the conversation.
Yeah, exactly right. We do have a special opening as well that we are getting ready right now. So going to be a bit of fun as, of course, the home fronts always are pretty exciting. Here, the fact that we have so many road shows as well, like the fact that we've already been to Inspire Arena this season already, and hopefully there's just going to be more of it planned. Went to Hong Kong for the LCK Cup finals.
It's a lot of new stuff.
We're traveling around. We're getting around there. And I know, like, what was it, Wolf that put out a post earlier and there were people demanding We go to the Philippines. I'm demanding that we go to Australia. Great excuse to go and visit my mum. You know, that'd be pretty cool. Just try to do it in Melbourne because, you know, I don't want to get on an extra flight if I'm there. Australia's big
ที่วันชนะไหมครับ
place.
ชนะครับผม
Just,
2-0 ครับ
try to push
อวยพร
for
เจนจีหน่อยครับ ขอให้เจนจีแบบโดนได้ป่ะอยากขึ้นอันดับ 3 อ่ะ
from Korea
อยากให้โดน
It
2-0
would
ด้วย
be our like OC import that we can get into the LCK so that there's a good excuse to do that.
oh fudge
ขอร้อง
baby.
Yeah, it feels like he'd be a NA import at this stage. He's been over there.
อย่างน้อยๆโดนแพ้ 2-1 ก็ยัง
I
ดี
wonder where the
เดี๋ยวที
tally's
วัน
still
ไป
playing.
จัดการให้
I like that guy.
yeah
กับ
I know
DK
he's more of a
วันเสาร์นี้
commentator now. Maybe that's
จะ
what
ได้
we
ขึ้น
could
ไป
do
อันดับ
instead.
3
Maybe he could like join as a coach for someone or something like that. We should get Spawn into the LCK. That could be a thing.
That'll
Have a
load.
Smithy. Maybe after his work with FlyQuest is over,
แรง
he can
มาก
just come over to the LCK and do some stuff. That'd be
start
cool.
pitching because
Yeah.
these sound
คื
pretty
อถ้า
good
เกิดทีวันไปอยู่อันดับ
I reckon
2 ได้อะ
there
มัน
are
จะ
definitely
ดี
some
มาก
options
อ่ะ
here
ต่อ
so that we can
MSI อ่ะ
have somehow just a trip to Australia for the LCK because I just think that'd be really cool. Hopefully the internet infrastructure is doing okay. Haven't really checked back in. It was pretty bad when I was there though. So maybe that could be a little bit of an issue. I'm not entirely sure. It does mean that Melbourne's probably out. There are some great internet spots in Sydney. But I'm more of a Melbourne boy myself. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this, and we are getting ready to get into the opening and get this one underway for you guys. I do think that KRX, even though it is going to be an uphill battle, regardless, this is just so incredibly cool.
Yeah.
And I hope that even if it is a bit of a stomp, it doesn't actually hinder them or anything like that, because they also have like fan celebrations happening on Saturday as well, tomorrow. And so all of the Vietnamese fans can come over and hang out with KRX, and they're going to be there celebrating with them. And obviously, I mean, Lazy Feel is going to be pretty famous over there at this point in time. So giving him his time in the sun, quite literally, over in Vietnam. It's pretty sunny over there generally.
สู้ๆครับ
And being able to celebrate with him is going to be really, really cool for a lot of these fans.
yeah and a chance to attend an LCK match which obviously
ก็มีคนเข้ามาดูได้เหรอครับ
first time ever it's happening first time overseas
คือเข้ามาดูในส
I
นาม
wonder
ด้วย
how many more because obviously you've talked about the Australia one we talked about Philippines I wonder if we're going to end up getting more of these because it's pretty cool
Indonesian one, maybe?
yeah
That'd be pretty cool. You know, like we were
did
there.
go.
We
Yeah.
were there. And you almost died
Oh
because
my
we
God.
walked around outside. That was not a great time.
oh my god we were there for Mauhouse's wedding
Yes.
and we wandered around in the sun because we were like yeah you know we'll just go
Let's
around
go see the
things.
sights.
oh my god
โอ้
we
ที่ญี่ปุ่น
melted
ภูเขาไฟซา
Fox
กุ
needed
ระ
to sit
จิมะ
down for like 30
จังหวัด
minutes in the dark
คาโกชิมะ
in order to
ระเบิดว่ะ
survive. And then we had to take a cab. It was not exactly the most well thought out of things because, yeah, summer in Indonesia, bit of a nasty one.
yeah
Yeah, so let's not do that again. But we'll do the
We've
going
learned
there.
from it.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
also, I'm from the UK, right?
yeah,
We
you don't
get
know
much
what hot
sun.
weather is.
You're from Australia. You should have warned me.
Yeah, but I did think it was funny. So, and also, I mean, I'm from Melbourne, man. Like, it's very down south. When it's hot there, it's just dry. I'm not very good at the big, humid, gnarly heat. That's a bit too much.
was
Like the
very
thick heat.
Yeah.
Thick heat's not me. I'm more about like just dry as a bone. And it does get to 50 sometimes, and it can be for the people, Americans and stuff at home. 50 is not Fahrenheit.
My home would get very humid, just not very hot.
Yeah, when it's raining, it's generally quite humid.
Yeah, just perpetually grey and rainy.
All right, it's time to get ready, ladies and gentlemen, as we do have the opening for KRX, their very first home front in Vietnam, starting in a few seconds' time right now.
DRX KRX DRX KRX DRX KRX DRX KRX เมื่อไหร่สเกตจะมีทากูดเลนบนเฮ้ยโอ้โหน่าต้องชัดหน้าครับผมลุนเลย ว้าวคนไปยืนรอตรงทางเข้ากันรอถ่าย
Hà Nội, trung tâm triển lãm Việt Nam VC. Các bạn đã sẵn sàng cho một đêm lịch sử chưa?
Một lần nữa, các bạn đã sẵn sàng chưa? Lần đầu tiên sau rất nhiều năm chờ đợi, một trận đấu chính thức của LCK, giải đấu Liên minh huyền thoại hàng đầu hành tinh này được tổ chức tại Việt Nam.
2026 LCK Team Roadshow QMDS Homefront. Homefront presented by TV360, nơi hai thế lực của LCK bước lên sân khấu, nơi long tranh hổ đấu và nơi người hâm mộ Việt Nam lần đầu được chứng kiến thần tượng của mình bằng xương bằng thịt. Xin trân trọng giới thiệu hai đội đã sẵn sàng viết nên chương mới.
Bước ra sân khấu đầu tiên, nhà đương kim vô địch của giải đấu, biểu tượng thống trị của LCK trong nhiều năm qua. Họ là đội tuyển đã định nghĩa lại hai chữ
Speak
đánh
Spanish,
Họ
Spanish
là những
translate.
mạnh hổ đã gầm vang trên mọi đấu trường.
Xin trân trọng giới thiệu đường trên Kin, đi rừng Canyon, đường giữa Jovi, xạ thủ Ruler.
Wow.
Mạnh hổ Hàn Quốc, nhà vua của LCK, xin hãy chào đón GENG.
หักนิ้วโชว์ให้สักคนได้ป่ะแบบเนี่ยกำลังจับไงล่ะก๊อกนิ้วชี้อ่ะนิ้วเล็งที่นิ้วชี้
Họ đã khởi đầu LCK 2026 với những khó khăn nhất định sau khi trở về từ First Stand. Nhưng giờ đây, phong độ
เอ้า
ổn định
คิดในใจแต่อันนั้นพูดออกมาขอโทษที
và họ
โอ้
đang
ยก็คิดในใจครับเมื่อกี้ทำไมมันออกมาได้ไงวะเนี่ย
giải này ngay tại Homefront của DNS.
แย่ว่ะผมพี่ขอโทษนะแย่เล
Hãy
ยเกิน
cùng với tôi chào đón thật nồng nhiệt
นี่แข่งที่เวียดนาม
đương kim vô địch LCK
เฮ้ยจะวีหล่อมากเลยว่ะ
Esports.
Và ngay bây giờ, chủ nhà của sân khấu ngày hôm nay, đội tuyển rồng xanh đã từng nâng cao chiếc cúp vô địch thế giới danh
Wow,
giá
sân ảo sủa
của
nó.
Liên minh huyền thoại. Mở màn cho KRX, bức tường thép nơi đường trên, tuyển thủ dày dặn kinh nghiệm, người sẵn sàng đối đầu với mọi đối thủ mạnh nhất.
Người hùng bước ra từ cơn bão đường trên.
Wow, Bleach.
Gương mặt của tuổi trẻ, đôi tay của một thợ săn, chàng kiểm lâm KRX sẵn sàng trừng phạt mọi kẻ dám đặt chân vào lãnh địa của mình.
Kẻ săn mồi hào hoa đi rừng
เลอทำไมอ๋อเพราะว่าเขานั่นเนาะเลซี่ฟิลเลยแล้วมันมีเลซี่ฟิลแบบบึ้มไงเป็นเจ้าบ้าน
Bộ não của đội hình, người sẽ khiến cả khán đài phải đứng dậy, không chỉ bằng những pha xử lý đỉnh
The
cao,
bane of
mà
the
còn
lineup
những
ครับผม
bước nhảy ăn mừng đã trở thành thương hiệu.
Player who make entire arena อะไรอ่ะ
đường giữa Yuka
อ๋อยูแคลครับผมเก่งนะยูแคลอ่ะเอาจริงเล่นดี
Vị trí hỗ trợ, một bóng người có thể che cả một bức tường
แหม
thành.
ถ้าเกิดจ้าง
Nơi
T1 มา
đúng,
เจอ
đồng đội của anh được an
เจ
toàn
น
tuyệt
จีที่นี่
đối.
น่าจะมัน
hậu thân vững chắc của QMDS hỗ trợ anh
นี่แล้วเอาอันดิวมาก่อนด้วย แล้วจบด้วยเลซี่ฟิลซึ่งเป็นชาวเวียดนาม
Và ngay bây giờ, Hà Nội ơi! Tự
Hà Nội ơi!
đầu tiên
ขอเสียงดังๆหน่อยครับผมอ้าว
sẽ khoác áo rồng xanh để trở lại mảnh đất Thăng Long.
เลซี่ฟิลครับผม
xạ thủ Trần Bảo Minh Lazy Phil
หนุ่มน้อยครับผมอนาคตไก่ครับเลซี่ฟิลจากเวียดนาม
Lazy Phil, người đưa lá cờ đỏ sao vàng ra đấu trường quốc tế, niềm cảm hứng của cả một thế hệ người hâm mộ Liên minh huyền thoại Việt Nam. 5 tuyển thủ, một màu áo, một trái tim hướng về Hà Nội.
ทำไมเมื่อกี้ไม่ได้ยินเป็นหน่งมาแววด้วยวะเมื่อกี้
đoàn rồng xanh xin chào đón Kiwon DNS.
Long tranh hồ đấu, một bên là nhà vua đang trị vì, một bên là kẻ thách thức đang trỗi dậy. Sẽ là GENG
นึกภาพทีวันทาคุจัดที่ราชมังผมก็ไปเชียร์
hay sẽ là KRX với sự tiếp sức từ hàng nghìn người hâm mộ ngay tại Hà Nội sẽ tạo nên cơn địa chấn.
Bất luận kết quả thế nào, đêm nay tất cả chúng ta sẽ là một phần của lịch sử. Các bạn khán giả ơi, hãy cho tôi thấy sự cuồng nhiệt của các bạn nào.
Và ngay bây giờ trận đối đầu giữa KRX và GENG Esports trong khuôn khổ 2026 LCK Team Roster.
แล้วเจนจีเดินมาชนแล้วก็เดินวนรอบหนึ่งครับ
Represent by TV 360 xin được phép chính thức bắt đầu.
That was definitely a pretty epic intro to this first home front in Vietnam. And we'll have to see
ว้าวคนเยอะเนี่ยถึงแม้ว่าจะแบบมันจะยังไม่ได้แบบเต็มแต่ว่าคนมาเรื่อยๆนะพี่คิดว่าเดี๋ยวก็เต็ม
in the regular season. However, oftentimes it's domestic GENG that are the most terrifying.
แต่กำลังว่ะเจนจีต้องเดินรอบหนึ่ง
True. Actually, we've never seen a LCK regular season match by GENG in a different country.
Yeah.
แต่โฮมกราวด์ทีวันมันก็สุดจริง
Maybe this was a ploy all along.
นั่นนี่คือแบบว่าโอ้โหโคตรมันมีคนเชียร์ด้วยแบบฮ่าที่วันที่วันโอ้โห
But honestly, it's been working out pretty well so far. This guy has been pretty good for this squad. I think there have certainly been some ups and downs. Coach voice being a big up that we were experimenting with in the LCK Cup, and from then on. There's been a few more downs. I think a lot of that to do with the top side of the map. I think Keen versus Rich is going to be a big one. Rich, of course, formerly of GENG on that top side.
ขอทักครั้งได้ปะขอ
I
แบบ
feel like for Lazy
บ้านตัวเองอะคือแบบคิดว่าเป็นบ้าน
some
เรา
of the
เว้ย
games in which they've struggled have been when teams have really
ตะกี้
heavily
แบบ
targeted him
แอบ
and
ตัด
shut him
กำลั
out
ง
the game.
ตัดกำลัง
And
เจ
it
นจี
feels
ให้
like
เดิน
if he
วน
can
รอบหนึ่งแล้วนะคือ
avoid that happening and get through to the later stage,
Oh,
he has been a
มันแบบ
solid
ช็อต
carry
ชุล
for
มุน
the
อะ
team.
ช็อตแบบว่า
So definitely been some
งาน
focused
นอก
efforts
งานอะไร
towards
เงี้ย
him.
นอนไม่ค่อยหลับอะไรเงี้ยเจนจี
Genji
ชุล
go
มุน
down
อะ
that line today in this match was super cool.
Yeah.
All the fans
เฮ้ย
lined up as
เฮ้ย
the
คิดใน
players
ใจ
did
ทำไมมัน
those
ออกมาอีกแล้ว
walkouts.
วันนี้ไม่
Lazy
เข้าใจ
Phil
เลยเนี่ย
definitely looking like he's having a
โอ้
good time.
ย
Yeah, looking like king of the world at this
อยู่ใน
point.
ใจก็อยู่ในใจสิปะ
As
โถ
even the GENG players are having a lot of
GENG
giggles
fighting.
watching Duro there as they were
สู้ๆเว้ย
doing the
GENG
fist
โชวี่
bumps,
ทำ
just
ได้
having
เว้ย
a little bit of a laugh. I think everyone
ทำได้สู้
having a good time.
Let's
over
go,
in
let's go,
Vietnam
GENG.
so far, and I hope that is
Team
what
เพื่อน
is
กัน
going to continue here this week as well, as it's 3 days.
เฮ้ยใครตบ
over
ไม่มี
here in
พี่อีโม
Hanoi,
ตบมือคืออะไรอะ
for KRX going to be welcoming Humble Life Esports on Sunday, as we mentioned a little
พี่
bit
อีโม
earlier
ตบมือ
on. We have
เฟกชิแฟน
Champions
เจน
League
จี
just around the corner, though, as Chosen
อีโมด
is
เฟก
on
เจน
your one.
มาจากไหนวะน่ะ
Take advantage of that.
ไอ้
Much like
บ้า
he did
เอ้ยทำไมเป็นเฟก
I feel like
ดูดิใส่เสื้อเจนจีกระโดดตบขนาดนี้ทำไม
You can't be yawning against Yukao because he is a
Fake
high energy
GG.
player.
He
แฟน
absolutely
เฟก
is.
แฟนเจนจี
Can you imagine if they win today, the celebration?
Maybe he's going to backflip off the stage. I think that might actually happen.
I
We've
can
seen
see
him
it.
do a 360 off the desk. Maybe backflip off the stage is what we're going to get
รู้
next.
สึกยินดีกับคนอื่นหน่อยครับ
I
คุณ
feel
ทั
like
ก
it's
รู้
going to make the stage manager very
เจน
nervous.
ไฟติ้ง
I
เจนจี
guarantee
ไฟติ้ง
that is what happens every time he is on the
โอ้ย
stage there
ดู
as
ดิ
well.
ข้างนอกคือ
Getting closer and closer to champion select
ชู
here.
นะอยากไปดูบ้างว่า
As all of the tests were done, we actually we were watching as all of it was sorted out earlier on, and it seemed like everything was absolutely in order. As this is something that the LCK has been getting better and better at as we've been doing so many more shows that are produced here
KRX
and with
เอา
the
second
game
peak
played
ครับผม
elsewhere. Oftentimes, it's a little bit more domestic than this, though.
Yeah, that is true. And
วิลเลอร์หรอ
I feel like our teams, there was a lot of complaints about it in the LCK Cup.
Yep.
Have avoided toilet situations.
Indeed.
By consistently. So
we do have Wolf on the space as well today, so no one is safe. There are going to be any of those toilet issues. So hope there are not very many of the main offenders in this game. So that is definitely good there. And it looks like everyone is kind of situated just fine. I'm
เฮ้ยวัดกันเลย วิลเลอร์แต่พี่ว่าแคนยอนก็หล่อแคนยอนวิลเลอร์หล่อกด1แคนยอนหล่อกว่ากด2พี่กิฟหล่อสุดกด3วิลเลอร์กด1แคนยอนกด2พี่กิฟกด3
It could be a point that KRX can attack here today.
It's interesting that the Skarner has just kind of been a canyon-only pick. He's been very successful on it, and also when he plays it, he gets so much impact. Whereas sometimes on other picks, I feel like Canyon kind of just doesn't really have that same edge.
Just farms all game on Jarvan, but like early ganks all the time on Skarner.
On Skarner, he's just an absolute menace. So, I mean, if they want to bring that out, it's definitely a pick that gets them results so far. We'll see if KRX even want to try and deny it maybe in second rotation.
Well, here we are ended pick and ban for game number
1. แบนบาทครับ
GENG will be on our blue side. Will be just regular blue side, red side. Second pick going over to the right, which feels fantastic for us boomers here.
J4 หลุดอยู่แล้ว Lambo ไม่หลุด
used to it being that way. Looks like the bans are going to be very, very usual though, as Andal definitely deserving of the Bard ban, but Duro as well is another one that is a fantastic Bard player. I imagine that one is going to continue to be banned for the rest of the series.
Yeah, I wonder if we get to
Nocturne
comes out. And
เพราะว่าจะกดแอสเซลฟินแหละมั้ง
We've seen more and more Jarvan bans come through, and Karma's started to, off the big four, she's the one that started to slip through a little bit more and more. You could ban neither and look to trade in this situation.
แต่น่าสนใจนะถ้าเกิดสมมติเลือกเป็นแบบแอชมาแล้วถ้าเขากดเซลฟีนแล้วกดและแอนดิวเล่นในส่วนของไปได้นี่น่าจะมัน
which is a great pairing, and we can take Jarvan into it. That being said,
ไม่มันต้องเป็น
GENG go with that line? Will they prioritize the Karma, or will they go
J4 แบบนี้
Jarvan themselves?
ถ้าได้ J4 ก็แอสเซลฟินก็ถ้าสมมติกด J4 ตรงนี้แล้ว DRX เลือกเป็นแอสเซลฟีนแล้วคาม่าเอสเรียลนะต้องตัดเอสเรียลนะมันลำบากเลยนะแอสเซลฟีนเจอเอสเรียลยังลำบากเลยเลซี่ฟิลเล่นได้แล้วแอสเรียลครับนี่กดแล้ว J4 ครับอุ้ยภาพมาอยู่มันชัดขึ้นมากเลยวะเฮ้ยหรือว่าตาพี่เป็นอะไรวะตอนแรกมันเหมือนไม่ค่อยชัดเนี่ยเฮ้ยมันชัดขึ้นวะ
It might end up being a Jhin angle in this situation.
Or Caitlyn. Caitlyn's possible as well. You can play Caitlyn. You don't have to play Jhin. You can just play Caitlyn.
Caitlyn can't hear you. No.
They're in Vietnam. They're too far away.
Play Caitlyn's fine. Caitlyn's fine.
ได้แข่งเขาไปแบนกันได้ไหมพี่
I promise.
Max, they're too far away. They can't hear you.
I need to yell louder. I just need to yell louder, and then it'll be fine. Oh no, it's Jhin.
มันก็ทำได้แต่มันไม่ควรทำวะ
And I wonder if
มันทำได้แต่มันไม่
Canyon ends up going. You could go just like Pantheon. You could, but he could just go the Skarner here, honestly.
You could.
Based on what we've seen him play, you could also pick up someone in the mid lane. You know, Annie's been quite high priority. Rise as well on the new patch.
ใช่เพราะเรามีสิทธิ์ในการแบนตัวแบบที่จะเล่นกับแผนเรา
dropped off in terms of priority in the LCK. Started having less and less success recently. But definitely something that works. And UCal will go for that Rise. So not picking a pairing with the Ezreal yet. A little risky considering Jhin Karma. But one in that mid lane pick. And notably, you pick Rise, you can now get rid of the Anivia from Chovy. Catch up here as well. Then also those counters that have been causing issues for the Rise so far. And I think for GENG, you know, maybe because it's second pick for KRX, there's some concerns about
นี่ห่าวกันนิดนึงครับแคนยอนนะผมแบนอาเซียเลยแล้วกันครับ
Yeah, I imagine that's probably the way. Given the fact that everything is like, if they ban Nico, it'd be kind of funny, wouldn't it?
Nico
what it is there on
ต้อง
the
หาตัว
space.
โป๊
I
ไป
know he
สู้
hates
เลยครับ
Ezreal Nico, but we do see a lot of Ezreal Nico. And Nico does badly in a Karma, so I don't think GENG are going to be too scared about it. Widid's not even there to stop it. Instead, they go for the Nautilus.
So he's just leaving to cast the LEC
อยากรู้ว่า
right
ไป
now.
เล่นได้
So
เปล่า
we
อะ
are
แอน
second
ดิว
fiddle to Widid. Oh man, he is soon to go the way of the Mal House, I think. It's not looking good for Widid.
His mind's already over there.
It is. It
จริงๆป๊อปปี้
definitely
ดี
is.
เนาะ
Oh,
Pantheon
he never
ตันไม่
left
ได้ด้วย
G2 as it turns out.
ตี
Actually,
Pantheon
he is
ทิ้งได้
with
ด้วย
it right now, as we know.
Whoa.
The Jace is going to be taken away here, so
แล้วก็
just
แบน
making
เจ
sure
ส
like some of the blind pick
ขอรีเฟซ
options
สักรอบนึง
aren't
เหมือน
going to be
มันบั๊กหน่อยวะ
Counterpick is KRX. We've seen counterpicks work into the Jace. I know Keen's obviously a very scary player, but you know who else is a scary player? Chovy, and you left
จะเล่นตัวอะไรถึง
Nivea up.
ขั้นต้องแบนเจส
You
วะ
have a rise.
อ๋อเพราะว่ากลัว
And
แบบ
his Cassiopeia up
คือ
as
คือ
well.
มันเป็นตัวที่บายพิก
Just
ดี
played
อะ
that matchup, and we had to have like multiple times talking about the death by a touch issue that they're
second
going to
pick
be
นี่เป็น
running
การแบบ
into.
ว่าเหมือนกลัวท็อปเลน
Maybe
ลา
the
พิกกันเนาะ
Cassiopeia support is what their answer is into Jin
แบนเกวนครับจะเลือก
and that's the
Sion
way of denying it. Haha.
น่าจะไซออนละ
I mean, honestly,
ฉัน
KRX
ต้องหา
could
ตัว
pick the Nivea themselves here
Oh yeah, Nivea support. That'd be
and use it as a bit of a denial. I wouldn't
แอนนิเวียซัพ
hate
พอร์ต
that. The
วะ
Nico is still open available. I feel like
ไม่
Ezreal
งั้น
Nico
ไล
will
ฟ์เจอแอนนิเวี
probably
ยนะ
go
ออ
towards
เซลฟีนเนี่ย
We're actually going
เอาจริงเหรอ
Ezreal Seraphine. So not as reliable a
เป็น
pairing.
แบบเป็น
I
โป๊
feel
ก
like
แบบ
Ezreal Ash, but you have a
number
good amount of
two
poke, good amount of sustain. And the pairing with
แต่โป๊ก
Jarvan is
แบบ
very
มัน
powerful.
ต้องแม่น
We've
อยู่
seen
นะ
that.
เซลฟีน
Yeah,
มัน
the
โป๊ก
Ashe
มัน
Seraphine
แอนิเมชันมัน
Jarvan
ช้า
super
ไงไม่รู้
strong. Obviously the Ashe isn't here, but that Jarvan Seraphine duo is still
ตรงนี้น่าจะไซออนหรือเปล่า
very powerful. I'm wondering whether
ไม่กลัว
Chovy is going to go
ไม่
for
กลัว
the
เว
burn
นนะ
or whether it will be the Cassio. We know that he very much enjoys
มี
playing it
Pantheon
these days. So that might
แล้ว
just
ก็
be
มี
where he
คาม่าด้วย
goes. Instead, we're going to start off
เลือก
with
ไซออน
Keen's
มา
pick. Oh man, Jin
ตรงกลางน่าจะแอนนิเวียนะ
probably my least favorite combination in all of League
แต่
of
แอนนิเวีย
Legends.
ออกไม่ได้เลย
Gion
อารีดีกว่าปะ
Yeah.
I mean Sion's been doing
Well, no,
super
no,
well.
no.
อ่ะ
Gion,
มีอารีกับแอนนิเวีย
Sin.
Sin.
หรือ
Actually,
อากาลิ
just Sin.
Yeah, just Sin.
ลำบากหรือเปล่า
Sion's been doing really well in the LCK recently. Bit of a brick wall. And
Anyway,
some of the
idea.
top lane options
แต่ถ้า
thinned
ไม่
out
นั
as
บว่า
well.
J4
He did
จะมา
well
แก๊ง
to Jace, but no Gwen gonna be able to come out for Rich.
เอาวิกเตอร์ว่ะ
Actually,
เฮ้ย
it is
เปลี่ยนแล้ว
just
วิกเตอร์
gonna
ก็เป็น
be
ตัว
an
เคาน์เตอร์ไลฟ์
It does make some sense.
โอเคครับผม
It's
เป็น
been one of the
แอนนิเวีย
favorites of Chovy these days. And just enough. For
ตร
the
ง
top
นี้
side
มี
of the map into the Sion. Rich should be
มี
having
นา
a
มี
pretty
เว
good
น
time in that matchup, although we have
เอา
seen
เป็น
King
นา
do some pretty ridiculous
แม่แต่
things
นาไม่ได้ถึ
on
ง
the
ขั้นกับ
Sion
เคาน์
in
เตอ
the
ร์
early
ขนาด
game.
มาก
So it's not a safe one for Rich necessarily.
ถึงแม้
I
ว่า
feel
มัน
like
จะ
the draft started off pretty well.
ตีเป็นเปอร์เซ็นต์เลือด
Right,
แต่ว่า
they
มันเป็น
set up
ตี
a
เป็น
situation
เป็น
where
เว
they're
ท
gonna
ไง
get the Ezreal and
โอเคขออนุญาตกดแอดนิดนึงฮะ
kind of baiting Genji to
ก็
take
ใคร
that
ไม่อยากโดนแอด
karma,
ก็กด
but
ซับ
I
ได้
feel
นะ
like
ครับ
on the latter end,
ขอบคุณทุกคนที่กดซับ
not
นะครับ
banning
จุ๊บ
Nivea feels like such a
Jup.
free pick for Chovy when you prioritize that Rise. Like the third pick Rise, setting yourself up to ban the counters, but then not banning the counters, I feel like was a bit of a missed move by KRX. And now having to deal with Jin
BKB
Karma, super strong bot lane 2v2. You have the Anivia in the mid lane. We know Chovy's been absolutely popping off on that pick.
พี่ไม่ชอบ
And
นา
Keen
อุ
should
ต
be
ส่า
a
ห์ได้
brick
เคาน์เตอร์
wall
พิกแต่มัน
on
เป็น
this
นา
Sion. So I think Genji kind of have everything they really want, other than maybe preferring to have a bit more of a higher priority jungler. But they'll definitely just take the Pantheon.
They absolutely will. I am very much hoping that Canyon actually plays this proactively, though. This has been one of the champions where he has just said, well, I'm on this great early game jungler. I will see you in the jungle, and hasn't really done too much with it. That and the Jarvan have been some of the issues there. But I do think that he showed that he can play proactively on the Skarner in their last game. And hopefully he can bring that forward into this one here for their first game of this home front against KMDRX. KMDRX on the closest thing to home soil is for them as Lazy Feel is Vietnamese. Let's get into it.
แอดไม่ได้มาเองเหรอพี่ต้องปล่อยคิวให้เหรอพี่ปิดแอดแล้วครับพี่ปิดแอดออโต้จะได้แบบไม่แอดไม่ขึ้นมาตอนที่ดูแข่ง จะได้ดูแข่งแบบไม่โดนแอด
Just a little bit of a different thing as we are not in Korea.
แล้วก็เปิดออโต้เปิดเองตอนที่แบบดาร์ฟเสร็จอะไรอย่างเงี้ย
So incredibly cute. I love that emote.
But it's also great because we had the well, it was
แต่ก็สุ่ม
DRX,
คนโดน
KMDRX, they had their emote, which was the laser field capybara.
Oh yeah, true.
So it's cool that we're getting the capybara emotes coming out as well.
Just celebrating.
Sides.
All right, so this is not likely to be all that much fun.
ว้าวหลบสวยว่า
what
รู
I'm
เลอร์
expecting.
แต่ว่าแอนดิวเหมือนจะ
They can
done เลยครับ
always lean on the fact that they're not playing Jin.
That is true. But Jin Karma
เค
pretty
ลียร์
strong
หมดแล้ว
lane.
อ่ะ
Oh, well, Lazyfield with a very preemptive barrier there.
Still lost the trade.
But Ruler used his as well. Heals
คิว
coming
กัน
out
ไป
all
ค
over
รับ
the
ผม
place.
บา
We
เลีย
just
กัน
really
ไป
like to make sure that at level 1 you get everything on cooldown.
Heavy trading. You call getting some good trading in here as well. Onto the Anivia, both running the Deathfire touch here. So
ว้าวแต่ว่าจะไม่มีกล้อง
I
เนาะ
was thinking that
แต่มัน
Rise
น่ามีกล้อง
without
นักแข่งหรือเปล่า
the phase rush would
โอ้
be
แอนดิวโดน
a fair bit weaker, but it seems like the priority's risen.
Yeah.
I was also thinking the lack of
กล้องมาแล้ว
phase
ครับ
rush specifically into Anivia would be a problem, but
I feel like our Rise players have just said, but we can build Swifties, it'll be fine.
yeah.
And we've
ไล
seen
ฟ์เดี๋ยวนี้
sometimes
จะ
that it's actually
เป็น
being
รูนนี้
fine.
เหรอเป็นรูน
Not necessarily
Death
in this
Fire
matchup
Torch.
specifically, but just a lot of Rises have just decided that they
Oh,
want to build
Lazyfield.
Swifties regardless.
ออกมาได้
And that is their way of mitigating it. So far, you can see everything pretty even.
อ๋อลานรถไม่ได้คีน
As
สวย
far as like an even game state is concerned, I feel like an Anivia is always pretty happy about that. But over the side of KMDRX, they have Rise and Ezreal that are going to be menaces later on in this game. I think they're pretty happy for a quiet one to start this off.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just a little concerned that having the Scion as a front line, you have the Pantheon as well who can soak a lot of damage, can feel difficult for the Ezreal to have that impact if you're just firing Mystic shots into a brick wall.
เอ้ยดูเริ่มไม่กินน้ำยาเหลืองว่ะ
And also we've seen how Anivia,
โอ้โห
even if the
เมม
lane
แกเมม
isn't
ว่ะ แก
necessarily
เก็บน้ำยาเหลืองไว้กินในเลนด้วย
can crush Rise just when you start setting up for team fights. Now Willow is trying to find an angle.
ตอนแรกพี่คิดว่าเข้าใจว่าน้ำยาเหลืองนี่คือ
Yeah,
กินไป
Canyon
เถอะ
able to come on over here as well as the world's smallest wall is going to be put up here by
เพื่อมัน
Chovy.
แบบ
Just
เสร็จ
a
ไวจะได้เงิน
momentarily. Canyon comes on down though. It's going
โอ้
to be a
แคนยอน
trade
จ
of
บล่าง
stutters.
ได้เรียบร้อย
And
ฮะ
everything stays quiet in the early stages
ข้างล่าง
of
น่า
the
กลัว
game.
มากนะเอาจริงปะ
King catching a wave. Looks like he's having an okay time here with his soul furnace
ทั้ง
up.
แพนดิออนจิน
Hanging
คา
out in
ม่า
the top lane, just trying to weather the storm that is going to be the Nar matchup.
Yep, a huge amount of pressure for him to get things done here. So far, you know, we saw some of those early trades
เอ
go
อ
pretty heavily in favor of
จ
Gen
ริงๆแบบพี่คิดว่าไลฟ์ลุนวิ่งดีกว่า แต่ว่ามันอาจจะทำดาเมจยากไง
decent job of keeping up in terms of farm.
ที่จะครบ 25% เลือดฝั่งตรงข้ามอ่ะ
Yeah, that
มัน
one
พร็อพ
should
ยาก
be,
อ่ะก็เลยเน้นเป็นที่
especially
ทำดาเมจ
when Ruler and Dura have full health here underneath the
แล้วก็
start.
ใช้พาสซีฟจากสกิลเอา
chance to pick up a tier on his reset, so I think going back for it now, obviously pretty important to get that early on.
Yeah, we'll actually complete it now. Got a long sword, so could have got it. Decided not to. So maybe that was a little bit of an error. It just goes for another reset here. They did get the crash, so it isn't going to be the end of the world as he is joining the minion wave as he moves on up. And things still remain pretty even when it comes to the bottom side. Yukal as well, tier check. He has his, and Andal also has his. So there we go. All of the relevant tiers have been purchased. Chovy doesn't have his though. That might be a problem. We'll see whether he's going to go for that build. Is Andal going to force the flash
ต้อง
out
หลบ
of
เอ็น
said
โค
Chovy?
อ่ะ
Yeah, good
Chovy.
setup from KRX, kind of coming in with a
And
pincer
you
movement
check
from the
the skill
sides,
sword,
able to get Chovy's flash. Decent practice play. We'll see if they're able to capitalize on that lack of summoner later on. But for now, finding a good timing there. And as Duro
Liz
moved in,
สวย
wasn't
เมื่อกี้
really able to do anything until after the play had already happened. They are
เฮ้ย
now
แต่อย่าง
trying
นี้
to
ถ้า
do
เกิดไล
the
ฟ์สโลแล้วเซราฟินก็
River.
กด E มันก็ล็อกขาได้นี่
Hovering
หว่า
around the banana brush.
Yeah.
They won't find anything yet.
ลุนวิ่งมันติด
Ruler
ยากอ่ะ
really wants to hit someone with that last shot. Does manage to do so.
Oh.
Gets the deadly flourish onto Lazyfield as well. Duro does find the W, but doesn't find the snap. We'll see Canyon moving on down here as the Realm
Oh,
Warp is
จับ
going to
Canyon
join him.
Canyon
Flash
แฟด
out
อ
from
อก
Canyon. Does have Chovy moving
แล้ว
on
ล็อ
down.
กขา
Yukal
เซราฟีน
flashes
มี
forward.
แอง
He's
โค
just
พอ
going to
ดี
be helping his Ruler.
เฮ้ยแล้วหลบได้เหรอ
They won't
เฮ้ย Canyon หลบได้ว่ะ
Pantheon, but they're not going to be
เฮ้ย
able
หล
to
บ
do
ได้ยังไง
so
อ่ะ
before Chovy grabs first blood. Finally, they'll take
โอ้
down
โชวี่
Canyon, but
วอล
there's
ก็
a
สวยเลย
beautiful wall to set
หลบ
up
ได้ยังไง
for
วะ
the
แคนยอน
return
เมื่อกี้
kill onto
มันตัน
Willow.
แบบ
A 2-for-1 trade for
ไม่โดน
Genji so
ไม่โดน
far,
ล็อกขา
and the
จาก
deadly
เซรา
flourish
ฟีน
gonna connect on Andal as well. And
อ๋อ
there is Chovy finding it from
สามตัวเน้นๆครับผม
downtown. And they're going to make it a 3-for-1.
This
Oh
can be one
my
of the big
god,
dangers of
W หลบ
committing
ได้
onto
เฉ
a
ยเลย
Pantheon is
ว่ะ
that you can stall for so long, buy so much time. We've actually looked from the start of this play, so we have 3 members collapsing on a Canyon, but he flashes away. Yukal
แม่เสียดายว่ะ
flashes
Yukal
in the route,
ถ้า
but his Aegis blocks so much damage. He then
สวย
stuns
มากเลยแคนยอน
and dodges a follow-up Mandel with the heal coming in from Duro. He actually isn't even the first to die in the play. He only goes down now. Look how low Willer is. Look how low Lazyfield is. And they've already lost Yukal. They committed so heavily to kill Canyon. And in the meantime, the rest of
รู
GENG
เลอ
was
ร์แก
getting
ล็อก
free
ขา
hits
แบ
in
บ
and
จิน
pick up
แม่นจัด
3
เลยว่ะ
kills in return. Bit of a disaster for KRX.
I would say so, because they just got Chovy's flash. They're like, yes, we've kept him down. And now he's 2-0.
3 ตัวเน้นๆครับผม GENG ได้ไป
Got a cheeky ring
ขนาดโชวี่ไม่มี
there as
แฟลช
well.
แกยังแบบ
Build up some of those
ชิวๆ
stacks
เลยเมื่อกี้
and sitting at
วางกำแพง
6,500
ปิด
gold
วิลเลอร์อย่าง
in the
สวย
lead over UCal. It's not like
ได้ไป 2
end
คิว
of the
ครับ
world gold lead, but it's getting
โชวี่
close. And at 6.5
แล้วก็เป็นรูเลอร์ได้ 1 ได้ดาบ 1,300 มาแล้ว
for this one.
โชวี่มีชัดดาวน์
Looks like this.
202 แล้ว
That's all right. We're looking for another opportunity. Does have
เพิ่งเริ่มมา
Catalyst complete.
ไม่ถึง 7 นาที ตรงนี้มี
And Chovy's still with no
พาสซีฟอยู่
flash,
โช
so
วี่
there is no way that he
เสีย
can
ไข่
get out of
ก็น่า
this,
จะ
but with his Catalyst,
ยังไม่เป็นอะไร
just
อะ
takes
ชิว
so much
ๆ แต่ปัญหา
killing.
คือไข่ไม่
And he's
เสีย
still
ด้วย
on
ครับ
deck, ladies and gentlemen. So they were not killing him under
Oh.
that turret.
Yeah, they had to get him down outside of tower range. They could pump damage in the egg to get it.
เสียคาตาลิซึมไปแล้วไม่ได้ แม้แต่พาสซีฟของแอนนิเวียแซด
Oh,
จัด
and I do want to
ถึกไงเพราะว่า
have a
ไป
look as
ได้
well at Paula's build.
ไอเทมมาแล้วครับ
It's a
หลังจากได้
dangerous
2
thing to
คิ
do
ว
sometimes, but there is no ghost blade in sight. That's a BF sword orcs. I'm
Yeah.
มี
feeling
แต่ของเพิ่มเลือดอะ
So often
3
we
ชิ้น
see, I feel like the Ghost Blade, the reason,
a little bit of a gnar into the wall here is Kane.
โอ้
Just gonna
aggressive นะ
get a grasp stack and say thank
อ๋อ
you.
แต่ว่าโดดไปแล้วนะ
Rich is trading relatively well. That
Ooh,
cube
สวย
missing
มาก
there
เลยว่ะ
from Kane going to be helping Rich out in this matchup, but I think Kane just very happy to keep farming.
yeah. I feel like often we see the Ghost Blade come through.
Black
Because
Clover
it's so
ชิ้นแรก
much easier to
คุ้มมาก
recall and get a Dirk than it is to get a BF sword. And the Storm Razor build path feels kind of bad if you're not backing at some point with a BF sword. But it feels like such a smoother build path to just be able to go straight into your crit. And the fact that Rula has that, means he's in prime position. Now they are looking for
อ๋อ
UCal.
ยูแคลโดน
UCal just going to be snared up here
Oh.
by Duro. Canyon does
Jack,
get
Jack,
put
Jack,
into the
Jack,
rune
Jack.
prison,
Chim.
but I don't think he's
ไม่
surviving.
น่ารอด
Oh,
อุ๊ย
makes
โอ้ my god
just
เสี้ยววิ
barely.
คิวคูล
And
ดาว
Rula now looking for the fight against Lazyfield.
เฮ้ย
who's
รูเลอร์
already
รูเลอร์
shifting after him.
วิ
The minions were angry, and now the curtains have been called. True Rush
Oh.
puts him in position, but he does have the barrier there, and he'll slow down as Canyon also not going to be able to close the gap until right now. Takes the
Ui,
turret
Canyon.
out though as the Aegis Assault comes on in.
Oh
Andal
my
will
god.
explode as
เลซิฟิว
Zoro's
โดน
able to grab
ดึง
that one,
ดึง
and
ขา
there's
เอ้ย
the
โอ้โห
shield,
มันนิดเดียวเอง
and
อ่ะ
down will go Lazyfield as somehow GENG made that work.
Lazyfield trying to get so much done in that situation. Now looking at Willa to see if he can clean up.
My goodness, this is looking dangerous.
โอ้
The
กันยัน
Catalyst gets flashed, so damage does come
อั
on
นตี
through.
ไอ้
And
แฟด
Duro
โล
is
ปัน
just
ตี
gonna
ของ
snare him. The
เจโฟ
follow-ups, Deadly
เจโฟ
Flowers
เลย
will be
ดัน
there.
แม่งเลยละกัน
And Willa doesn't find any joy.
Devastating for
ดันแม่ง
Willa.
เลยละกัน
Ulted. Oh, he's going to try and stop the shield.
อ๋อไม่โดน
I don't
ไม่โด
think
น
it actually hit, but
Flag
เป็น
comes
ควิก
wide
แคส
open.
เลยแบบระยะเมื่อกี้มัน
yeah, Willa
ไม่ถึ
goes
ง
for the ult on a Ruler. Ruler flashes. The damage doesn't connect. He stays alive, and then he doesn't have the tools to chase down the calm. And we'll see the replay. Lazyfield gets a lot of damage down here. Feels confident.
ทำดีมาก
Plays
เลยนะ
aggressively
เลซิฟิว
into Ruler's face, but doesn't overstep, respecting the threat of the ult. True shot barrier comes through from Ruler, so he can keep channeling the ultimate. And then here Andal gets
ต้องทำเป็น
rooted,
สกิลพอดีเว้ย
unfortunately.
คือรูเลอร์แกแบบ
And Lazyfield
แกน่าจะรอ
manages to
แอนิเม
turn
ชัน
around
ของ
kill, but
แชมเปี้ยน
Arcane shifts into the
พอมัน
map,
แอนิเมชัน
gets
มา
rooted
ปุ๊บก็
after. Duro tanking the
ก็
tower
ล็อก
as well
เล
to
ย
keep Ruler alive.
Yeah,
แล้ว
it's
เซเล
pretty
ฟินก็
masterfully
โดน
done. Canyon has died twice
ไอ้
so far.
แคนยอน
but
เข้าต่อ
Activity prior to 10 minutes being 4 out of 5 of these kills certainly feels like he has followed the orders that we set for him. Deadly Flourish going to miss here towards this bottom side as Andal's having a bit of a sing. And KRX, the flash encore going to come on through. The beat drop comes down. Lazyfield finding the combo. Ruler staying alive for the moment.
Oh my
as Duro
god,
looking to
Duro
try
รั
to
บให้
get
หมด
some of
เลย
that health bar back and avoids a whole bunch of those skill shots.
ไม่ได้อะไรครับ
Himself alive. Meanwhile,
แล้วข้างบนเหมือนจะมีอาการไม่ดีด้วย
lane as Kane going aggressive onto Rich.
Oh.
Oh, there's a flash solo kill from this Scion man. Rich, we warned you about this.
ไม่มีภาพที่ KRX จะสามารถจัดการได้เลยวะ
Not something you see every
ไอ้
day.
เหี้ยภาพไม่มีเลยอ่ะ
I mean,
Oh,
he
yeah.
just has this
คือคิด
tendency
ความคิดใน
when
ใจ
he's
มันมา
playing
อีกแล้ว
Scion to find solo kills where other players cannot. A pick that has to be respected. Full channel Q comes out here. Rich is in Mega at the start of this as well. So much damage done.
I think just caught thinking that Kane had backed. And so Rich, I think, used too many buttons on the wave, perhaps. Very unfortunate.
The stun from the Q coming in as Rich turns into mini as well.
ที่ชอบมากเลยแบบใส่ออนออกไอตัววอร์เนนมิลอ่ะ
And I feel like
Thực
things are
mà.
looking pretty dire. KRX 2,400 gold down. I will say Lazy Field has been kind of popping off for some of these fights.
This
but,
stone.
Oh dear.
แต่ว่ามีแฟลชอยู่
Rich does still have
เฮ้ย
flash.
เดี๋ยวนะ
As the curtains
ล็อก
have
ขา
been
ไม่โดน
pulled.
เว้ย
Duro comes from behind the turret though.
เอ้ย
What the
ดู
heck?
โลมาจากด้านนี้
What was that?
แต่ว่าล็อกขาไม่โดนได้ไงวะ
Karma, able to help deliver that
เก
play,
มแม่ง
which
คือ
goes
แบบ
down
ยังไงวะ
even
คือ
after using the flash. And the problem is bot
ฮิต
lane
บ็อกมันคือยังไงวะเมื่อ
cannot
กี้
do the same thing to this Scion. It is just not feasible.
มันล็อกไม่โดนได้ไงวะ
Mukal just to clear the
เดี๋ยวบอกมา
way.
จัดการอ๋อไม่แค่
Yeah, so
แค่
we'll
กัน
be able to deny, the crystalline overgrowth, I guess. So that is something. Already one plate was taken here on this top side, but Yukal, I mean, you don't want to be putting out fires. You want to be starting them for the enemy team, right?
Yeah, if you actually look on the minimap, you can see this
Oh,
line
fat
of
block,
wards that Duro clearly went and put down and avoided the control ward in the tri-brush. It just went on a full journey through the enemy jungle
คือพี่
to
คิดว่า
get
เขาโยน
that flank
กด E
through.
Yeah, it's a vision tour. Just did a bit of a vision tour.
And he got that, that's the control ward you learn about when you started playing League of Legends. They used to just put down in the enemy jungle and it'd be there for 30 minutes.
Yep, the one that you have to name often gets called Albert on my cast.
We'll see how long Albert lasts in this game.
The last
คือ
time
พ
we
ยายาม
had
จะ
an
เน้นล่าง
Albert
ไง
wasn't
คือเอา
very
ตัวมา
long.
โปก
The problem
สู้
is
ปราก
you'll
ฏ
be
ว่า
able to clue it in.
It was Duro's.
Oh, it gets replaced immediately.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is it's
ไป
Duro's
สู้
control
ตรง
ward
ข้างล่างอะแล้วตายไป
supports
3 มันเลยแบบ
control ward, so
โดนคอนโท
not
รล
very
ซ้ายล่าง
long.
เยอะ
Goodbye, Albert. It was nice knowing you.
Yeah. Or unless you've just
ไม่
moved
มี
to the
เอ้ย
back of
มี
the
วิลเลอ
dragon
ร์มี
pit.
แฟลช
That's
แต่ว่า
that'd
ฝั่ง
be
ของ
nice. It's nice to know
เจน
that
จี
Albert's
ก็ดูโล
actually
ก็มี
I
แฟลช
think they placed him. I think Duro placed him in the tri-brush, and he just
Oh, did he?
He just got cleared.
All right, so he just so that's not him there. Okay.
Goodbye, Albert.
Oh, bye, Albert.
Again.
So many times we've had to say goodbye to Albert as Rich is
มัน
going
ถึ
to
ก
knock
มาก
into the
โอ้
wall.
แต่ว่าขึ้นเป็น
Do you think that Keen noticed?
ทีนิตี้ก่อน
I don't.
I don't think he felt it.
No, it's just you have to do a lot of work.
จู
to
อี้
try
มา
and
โค
do
เวอร์
damage
แล้ว
to
ตรง
this
นี้
Scion.
สู้ได้แน่นอน
Not as much to do damage to Willa though, who is getting pushed out by Canyon. Deadly Flourish is good, but the buffer is there. As the spear is going to connect, and
โดน
there's
ขัง
just
จนตาย
nothing he can do about that.
looks
Sandwiched into the wall.
เซเลฟีนเจอโชวีท่ายากขังติดกำแพง
As now Lazyfield does get out of the way of it, but still gets stunned
Lazyfield
by
แบบ
Chovy.
get
The
me out
bullets are going to rain down onto Willa, and now it's 10-2 in favor of
10 ต่อ
GENG. This
2 ครั
is
บโอ้ย
demolition in Vietnam.
Just feels like a regular theme of this game has been members of Gen G, often Duro, like behind the enemy turret, cutting you off from escaping. Here they just push in, they know they're strong, and I just feel bad for Andal. Chovy walks up and just
Chovy
traps him against the wall
ตัน
to the root.
ขัง
Look at this.
He's just
ออก
stuck.
ไม่ได้
Counterplay, please.
It's just unfair.
โดนล็อกขา
And the Ruler's ult comes up. The first two
ตัน
shots
ต่อ
are
แล้ว
calibrating.
ปิ
The
ด
last two
เส้
are
นทาง
spot
ออก
on. Lazyfield tries to get out of it and just ends up in the face of the Pantheon. So
Yeah.
tough start for KRX.
And we do have Storm Razor completed here for Ruler. Got a cheeky little Zeal there as well, building towards the rapid fire cannon second. Hopefully then it is an Infinity Edge, and this Jin. I mean, as far as Jin builds go, it's one of my favorites.
ใช้ช็อตชุลมุนกับเจนจีไม่ได้ว่ะงานนี้
Although not that much armor coming
แบบ
through
ว่า
yet for KRX.
เขาเม้มๆเลยอะ
Expecting that the IE should be the one that he goes for. Right now, it feels like it doesn't even matter too much, as Canyon pretty deadly at this point in time with a 1,200 gold lead, very similar to that of Chovy and of Ruler. They will be able to take down this dragon as well. Chovy might be in a little bit of trouble. As Rich throws a house at him, and Yukal is going to show up, but he just flashes away, and he'll be all right.
Yeah, Rich just not quite in range to get that wallop stun down.
รวยจัดแอนนิเวีย
The slow coming in clutch there
ดูเลอร์ก็รวย
from the glacial storm keeps Chovy safe. Still has to flash, but I think surviving that, flash or not, is a pretty big win.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't make Shelly upset. So Duro just going to leave after taking a bit of Q damage. But we have bounties set up, ladies and gentlemen. This is, it's really getting into dire straits for KRX. They are more than 5,000 gold behind at 15.5 minutes into the game. 12 kills already as well. I mean, it's pretty bloody when it comes to a Gen G game, especially a Gen G game that has Jin, Scion. You know, they'd often be playing for the late game. Not to mention Azir. Sorry, not Azir. Anivia.
Yeah.
Who certainly does enjoy it when games go long.
They're not under a huge amount of pressure to get the ball rolling, but they
did.
Definitely did, yeah.
And man, Canyon
ที่ว่าซาออนตอนแรกอะจะขึ้นเป็นแบบแค่วอร์เดนมิลเว้ยแล้วจะขึ้นอันเอนดิ้งใช่ปะแล้วเปลี่ยนใจเพราะว่านาไม่ได้ขึ้นแบ็คเลเวอร์อันตีแบบว่าแบบไม่โดนแค่ยังตายไหมอ๋อดูโลมาอ๋อ
As Canyon gets a big old shield, he'll be okay. Rich, he will not though. As now Yukao stuck underneath the turret, the huge wall. And speaking of walls, Keen is one.
Yeah, as soon as Keen got aggro, I'm like, that turret's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Like, it is not a factor at all. KRX try and make a play and get shut down. Now Laserfield has to do some fancy footwork.
Well, is able to just arcane shift out of the cone. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah, Sage, you having to dodge.
เละมากบนหนทางจริง 7,000 แล้วว่า 17 นาทีเท่านั้นนะ
That will force him to back away, but he will be okay. The rest of the team not so much.
No, let's have a look at this one more time.
Yeah, they go for Chovy. Chovy disengages pretty well, and then the TPs start coming in. The Pantheon ult starts coming in. You can see KRX a bit indecisive. Do they want to go forward? Do they want to go backward? They end up committing quite heavily, and Canyon, once again, the focus target, but with Karma shields and that Aegis to keep him alive, so hard to take him down. And this is kind of us seeing Pantheon doing what he does best.
Yeah.
Gets a triple kill as well, cleans up that one onto Yukal. He is now extremely fed in this game.
Seraphine kind of singing with her back to the audience in that one. A little bit unfortunate there, wasn't able to deal with the Pantheon that was the big problem. Doesn't really quite find the ulti angle that they were looking for. Keen now has 2 items. Malignance is done for Chovy as well.
Yeah.
A fun little choice. 207 on the Anivia. Ruler will finally deal with this outer turret in the mid lane because his rapid fire cannon's also done. It's an 8,000 gold lead, sub 20 minutes. This is just a massacre.
Yeah.
There's always game 2.
That's true.
What we like to say. But, I mean, at this point, they're winning so hard, you may as well give them game 2 as well.
And in fairness, the last time these two teams played, GENG did also
อยากเจอ T1 เหรอ แฟน GENG
and then KRX came back in game 2. So, you know.
อย่าเพิ่งเลยได้ไหมครับยังไม่พร้อมครับพูดตามตรง
This one is feeling a little
เห็นฟอร์มแล้วรู้สึกว่ายังไม่พร้อมครับ
A little bit extremely indeed. Oh my goodness, he was dead before the train got there.
Yeah, I think he was waiting for Keen to come.
อ้าวไหนว่าพร้อม
Using barrier, and he got caught off guard by the Pantheon burst. You got 6
ฟอร์มมันโหด
kills
เหลือเกิน
now, by the way.
Yep. And also that's why we don't blame Lazyfield for not pressing those buttons because, you know, if he does use it, then the train comes and then he has nowhere to go. So, just a little doomed. As Chovy teleports towards that bottom side, clears out that wave in an instant.
Oh, this is a tight turn. Oh, no problems there. Canyon, solid work.
Yep, turned on a dime. Pretty good turning circle on good old Shelly. As there's the stun, but does eat it, does Willow.
ก็ใครที่อยากจะเห็น GENG T1 ก็สัปดาห์หน้ามาถึงแล้วนะ GENG T1 วันที่ 16 นี้วันเสาร์ที่ 16 เสาร์หน้าครับ
Just saw an ult out of Ruler force the flash from Rich there.
ได้รับได้รู้ครับ
It's a hex
ว่าใครที่จะเป็นคนตอกครับผม
I do not think it is
ใครที่จะโดนตอก
No.
I'm not sure we're getting very many more dragons.
Yeah, we might get a Baron. That's going to spawn
นับวันรอ
in
เลยค่ะ
seconds time. And I think GENG might be able to just take it if they would like to.
Yeah.
Whether they do is, you know, up for debate. But Mikhail's is done. Like, Duro is an entire Mikhail's ahead of Vandal right now. Just makes Ruler so incredibly safe. Makes, in fact, anyone that gets engaged on so incredibly safe. Duro kind of has been everywhere this game.
Yeah,
3,300
Laserfield at least has his core items done,
ป่าคือ
which
แบบ
is obviously a
ดิ
big
บ
point
สุ
of
ด
power for the Ezreal, but is still very behind.
Yeah, he is able to do a bit of damage here, but the Arcane Shift is
ไป
going
นู่น
to
แล้วอ่ะ
be
แคนยอน
immediately punished as the Flash does have to come on through. They do take down the Pantheon, and KRX actually finding a bit of an angle in this one. The Realm to try and push it further even more, as Ruler could be in trouble. Rich is running real fast, trying to catch up to him, but the turn is on, and down will go the Gnar. Keen, I mean, they're not going to kill him. The rest of GENG, though, can they actually catch up? As Lazyfield able to Arcane Shift to safety. 1-for-1 though, definitely pretty good.
จนนะครับพอจนแล้วมันแบบ
They are the team
ตี
that was
ไม่ทันนะดาเมจ
exceedingly far behind. An even trade certainly going to benefit them way more. As the wall going to get set up, Willer going to have to flag and drag over it, and it is going to be Andal able to escape as well. So GENG losing out on 1,000 of their gold lead.
0-4
play from Andal, and
เนี่ยตรงนี้
really
ลิส
this could have been the comeback play for KRX. If you look at the ult flash he does here, gets it through the Pantheon onto Ruler. They jump onto
โอ้
Ruler.
วิลเลอร์ไม่น่ากดอันตีเลยอะ
He is just such a momentum killer. This brick wall that kind of
คือฆ่าได้มันดีกว่าแบบ วิลเลอร์ตายป่ะเมื่อกี้
Chovy as well denies the backline follow up, and Rich gets focused down as he tries to move forward onto Ruler, and then Keen just pushes up.
คือไม่น่าเลยน่าปล่อยคาตาลิซึมแม่งไว้งั้นเลย
And it does
Oh, was he?
nothing.
Yeah, I didn't notice.
Yeah, unfortunately, he has immediately picked up a last whisper.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
I think that's a shrewd investment.
Well, Keen's at it again as he does manage to land onto Yukao. Gets the knock up there as well as Lazyfield is going to be the first target. They take him down immediately. Great flash from Duro. Avoids Rich as Canyon might be his target. And I think Ruler is going to be able to protect him this time. And in fact, Canyon gets the work done himself with his spear. Now the Deadly Flourish going to connect onto Andal as well. Slowed down by the Mantra Q, and he will be dead. GENG getting some revenge from their jungler dying the first time around. That's 3 on the floor for KRX, and I think they will just break open the base. Chovy just happily farming in the top lane.
Yeah. Feels like this game was done a while ago, but they're just putting
It's
extra
still
nails
done
into
now.
the top. Yeah. KRX at least going for these attempts, trying to make things happen, but just being met with a gigantic gold lead, and GENG just shutting them down. Yeah.
12,000
Okay, Chovy building 3rd item dash cannon is unheard of, by the
gold
way.
lead is just like a third of KRX's gold.
It is a big amount of lead.
Yeah. Ult comes in here from Keen, and Lazyfield does manage to avoid it with the arcane shift, but then gets stunned over the wall. CC gets laid, doesn't get to play the game. And Rich, oh, we get another fight.
All right, we're straight back into it. Andal just going to get crashed into by a
บันเทิ
train.
ง
That
อะ
one generally
ช็อตนี้เป็น
hurts.
ช่วง
Ruler
บันเทิงอะ
taking a lot of killing, but he will finally go down as they did just realm warp on top of him. But now, oh goodness, like
ดูโล
reality.
ดูแกชอบคาม่าดิเนาะแกดูเล่นแบบ
Crashing down on
เออ
KRX. It's a
สบาย
triple for
ๆ
Canyon
ว้าว
as the wall is phenomenal from Chovy. Yukao getting a fair bit of AoE down
Fat
here, but
wall,
it is
สวยจั
Chovy
ด
that's able to get that work done. And now Willer is running away as the last man standing of KRX. He does have a smite button. It's not available just yet, but he could potentially contest this. But I think Keen and Duro are going to make sure that the Jarvan is ushered out of the jungle.
Yeah, not giving him a chance to contest this one.
10, 3, and 8 for Canyon.
And you know what? I'm going to say something. He was for sure going for that penta. You could see him lining up.
Yep.
He popped the scared Yumi emo after it got stolen by Chovy. He was hoping. That was his angle. That was his chance. And then after
23-4 เหรอคะอะไร
the
ดี
Rise died, he realized it was not to be.
แหมริน
This was just great target selection from Keen and Canyon here. Straight onto this.
รอก่อนเสาร์หน้าเดี๋ยวรู้กัน เดี๋ยวทีวันโชว์เลย
Lazyfield can't really be in a position to play the game. They commit onto him after the wall just slightly misses there from Chovy. Puts him on the other end, but they flash to commit to the play. And then here, Canyon's got a triple. He's like, oh, is it
I see it.
Look, he lines up the spear, and it gets stolen. And then he pops the Yumi emote immediately after.
And that's why they were very happy to leave Willer alive and just take this Baron instead.
Yeah, it really told the story, that situation. And honestly, maybe for the best for GENG, because I know they would have chased Willer to the end of the year.
They would have.
And not gone for Baron.
All right,
if he got that
Kane.
fourth.
Man, there are train tracks all over the place.
Oh my
here as he just
God,
rams
bounce
it into
special.
the turret. They don't have a lot of minions.
Yeah.
But Kane does have a lot of health bar. So I guess they are just going to stand here and take down this turret here. Brute Force is the way as Roar the Slayer comes on through. Deadly Flourish connects onto Lazyfield there as well. There's the encore onto the front line as Chovy gets gnawed back by Rich and flashes immediately out of the way. The Cataclysm comes on down, but they're a bit off kilter, and the gold lead is just massive. The Jarvan will finally fall, and the curtains, I think, are certainly called for KRX here in this game. as the second inhibitor likely to follow suit as Rich just looking to get back towards the rest of his teammates. And GENG, I mean, there is a Canyon with a very low health bar, so maybe not going to go for too much more. Somehow that Hexgate was taken here by Ruler.
Yeah, that was close. I thought he was definitely just going to get denied on it and go down. But it was honestly a good fight from KRX.
Keen can die.
12,000 gold down. But unfortunately, they're about to be 13,000 gold. That ult from Andal. Great work, and then comboing here with the follow-up from Willer. Rich slams Canyon in as well. It's a positive start to the fight, but the damage just isn't there. The gold just isn't there. And even with that solid start where they take down this seemingly immortal Scion, they just don't have the gas in the tank to follow through on the play. And GENG managed to force them away and back off.
Okay. Nice dash cannon there for you, Cal.
Okay, I've got to ask you something.
Yes.
Max.
Yes.
We're not really... we're talking about the Jin build.
Yeah. Oh, no! Oh, no, 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 no. The fourth... No,
the
no, no.
late dig?
Oh, the good old fourth item collector.
Is he
the forbidden tech.
Is he going... Maybe.
Fourth item Ghost Blade so he can chase down his foes.
Here's my theory. Maybe he is going Serpent Span. Because there is...
Oh, that'd be cute.
A non-zero amount of shielding on the side of KRX, you know, from Yukal with his Willer and Andal.
I would hate that the least.
Yeah,
I think.
I agree with that.
That's all right. There is the jump in.
สวยนะโชวิตรงนี้มีไข่นะพยายามจะเต็มที่แล้ว DI
taken down to the egg. In fact, as Lazyfield off to the
ไข่
side
ระเบิด
trying to get that damage through.
ไม่
Does have to arcade shift over the wall though, and it's a double kill
บ
for
ลัม
Ruler. Yeah, Chovy, he went to
รู
the
เลอร์
egg,
1-1-3
but then he
แล้ว
was just fine. The triple set up for Ruler. He wants the penta, and Yukal is set up for it. And Chovy steals another one.
โชวีโชวีอีกแล้วเพนต้าไม่ได้อีกแล้ว
It's like a dance, isn't it? As GENG just do the same steps over and over again. It is going to be a full house. Rulers full of Chovies in the end as the ace comes through, and the Nexus is finally taken down.
Chovy really said to his teammates, if you want to get a penta, you've got to get through me.
คนเยอะมาก
That is the biggest challenge.
If I can get this kill, you don't deserve the penta.
I think the best thing
ต
is that he gets
อนแรกเรามองกล้องเมื่อกี้คือมืดมาก
and
เนาะ พอเป็นกล้องนี้รู้สึกมันก็ไม่ได้มื
Why
ด
did
ขนา
you
ดนั้น
take those first 3 kills, you jerk?
Crushing game. I do think, being completely honest, those last couple of fights, you could see some good execution from KRX, but unfortunately, execution just doesn't matter that much when you're that far behind in gold. Like, the starts of the fights were good. That's kind of the potential we saw from KRX the last time they had this series, but they were just so far behind.
GENG โหดจัดเลยว่ะ
had all the gold they needed to close that game
เถื่อน
out
จัดเลยอ่ะ
and do it in style.
Yeah, they looked pretty good while they were doing it as well. And it was another one of these somewhat slow and could have been given as one of these lack of damage compositions. Not when
ดีเค
Canyon
ไปช
does
นะมาได้ยังไง
30K.
วะ
I didn't really factor in the Pantheon because sometimes Canyon's a bit sleepy in game 1.
Yeah.
Not sleepy here.
This was a great Pantheon game. This was kind of the Pantheon we've seen take over games in the LCK that's kind of fallen off from priority and not really had that success recently. Canyon reminding us why it was such a high prio pick earlier in the season.
Have to say as well, Keen was incredibly impressive. Getting that solo kill in lane and then always just driving into the middle of Team DRX to force fights over and over again
เขาแข่งที่เวียดนามอ่ะจริงๆก็
I mean, I don't think we can really stop.
KRX เขาบอกเป็นบ้าน KRX แหละแต่ว่ามัน
one of those
แหม่
great examples and pretty good play on the side.
Yeah, that one fight in the mid lane where it was just him and Canyon hunting down targets.
แต่ว่าคนก็เชียร์
Just
GENG อะไร
incredible.
กัน
Time
เยอะ
for
ครับ
us
เมื่
to
อ
take
กี้
a short break, ladies and gentlemen. When we get back, we're going to see whether KRX can fight back against GENG in Hanoi and keep this series alive. We'll also have the space to break down that game number 1, and then we'll be back again.
Hello ladies and gentlemen
Hello and welcome to the space. We're here after game number 1 of KRX at their home front up against GENG. And once again, as has been the theme of today. It was a bit of a
ถ้าระบบ
one-sided
e-sport ยัง
affair.
ไม่ถึงระดับ
Gen G
ลีก
taken
อา
down
ชีพ
pretty easily. What do you guys think about that
ไม่
game?
อย่าแค่ e-sport หลายๆเรื่องเราก็
I mean, let's talk about the draft first, right? I think that there were some tools here for QMDRX. The attempted, Ezreal pick away
ต้อง
didn't
ค่อยๆพัฒนาไปเรื่อยๆแหละ
necessarily find a lot of value. They took the Seraphine in the end, which has some function in this draft. I think it empowers Ryze pretty well.
ต้องใช้เว
and
ลาแต่ว่า
Jarvan
มัน
can
ต้อง
help extend the encore. But it didn't feel like they had a strong plan. They picked a lot of high tier
อย่างที่พี่
champions.
บอก
They
อะถ้า
walked
เกิดสมม
face
ติทำแบบ
first
ที่
and
พี่
maybe
บอกได้
a
มันน่าจะ
counter
ดี
pick,
นะ
for example, that they didn't
คือ
actually
ให้
take
บริษัท
away.
แบบใหญ่
And our pick
ๆท็อป
here
10 ของประเทศไทยเรา
should
อะ
have been able to
ต้องมี
generate more.
สามารถลดภาษี
But it certainly did
ได้
not.
ด้วยการ
I think
สนับ
that
สนุน
a
ทีม
lot of this game
e-sport
came down to some early mistakes, and against a team like Gen G, if you give them that little in, they
เอา
just
เงิน
take
ที่เสีย
over
ภา
the
ษี
whole
แบ
map.
บต้องเสียภาษี
I
ก็
wanna
มา
talk about
จ่าย
the
ตรงนี้
All-in
ได้
matchup more is because like they had the Ezreal Seraphine, which doesn't function well together. I mean, if they wanna play Ezreal again, I think that champion is built for winning only laning phase, and
ที
I
ม
think
บริษัทใหญ่ๆ
you
10 บ
can't
ริษัท
really
ก็
win
ต้องแบบ
against Jhin
อาจจะสัก
Karma as
20
a
บริษัท
Ezreal
ต้อง
Seraphine.
หาทีม e-sport
No. I think
แล้ว
we
ก็ดัน
have a better answer, right? No, we have a better answer here. I think they should have just played Azure Nami here. So I think they could actually do something in lane, like
มันก็จะทำให้
win
แบบ
lane
มี
against it,
บ
so
ริษัท
you can
e-sport
actually
แบบ
have a Azure
กำเนิด
winning
เกิดขึ้นมา
lane.
เยอะ
But
เลย
I think after that, like you can't really win the lane.
หลังจากนั้นมันก็จะ
Don't really get
เริ่ม
anything
เริ่
from
ม
these
แบบ
picks. And also
รัฐบาล
again,
ก็อาจจะช่วย
you
เรื่อง
put
ของ
the matchup, like the
เรื่องของ
Anivia
การจัด
versus
ลีกให้
Ryze
กับเกมต่าง
into Chovy. I
ๆ
don't
ก็
think
แบบ
it's
แบ
gonna
ง
work.
แบงก็
Yeah, it was definitely a mistake.
แต่ว่าเกม
And,
มันควรจะเป็น
speaking
เก
of
มที่แบบ
mistakes, we do have to talk
ไปแข่ง
about
ขัน
the
กับต่างประเทศ
early
ได้
game
อะ
where at the Dragon there was
ก็
a
เอา
little
ท็อป
bit of
10 เกมแบบ
shenanigans
ที่
that did
คน
go
เล่น
on here
แข่งกันอะ
as
จะมีมันก็
you
ต้อง
know,
มี
things
ลีกอยู่แล้ว
started
เนาะ
off pretty
ก็มีแบง
mellow,
แบง
but,
มีลีก
very quickly got a little
เก
bit
ม
out
อะไร
of
อีก
hand.
อะ
So
เอา
yeah,
เกม
I
ที่มัน
think
แข่ง
the
กัน
idea
เยอะ
was
ๆอะ
great.
แล้วก็ไป
Because here, I
แบบ
think it was great
ทีม
usage
มันก็จะได้
of
จัดเป็นลีก
the,
แล้วก็
using the mid pressure.
ช่วงแรกก็อาจจะขาดทุน
Here,
ก่อน
you can see
แบบ
like
ไปก่อน
Yukol
ป
having
ก
the
ติ
mid
แต่ก็เอาเงิน
priority
จากการเสียภาษี
into,
ตัว
the
ที่พี่บอก
river. So I think it was
มา
really
รัน
great idea to pressure the jungler.
ก็คือ
even
ทีม
though you
สปอน
don't
เซอ
have
ร์
the
เข้ามาใน
pressure on the bot lane. But in fact,
บริษัท
that you already
สปอนเซอร์
used all
ทีม
the skills
e-sport
here, so you're on the cooldown,
e-sport ต้องเอาเงินมาจ่ายให้กับ
and you
ลี
already
ก
got the small
เพื่อจัดการ
victory,
แข่งขัน
which is the Pantheon
แล้ว
Flash.
ลีก
And your
ก็
bot
รัน
lane is not
ลี
ready
กไม่ได้
to
หมายถึง
take
ลีก
the
เลยจะ
fight,
หมาย
so
ถึง
you
ลีก
gotta
เก
be
มนั้นอะ
okay with the flash,
ก็รัน
and you're just not.
ไปก่อน
But
ช่วงแรกก็
instead of
ขาดทุนไปก่อน
that, what will happen next
ก็คือ
is
เอา
that
เงิน
they're
ที่พวกนั้นมารัน
just
ก่อน
gonna
พอรัน
keep
จนได้กำไร
chasing
แล้ว
over the Pantheon,
ก็
and they're
ทำ
gonna
อย่างนี้ไป
take
เรื่
the
อย
fight when Genji had the full priority in the bot lane.
ลีกก็จะ
I
เริ่ม
don't know,
เติ
we
บ
have
โต
to come up with a name for this.
จนลีก
Maybe
มันเริ่ม
lost
มีตังค์
lane
พอมี
syndrome
เริ่ม
or
มีตังค์
something
แบบ
like that, but I
ก็
feel
จัด
like
แบบ
so
ลีก
many
ส
of
อง
our East Side teams when they're losing lane all in
แล้วก็
this
ทำของ
fight.
พรีเมียร์ลีก
Like every
ลีก
single
2
time,
ลีก
like, oh, we have
ลี
to
ก
do
1
something, we
ก็
have to take the skirmish, we found an angle,
เลื่อน
maybe
ชั้น
we
ตก
got
ชั้น
the
กัน
jungler. And we've seen teams like Gen G, T1, KT actually punish those attempted all-ins all the time. And when you go for that, when you're
โดต้าไม่ติดอยู่ที่ชนะแข่งเยอะไม่อาจจะติดต้องไปดูอ่ะก็เอาแบบคือเอาง่ายว่าคือเราปั้นเกมแล้วปั้นเกมมีสปอร์ตอ่ะปั้นเกมที่แม่งบอกว่าเอาไปแข่งกับต่างประเทศได้มันก็จะดีกว่า
I feel like if you just do as we did say and take the flash and continue to try to play your lane out, let Lazyfield carry later on in the game when the Ezreal actually hits his 2-item spike, then you've got a playable game. But they just keep forcing because they're like,
แต่โด
oh,
ต้ามัน
Ezreal's
เหมือนมัน
behind.
จะไม่ค่อยมี
We
ลี
have
ก
to
มันเห
make
มือนก็เป็น
something
ทีม
work.
มีสปอร์ต
And
แล้ว
it
ก็
just was it was a
ไปลุ
zero-sum
ย
game
แบบ
there.
Yeah, it feels like a little bit
ไป
of
ลุย
an
ทัวร์
air
ต่าง
of
ๆตามภูมิภา
desperation,
ค
you know, for the teams that don't find a lot of success. They're like, we got to get something huge
ใช่ถ้าเกิด
off
เน้
of
นโล
this.
คอล
Whereas
มัน
the
จะ
teams
ว
that
นๆอยู่
find
ใน
a lot of
ตลาด
success
ใน
are
ประเทศ
like,
มันก็
well,
จะแบบ
we know how to take
ส่ง
the
ออก
little
ไม่ได้
wins and kind of build off of that. And speaking about wins, we have to move to the
ถ้า
top
ทำแบบที่พี่
lane
บอกนะ
where
คือ
Gen G were essentially
แม่งแป๊บ
able
เดียว
to
อ่ะ
put the
แม่ง
cap on this
อี
game.
สปอร์ตแบบ
This is
5 ปี
probably
แม่งโตเลย
the last team fight that they could actually look for because Chovy was kind of overstepping, but it's not. He had Zac, and they were just super far ahead from the early game. So it
แล้ว
was
ภาย
just
ใน
an
5 ปี
easy
ก็น่าจะ
clean up from
แต่ว่า
them.
อาจจะ
Chovy's
บางคนอาจจะ
positioning is
ไม่อยากให้
so good. They have to
อีส
turn
ปอร์ตมันโต
target
มัน
on
แบบ
the
รู้สึกว่า
canyon.
เด็กมัน
They can
ไม่
buy
ควร
so
เล่น
much
เกมอะไร
space
เงี้ย
with his shield, then
เด็ก
the
ควรจะแบบ
karma
ตั้งใจ
shows up,
เรียน
and this is just how you play the map
อย่าง
better.
นี้ป่ะ
They're using
เอ
the
อ
global pressure
ก็อาจจะ
incredibly well here with with the Pantheon, and everyone rotates up so fast. And Chovy just walks away. He's like, okay, I'm the vulnerable target. I have Egg, but I'm still not going to let them get my passive. And then suddenly Canyon buys the space. Then the Karma shows up, and unfortunately for KRX, it was a desperate play that backfires.
Well, regardless of the results of game number 1, it does look like the boys from the side of KRX are still having a good time over there in Hanoi as we head back to the casters.
พี่ต้องดูก่อนเด็กไทยไม่เล่นเกมแนวหน้าในต่างประเทศนะแอลก็ต้องมาเที่ยวเกมอื่นมันต้องแบบทำคือถ้าเกิดสมมติว่ามีระบบรองรับลีกรองรับอ่ะมันเดี๋ยวมันก็จะมาเรื่อยๆเว้ย
This did
อย่างที่บอก
happen.
ช่วงแรกมันก็ต้องขาดทุนไปก่อน
KRX, they rose to the occasion.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you that first game
เหมื
they
อนอา
played
รมณ์แบบ
last
ว่า
time, and they went 1-7-1. You know,
แต่ว่ามันก็ต้อง
4-0.
คือ
It was
อธิบาย
also
ไม่
a
ถูก
tough
อะ
game when they faced off last time and lost that game 1 and then came back strong in game 2. So we'll see what they're able to put forward. I think obviously Dinavia to Chovy.
แต่ปัญหาคือใช่ต้องมีระบบจัดการเรื่องอย่างของเกาหลีจะมีเคสป้าที่คอยดูแลเรื่องการแข่งขันไทยก็ต้องมีแบบมีสำนักงานหลักของลีกที่แบบคอยตรวจสอบเรื่องแบบทุกเรื่องไม่ว่าจะเป็นเรื่องการโยนเกมพวกพนันอะไรเงี้ยอย่าทำให้ลีกมันกลายเป็นว่าพนันมันมาครอบงำต้องให้การแข่งขันเป็นการแข่งขันจริงๆก่อนคือเอาง่ายหลักๆคือเงินมันต้องโอเคอะคือถ้านักแข่งมันเงินโอเคอะมันก็แรงจูงใจในการแบบมันก็จะน้อยลง
Wonder what that means. Maybe it's allowing him to play Neferi mid. Wants to utilize the good old Deathfire touch build.
I hope so. I saw an interview as well being talked about.
Ooh.
It was I think it was Palafox.
Oh yeah.
ช่วงแรกก็ต้องจัดแบบว่าแข่งไปก่อนโดยที่แบบอันดับ1ของลีกไทยก็จะไม่ได้มีผลอะไรก็จนกว่าไลออนเขาจะมองว่าเฮ้ยถ้าสมมติเป็นเกม L นะว่าเฮ้ยมันโอเคนะก็เป็นสล็อตเข้าไปต่างๆได้
That's the thing is like early on the dots like it's some extra damage is nice but it's not like an insane amount but once you get some AD behind it cause bonus AD ratio is so high and it scales up a bit it's kind of crazy especially with the new Cyclo sword
yeah
that's why it was hitting so hard yeah not sure it'd be cool if we do see it that is some bright lights.
Yeah, I am getting blinded here watching what's about to unfold in Hanoi. And hoping that KMDRX make sure that, we get our money's worth, This is a road show. These are the fun ones, and if we want to get as much League of Legends as possible.
It's got to go to 3. Right?
It does.
That's the challenge.
And that's what happened last time.
That's what happened last time.
ผมว่าไทยเล่นมาไม่ทำมาจัดมีใครมาจัดลีกใช่ป่ะ
To be a banger because they had a close one last time, so I'm hoping.
คือนี้มันเหมือนไม่รู้เหมือนแต่ที่พี่พูดให้ฟังคือเอาเกมท็อป10มาเลยครับเกมที่มันบอกว่ากำลังมาแล้วอย่างที่บอกก็คือเอาบริษัทชั้นนำมาเป็นสปอนเซอร์ของแต่ละทีมมีสปอร์ตที่ได้เงินไปก็ต้องล็อกสล็อตเพื่อจ่ายแบบซื้อสล็อตในการแข่งการเล่นแล้วตอนนั้นมันก็จะเริ่มหาคนมาแข่งกันมันก็จะเริ่มมีการซื้อขายคนเลยมันเหมือนวางระบบที่แบบหาคนแล้วอะที่เหลือก็รอคนมาเล่น ถ้าเงินมันเยอะหน่อยมันก็จะกลายเป็นว่าบริษัท e-sport ก็จะดึงคนนักแข่งแบบต่างประเทศเข้ามาเลยช่วงแรกก็ปั้นนักแข่งต่างประเทศผสมกับนักแข่งแต่ว่าต้องมีกฎเหมือนแบบพรีเมียร์ลีกคือต้องมีนักแข่งไทย2 คนอย่างน้อยใน1อย่างน้อยๆ3 คนในลีกในทีมอะไรอย่างเงี้ย 2-3 คนอ่ะ
And we'll see what it is going to
2 คน 2 คน
You could ban that Lucian that we were talking about before. Genji with that first pick is Caitlyn going to be taken off the board. And so now if you do want the Lucian Milio, which is a possibility here, Genji would have to pick one of them now.
Yeah. Do you go in that direction? Do you just secure the Xin Zhao? That is kind of the question. Going for the Annie instead, which is a first we've seen be quite popular. So not really opting into either of those. If I'm KMDRX here, I think you could just go
หมาผมเกมที่2จะ2-0เลยหรือเปล่าถ้า2-0ก็ได้เล่นนู่นเลยเปิดวินโรส
So I do like it.
Yeah, the one concern is if you go Lucian Xin Zhao, do they just take Milio away? Because Milio's pretty good with Lucian and good into Nami. Good into Nami, good into Annie.
วิกเตอร์ได้ป่ะวิกเตอร์มันหมดความชอบธรรมแล้วเหรอ
I don't think you can mess around and leave the Milio up, and that's exactly what they're going to do.
Go in that direction. I feel like we've seen this kind of develop a lot, where first pick ends up getting like their entire top side, and then second pick picks up that bot lane in the first 2. So I wouldn't be surprised if Genji go jungle top here, maybe securing a Xin Zhao for Canyon, but instead they're actually going towards the bot lane.
Ogmore Lulu?
Ogmore Lulu might just come out.
Oh, that'd be a lot of fun.
อันนี้เจนจีซ้อมแผนแบนเจอทีวันป่ะใช่ แม่งแบนน็อกเทิลวาลัสแล้วก็บาทแต่ว่าพอเป็นอย่างนี้ก็ไม่เจออาเซียเนาะแต่แอนนี่มันแบบมันเจออาเซียได้ช่วงแรกโอ้คอกมอกับลูลูครับผมเพสเล่นไปแล้วนะแล้วก็ทำให้พี่คอแตกไปเลยนะครับผมผมก็ว่าโดนเหมือนเดิมพี่แล้วบริษัทที่มาสนับสนุนเขาจะทำเงินจากการสนับสนุนทีมได้ยังไงอะพี่ก็อย่างที่พี่บอกไงก็คือสมมติว่าบริษัทเนี้ยต้องเสียภาษีเท่านี้ทุกปีเป็นสมมติเสียภาษี100ทุกปีรัฐบาลก็ออกกฎตรงนี้ขึ้นมาเพื่อแบบทำให้บริษัทอีสปอร์ตเนี่ยถ้าเกิดมาลงทุนในบริษัทอีสปอร์ตแบบเป็นสปอนด้วยก็จะอาจจะเหลือเสียภาษีแค่99หรือ98จาก100อะไรเงี้ยและได้ชื่อด้วยอะไรอย่างเงี้ยนึกออกปะเหมือนเคยเสีย100ทุกปีก็ปีนี้ก็จะเหลือเสียแค่98 99แล้วก็ได้ชื่อเสียงในการเป็น PR ให้แบบว่าเป็นสปอนให้กับทีมอีสปอร์ตด้วยมันก็วินวินทั้งสองฝ่ายแล้วเราก็เอาเงินตรงนั้นอะที่เขาเสียภาษีสปอนมาให้สปอนต่อพี่กิฟไหมครับพี่กิฟครับ
Maybe there is some leeway for Canyon to get towards that.
The guaranteed dive in into it's kind of like the Nocturne Lulu we saw, but just like a bit of a different flavor.
Yep.
And obviously being a short range AD carry, Lucian would be kind of vulnerable to that. The Lee Sin ban does come out, getting rid of that pairing.
One last mid lane ban, perhaps.
ทีม CP ทีม
I don't know what the answer to Annie necessarily is, and neither did GENG. They're just going to take away the Jace, make sure that Rich isn't on that one.
ทีมแบบไก่ย่างบางตาลนิตยาไก่ย่างทีม Nice to meet you
That's an odd one. Yeah, the fact that the Annie's already showing.
They wanted to prioritize that with Gnaw and
Jason. There is still picks ก็เอาเรื่องสปอนเนี่ยมาลดภาษีได้ทุกระดับบริษัทที่จดทะเบียนมันก็จะแบบเสื้อนักแข่งก็จะมีติดแม่งเยอะเลยนิตยาไก่ย่างติดเต็มตัว
We are playing full Juggernaut. That is so cool. Okay, so Shen to provide a huge shield for the Kog'Maw that already has big shields.
Oh my god เชนบนเหมือนเจนจีแบบเกมนี้เหมือนลองดาร์ไปเลยอะแล้วแบร์อาร์มาจากไหนวะเนี่ย
This is the stuff that G2 did.
Yeah, exactly.
Against GENG and
we did have that
drawing that he was doing
ฝั่งของ KRX คือดาร์เอาจริงจัดและเจนจีแบบ
like coming through for GENG
เอามันละ
And the Nefiri that we were talking about, the consideration here, and can join with the Shen as well. So not only are you delivering a wild growth into the backline, but you're delivering a ninja there as well.
Yeah, this honestly feels pretty devious from GENG, and KRX considering the Cassiopeia as an option to shut down some of this threat.
Cassio
could be all right. Obviously doesn't do a whole lot with the miasma into the Annie. Instead, going to be locking away the Victor. We did see Showmaker have a pretty good time on the Victor, even if they ultimately did lose that game.
I think this might be really tough for KRX.
Yeah.
Someone like the lane matchup bot is going to be a tough time. And then just the fact that you have the guaranteed dive in of the Nefiri with the wild growth, then with the Shen on top. I struggle to see how Yukal and Lazyfield are going to survive against that. And that doesn't even mention the fact there's an Annie as well.
Yeah, this is the thing. They've got so much peel for this Kog'Maw, and then they've also got so many extra threats that you also have to deal with.
So much dive as well. And also, if you're starting the fight, Kog'Maw can just ult on top of the target you're going for, which can do a good amount of damage if they're on lower HP to finish them off. So much dive threat, so much flexibility from GENG in this composition to kind of play the game as they like.
Yep, Joker and Ryu, of course, formerly teammates.
Dr. Mundo Cockshin.
Oh, there's his graphic.
There it is. The idea is 2 of them in the same game. Oh, absolutely insane. You did mention the Dr. Mundo, but I think the Nefiri on this patch especially, even though he's probably not going to go the fun route, is still going to be feeling very, very good. And we've seen it paired with the Lulu very effectively. This is a GENG that are actually evolving and changing. That's very, very cool. Yeah. We've seen GENG stick to the same meta for an entire year, despite the fact that it has been changing around them and just be good enough. This time around, they are adjusting. There are almost fan chants. I could almost hear them. We don't quite get them, as of course, this is a roadshow, so it's going to be a different story. As already, Duro and Ruler just trying to spit on LazyFeel and Andil here. And that is not a negative thing. That's just how Kog'Maw works.
Yeah.
Although I guess technically not with this skin because he's just a metal. I used to call this skin the oven. He just kind of looks like an oven. It's like all powered up.
A weird oven.
It's a weird oven, but it's an oven nonetheless.
Ooh.
All kind of like those.
สกินนี้แม่งปั่นดีวะ สกินคอมมอนเนี่ย
Yeah. Interesting. He didn't opt to go for
หุ่นยนต์เหรอ
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of very, very cool Kog'Maw skins.
โอ้ยแต่มันเห็นนะว่าใช้สกิลนั่นน่ะ
The Monarch Kog'Maw, that
เพิ่ม
one's
ระยะ
But the Kog'Maw is very good. The Jurassic Kog'Maw, also fantastic. Just a skeleton.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. Just being a pretty butterfly is just so great.
Both these AD carries, pretty strong level 2 spikes.
แล้ววิกเตอร์
But I think
อย่างที่บอกวิกเตอร์มาสู้กับ
KRX
แอนนี่
trading into this combo.
Especially
Classic.
when they hit level 2. It is going to be met. LazyFeel and Andil hitting it as well.
That's big. They bait out the W from the Milio, and now Ruler has his W to look for some trades. Decent trade back though, honestly, from LazyFeel.
Yep. And Ruler just going to use it to farm from range right there. Has gone for the Doran's bow as well, which is kind of cute.
Yeah, I think it makes sense with Kog'Maw. Attack speed obviously very valuable, but Willa is here and he's in trouble.
Oh yeah, they get the shield, but Ruler still has to flash. The wind becomes lightning. Caustic Spittle is kind of just landing every time. It's pretty nice.
โดนเวทแต่ว่าก็
We have the first
vertical
game
farm
for Canyon and Keen as well. Yeah, that's a lot of playing for the first time. We did know about the Kog'Maw, as obviously only Pays has played it so far. Now Keen just trying to put on his best Broken Blade impression.
อุ้ยวิลเลอร์มาแก๊งกลางต่อไม่
Yeah, we also got the changes to Dusk and Dawn on this patch, so it's a little bit worse statted, but it now heals you.
แต่คิดว่าโชวี่คือโชวี่รู้แล้วโชวี่เดินมาด้านบนตลอดคือถ้าเกิดไปเล่นแล้วก็เจอหมามาโคเวอร์อาจจะกลายเป็นยูแคลที่ตายเอง
See whether he is just going to go the Kanavi Xin Zhao build. You could just do that. Titanic Hydra into the Dusk and Dawn.
That was the build that Broken Blade went. Titanic, Dusk and Dawn, then Vandal Pipes.
Yep. And I think that was the build that... Was it Rich that played Shen? Someone played Shen quite recently in the LCK here as well, but my memory is failing me right now as to who exactly it was. But I think it was a very similar build.
Yeah.
Definitely had Vandal Pipes.
Also the Spellblade healing on Dusk and Dawn scales with bonus scales with AP and bonus HP, so it can be quite sizable on a tankier champ like Shen.
Yeah, goes back home and just a cloth armor.
ขึ้นก่อ
So
2
we're
อัน
not
ว่ะ
getting very much
ขึ้น
information
แบมโบ
as to
เวส
what's
ก่อน
being built just yet.
คีน
Yeah, no indication.
เอามาสู้กับเลนเน็ก
Just grabbing a couple of them. I think he's just going to get a cheeky Bramble Vest. To start
ได้รี
off
เซ็ต
the
ก่อน
lane.
ครับแคน
Make
ยอน
sure that he's
หลังจากที่
comfortable as possible.
ฟาร์มยับเลย
As many Culdameeks as he can. All right. Oh, that
Oh
denial
my
is pretty nice. And even
God.
draws Rich under the turret. He's been practicing.
Keen.
He has been practicing the
เอา
Shen.
คลาสว่ะ
This guy has studied his ex-Petu VODs.
Yeah.
ตะกี้กด W หลบแล้วก็โอ้โห
Still
ทอน
pushed
แบบ
in
พุ่งไป
by
ทอนแล้ว
Rich, but Keen's gonna hit level 6 soon, and at that point, making plays becomes a much more difficult calculation for KRX if you want to be
การ
proactive,
รัดมินเนี่ยน
which you
แกเม
definitely
น
do
เปล่าวะ
in
เนี่ย
this Gen G composition.
Yeah, having a look here, Chovy is looking a
อันนี้
little
ก็
worse
เพน
for
ๆหน่อย
wear
เจอ
up
วิ
against
ก
the
เตอร์
range advantage that
ฉี
UCAL
ดเรื่
does
อย
have. Ruler also had to go back quite early, and so LazyFeel with a decent advantage down here towards this bottom side.
Ruler's inventory looks
Dolan
so
Bo
funny because it
Kog'Maw
just looks like
ตี
the
เร็ว
same item at different angles.
Yeah,
ๆเอาจริง
true.
มันก็มีดูดเลือดยกเว้นมันไม่มีเลือดครับ
Doran
เลือด
really did just
80
copy the recurve.
เรียกว่าห่างกันอะ
As Canyon does land a few of these the daggers, but is otherwise not going to look for much more than that. As Chovy and UCAL continuing to fight. Willa just going to be following the dog around the jungle, though, as we can see. Great
จะ
polymorph
มาแย่งเหรอ
onto Lazy Field here. Will deny that trade, but that light sling is somehow landing.
แต่ว่ามีส
Pretty
มัย
powerful as wow. That smite came down from the sky as we trade some R buttons.
Tend to do that.
Yeah, it does.
การต่อสู้
It's kind of a way. Never really thought of it like that.
Well, Will is looking, but he has been spotted now.
แต่พี่เพิ่งรู้ว่าท่าสองของหมาแม่งโกงมากเลย
Coming on down.
มันทั้งวิ่งเร็วทั้งเพิ่ม
And in
AD
fighting, this does go untargetable to try and avoid some of that damage and just flips over the wall. We'll be all right. But Willer is also keeping him at bay. Exactly right. Canyon's in a bit of trouble. Duro is going to make his way over, though. The rest of KRX really do want to try and do something about this. Canyon's out of this fight completely. Lazy Field is so low, though, as Ruler looking for some angles. And Willer, he's forced to flash. It's the flash forward from Duro to grab first blood for the Lulu.
Canyon was just keeping Willer at bay for the most part, getting chunked out, losing the trade, but chunking him down. So when Willer says, you know what, I'm going for your bot lane, he's already lost enough health. And he's really made the play happen. A great polymorph from Duro, and the Kog'Maw Lulu showing why it is such a strong combo.
Yeah, working out very, very nicely. He's here on this top lane. Pressing Q is keen, but let's have a look at this replay one more time.
So Willer's already like 45% HP, comes in and gets polymorphed immediately, isn't able to stack up a knock up on a ruler, has to flash away and then just goes down. And a lot of summoners been. Lazy Field just surviving because of the barrier there.
And the spectator bug looking super weird.
โอ้ยดีให้ตัวเองกับลูกด้วยมันตีแรงแล้วด้วยเป็นลมเยอะมากนะฮะ
That confused me a lot. But thankfully it made the noise.
แล้วมันวิ่งเร็วด้วยเว้ยมันเพิ่มเวนสปีดเพิ่ม AD 5 วินั่นแหละคือกดพี่ไปดูใครเล่นมันแล้วมันกด W แล้วมันไล่ตีแบบเล่นวาลาดอ่ะเขาเล่นวาลาดแล้วแบบไล่ตีวาลาดจนแบบครึ่งหลอดอ่ะแล้วแม่งก็ยืนในพุ่มแล้ววาลาดก็เดินมาปุ๊บจุดไฟแล้วเดินตีอีกทีตายเลยฟาก
I feel like especially as the game has progressed with things like Sion Ultimate
คือเวลหนึ่งหมาไปอยู่ในพุ่มปุ๊บเจอวาลาดกด W เดินตีจึกครึ่งหลอดเชนมาด้วยครับผมรอบนี้
It's just the Shen delivery. Willa tries to take the scuttle exit, and that will be denied as Canyon going to grab the second kill.
มันลุมมาน้องดูดิมันมีทั้งหมา2ตัวแล้วแม่งก็มีเชนลงมาอีกอ่ะโอ้โห
Oh goodness, the polymorph is pretty powerful.
4 ลุม 1เหรอ
As the culling comes down, but Lazy Field may just die. Has to dash away.
Yeah, Ruler about to get his ultimate. He's trying to get the level. There it is.
Yeah, looking artillery coming down, but it is relatively low range at rank 1.
คือปกติก็คือเมมมานี่คือแบบชิวๆแล้วดับแบบชิวๆแล้วดับชิวๆกลายเป็นว่าแบบเล่นโคตรชิวอ่ะ
Yep. But we have the confirmation that it was
เจอกับ T1 วันเสาร์นี้ก็ดับชิวๆอยู่บ้างนะ
have the same build.
ไม่ต้องเมมอะไรเยอะไม่ต้องแบบแบนบ่งบาดอะไรเงี้ยไม่ต้องขนาดนั้นหรอกเมมแบบเกิน
Spear Shojin first and like a more bruiser.
ก็ชิวๆกันบ้าง
The Fury build. Canyon is going straight for the Cyclo Sword. He's abusing the new item.
That's my boy.
And that item is disgusting. I mean, just ults in and Willer's level 5, not able to contest, really, not able to disengage with it. And with no flash, it's just an easy pickings for the combo of that Neferi Shen.
And Canyon is the guy that just plays lethality champions into Xin Zhao and kills him all the time. Like, he was the guy that Kazakh'd Ona, if you remember, in that final.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he's just making it work in a similar vein this time around. Brutalizer completed.
เชนก็ขึ้นไททานิก
I know it's been back for a little while now, but
คืออยากรู้ว่าอย่างเงี้ยคือแคนยอนจะขึ้นเป็นอะไร
so good back in the
โปร
day.
เฟนหรือว่าเป็นไอ้
So
เฮ้ย
incredibly
อยากเห็นอ่ะอยากเห็นโมทายอีกอ่ะมันต้องมันๆนะบอกว่าโมทายอีกแพทเก่งๆนะเว้ย
But Rich is also doing fine.
รีตอริตี้มันเพิ่มโคตรเยอะ
Kind of happy, just scaling up.
มาแล้วครับโมทายอีก Holy shit แคนยอน
So the way they change this item is it now procs your energize on abilities once you've completed it. You get extra
คือตอนนี้ถ้าใครที่ไม่ได้เล่นนะผมไอ้โวทายอีกเนี่ยมันไม่ต้องตีแล้วก็ได้ใช้สกิลโดมแล้วก็ท็อปไปตัวโวทายอีกได้เลยแรงปะดาเมจเยอะมากแต่ว่าไม่กล้าเข้าอ่ะเพราะว่าโชวีไม่อยู่คือถ้าเกิดมันเอเนอร์ใจครบ 100% ใช่ป่ะมันโยนสกิลหรือตีมันจะทำดาเมจ 7% เคอร์เรนต์เลือดแล้วก็เพิ่ม ไอ้โจมตีจุดตายประมาณ15และไอเทมมี13แม้เท่ากับโจมตีจุดตายเป็น28วะมึงเยอะมากอะ
Now the flash in, but the polymorph is instant. Duro has been too good on this Lulu at denying any of the action, but Rich, he's dominating forward. The flash from Duro, and Ruler is looking a little too tasty. He's going to get taken down. Oh no!
อ๋อเลยตอนที่โอ้ไม่ตาย
Lazyfield does have the barrier to deal with it. Otherwise, he would have been definitely dead.
เป็นขออภัยครับไอเทมมันมีอยู่10เราได้ไป15ดาเมจเป็น 9% ถ้าตัวตีใกล้ 7% ถ้าตัวตีไกลเลือดเคยเล่นเลือดเนี่ยดูแต่มันเคยเล่นเลือดเนี่ยตัวตีใกล้จะเป็น 9% ใช่ป่ะแต่ว่าถ้าเกิดสมมติว่าเลือดครึ่งหลอดก็จะเหลือประมาณ 4.5 เพราะมันเคยเล่นแล้วแต่ว่าไอตัวโจมตีจุดตาย25มันเยอะมากกับไอเทมชิ้นเดียวอ่ะแล้วมันไม่ต้องตีแล้วไงเล่นหมาโยนคิวก็คือนับละแต่พวกโวทาอีกอ่ะข้อเสียหลักๆเลยคือเช่นมาแต่ว่า
But that means that Kane, now with no teleport or ulti, is going to be a long way away from this turret. And Lazyfield will get a barrier out from Ruler.
So my general view of Shen is that the ult feels so much better when you're being proactive. Like when Canyon dove in for that fight and had the ult on top, that's exactly what you want for the Shen. What feels bad is when you ult to stop a kill happening, you don't really get any benefit other than mitigating a play, and you just lose so much on the other side of the map.
คือข้อเสียของโวทาอีกคือต้องเล่นกับตัวที่มันท็อปแดชแบบเล่นแบบตัวแดชจะดีเพราะว่ามันจะเก็บสแต็กง่ายตัวไม่แดชมันจะจืด
Still a decent lead. By decent, I mean they still have a lead as GENG. But KRX really answering very nicely as our buttons just getting thrown around here. Ruler does have his Rage Blade now completed. So that is first item done. Lazyfield as well, Essence Reaver is done, and he is really playing like a man possessed today. Was the only one with a gold lead, but now Rich is going to join him. So KRX, I mean, this is looking very similar to last time these two teams met, right?
แต่ข้อเสียของโวทาอีกอย่างก็คือไม่มีสโลว์แล้ว
I was thinking they would struggle with some of these trades into the Kog'Maw Lulu, especially as they're extended.
ไม่งั้นมันจะโกงไป
But they're able to handle it pretty well there. Rich just finishes stacking up his coal in this matchup.
A good movement there as well to avoid the shadow dash.
อันนี้แกล้งเวโชวี่หรือเปล่าครับ
So just pretty happy
เฮ้ย
Crocodile.
โหป๊อกกี้ชีท
Doesn't have his teleport for the next little while though, so not going to
ลองเล่นแอนนี่เจอกับวิกเตอร์ดิเล่นยากมากเลยเว้ย
Moving towards his top side, Keen looks for the taunt, does not get it. Keen not pulling the trigger on the taunt flash.
Yeah, I'll just take that summoner.
ไม่คุ้มครับเมื่อกี้
That situation. Ardent Sense
ได้แฟกก็คือโอเคแล้ว
here for Duro with the Ginsus from Ruler, pretty strong combo, but Andal has that Echoes of Hellion completed as well.
โชวี่ CS คือ152วันนี้คือมัน
his item as well pretty quickly as Lazyfield now with the culling. Ruler down to 50%, but Lazyfield as well looking a little bit worse.
หมาเห่า Oh my god.
And he just stands his ground. I mean, it looked very, very close, but now Chovy's moving in, looking for Andal. He will find the stun. There's the ulti from Canyon, and that is going to guarantee it. Down goes the Melio, and Canyon uses doggos to tank up the turret as well.
Lazyfield trying to make the aggressive play, but the sustained damage and the protection of this combo allows Ruler to turn the play around. Does get
item spikes as well, really helping out.
Yeah. So using the minions here to block some of the culling. And just getting the damage down as Lazyfield goes aggressive. The protection for Ruler as well. You see the damage from the Mega Fire Kick. Then he takes him down in here. Chovy goes in and just Qs. You know, knows that he doesn't have to try and outplay Andal when you have a point-and-click stun. Tracks the flash. Canyon's there for the cleanup. And there's a big influx of gold for GENG, adding about 1,000 gold to their lead they had before.
Yeah, and it was really
แล้วเป็นรองเท้าดูดเลือดครับผมกับลูเลอร์ครับผมคุณผู้ชม Oh my god รองเท้าใหม่ดูดเลือดตานี้เหมือนชิวจัดแหละ
Canyon on the Krugs right now. So it is going to be Chemtech Soul the second time today, Orcs. I mean, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but it's just happening more and more. UCAL taking some damage here as we have our buttons traded once again. And Willa fighting against Canyon, the Cyclist Sword working out here. As Rich trying to get around this minion wave. Polymorph comes on in once again as Ruler wanting to get some plate value where he can. Canyon could be in some trouble. Is of course the Neferi, so it can bounce over walls and go untargetable, so it'll be alright.
That's one of the things with Neferi is that obviously the W is a great tool for disengaging. The E is on such a short cooldown. You really have to kind of mess up to get caught out. So even though
อย่างที่บอกอ่ะมันควรเป็นตัวที่มีแดชหน่อยเนี่ยมันได้เก็บไอตัว Energize ไปบ่อยได้
Do you see Genji's bot lane putting more pressure down on the top side?
หรือเป็นตัวที่สามารถเคลื่อนที่ได้อย่างคล่องแคล่ว
A lot of plates being picked up but not able to
มันทำได้ไหม
translate to a
มันก็
tower
ได้
yet.
แต่ว่าโยมูกับมานามูเนะดีกว่าปะ
Stand United is off cooldown, so Genji has a lot of ability to make plays, especially if Canyon's anywhere near Duro. Can make things
แต่
very
เอาจริง
hard.
ป่ะถ้ามาแทนโยมูแม่งก็อาจจะแบบได้ลองเหมือนกันนะเพราะว่า
Yeah.
คือถ้าเก็บ Energize เต็มใช่ป่ะแต่ปัญหาคือมันตีมินเนี่ยนแล้วมันติดเว้ยมันต้องแบบ
Yeah, certainly looks like it.
มันต้องไม่ตีมินเนี่ยนนะมันต้องใช้สกิลให้โดนอ่ะ
Canyon very close to his black
น่าจะแรง
as well as Lazyfield taking some damage from Ruler. Caustic Spittle coming on down as he gets the extra movement speed and
มี
man.
แฟตมีบาเรีย
This Lucian just cannot really
ทีมไม่
trade
พร้อม
at
ที่
this
จะ
point in
ที
time.
ไอ้ยัน
As
ตี
Ruler
ไปช่วย
walking up towards Willow
รูเลอร์โอ้
has to
โดนสโล
sidestep the living artillery as UCAL coming on over gets
ต้องปล่อย
down a
แล้ว
gravity well, but that is all he's really able to offer.
โอ้เจนจีเล่นเอาจริงจัดเลยอ่ะ
Not much of a response.
This Cog Lulu just posing such a threat right now.
เอาจริงเกินนะเว้ย
KRX aren't able to like step up and threaten. He can just get so much damage down to anyone in range, and this composition from KRX is pretty short range. There's no one who's that capable of outranging Ruler other than the culling. That's the only thing that's really a threat. The Arcane Storm can get dropped on you. Those are kind of the concerns, but otherwise, you can kind of just free fire.
Yeah, and they take down their
มันเป็น
second
ตัวเวท
turret
ไม่
of
ใช่
the
เหรอ
game. Keen destroying the top lane and Ruler destroying mid. So 3.3k is what this gold lead has expanded to. King goes back, buys some shoes. Dusk and Dawn probably going to be
กลาง
coming
คืน
in
มีโจร
next.
สลัดไหมครับแชทมีครับวัน
History
นี้
has taught us
วันนี้อาจารย์
anything
ฟุกมาด้วย
about
นะ
what our pros like to build on the gen. Honestly, I feel like you can build so many items.
ก็แคชชัพกันไปวันนี้มีพี่บิ๊กมาเดี๋ยว
Yeah, just
พี่สร้างบ้านรอแล้วก็แคชชัพกันไป
Ruler built the wrong item and refunded it, but it came up with what's it called? The I don't know why it slipped my mind. Fiend Hunter Bolt.
Like the Fiend. Yeah.
And I was like,
up with that.
I was like, huh. And then he refunded it and went Navori. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
that looks better.
This kind of just gives you so much W uptime as long as you're able to hit targets with your W. You can see in the bottom left the cooldown and get refunded while you're using your W. So he's still got his W up and the cooldown is back up.
That's ludicrous. It's now Canyon getting turned on here.
Canyon
Might need to
had
flash away and does so. Gets Wild Growth, a very defensive one, but still will keep him alive. And didn't have to invest too much on the side of KMDRX, right? It's just a culling.
Yeah.
That'll be off cooldown pretty soon. So the problem is they invest a lot of position on the map.
Yeah, they do. And you can just see how much presence there is, though, from, again, from this bot lane duo. But yeah, the Navori just means that one of the big weaknesses of Kog'Maw is...
yeah, W or bust, right?
สู้โชวีโดนตำหมามาช่วยอยู่เมียนตีไม่มีครับค่าได้เช่นมา
I think has overextended. Teleport from UCAL as well may immediately be regretted as the reset comes on forward and it's a double kill
ไม่โดนแต่ว่าตายอยู่ดี
Neferi.
เช่น
Now an angry Pandemonium Tibbers is running on top of them as Keen gets a big old shield. He's going to survive as Ruler is now just hitting them with all of his buttons from a very long way away. Shelly also getting involved. She's going to get a charge onto the turret. Won't be able to take it down just yet. Canyon will be able to take down this Brambleback. And Genji off to a 6,000 gold advantage in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, Tibbers does miss there onto Rich, and he thinks, okay, well, this is my time to go. Unfortunately, there's a ton of backup.
รอฟูลี่
We kind of highlighted the chef before, but it just...
พอฟูลี่ตันปุ๊บก็คือหลอดขาวเพิ่มขึ้นมาทันที
These two champions, not a great time. Ruler even jumps in to follow up. The bleed from Neferi taking him out.
Yeah.
And for those who do
คือ
have
มันไม่รู้
gluten intolerance,
คือ
Ruler's build is no longer okay for you.
That's one for you, Hysterics. I hope you're doing
คือลิส
okay.
ไม่ได้เหมือนตั้งใจจะจัดการแต่แรกมันเหมือนคิดด้นสดเลยเพราะว่าถ้าเกิดมั่นใจว่าจะจัดการแต่แรกมันน่าจะต้องอันติจากในพุ่มแล้วพุ่งออกมาพร้อมแบบอันติแล้วมันจะได้แบบฟูลี่พอเว้ยพอมันพุ่งมาแบบนี้ปุ๊บแบบอันติมันไม่ทันแล้วอะมันต้องตันอันติมันก็จะไม่แรงไงไม่มีไซเบเกอร์เลยเมื่อกี้ก็ไม่มีสโลว์โชวีโคตรรวย
You've locked it in. Yeah. It's just a little bit more fun. That's all right. Canyon taking some damage here from Willa. Might be able to offer a little bit back, but does get fiery kicked. And that is going to be the end of that. Still, there is KRX who did manage to pick up Double Dragon. Will they be able to get Triple Dragon, though, is the question. And by the amount of damage Willa took, I think the answer might be no. As Chobi taking some damage here. Tibbers just gets pulled back, and Willa is out of this fight. So that is going to be GENG walking down the street with not much of a response.
Such a struggle for KRX to push up here. I mean, they have 2 dragons in the bag, so it's not the end of the world that this one goes over GENG, especially with it being a Chemtech soul, but this gold discrepancy once again, it's not as extreme as game 1.
แล้วแคนยอนแกไปเอาแบล็คเคเวอร์ต่อเลยนะ
It still feels extraordinarily extreme as Canyon just going to ult on top of Lazyfield. And the living artillery comes down. There's Willa finding a bit of an angle here as Canyon just bounces his way out, almost survives. So when becomes lightning does go wide, but Willa able to walk it off with the help of Andal and all of his buttons. And so they take down Canyon and they lose no one.
Insane that Will is able to get out of that again. Andal coming in clutch there to save his jungler. And now Keen stepping up.
ถ้ามันต้องเป็นแบบว่าโชว์จินแล้วก็แบบ
I don't know whether they're going to be able to
โชว์จินแล้วก็
It is just a dead Willa. Keen just walks up and cues him with some of these autos. It does have to flash to get himself out. The Shadow Dash does finally come off cooldown.
Yeah, the Shen burst is just a little bit obscene.
Yeah.
I'll say very impressive for Will.
แล้วคีนจะออกดัสเซนดอนนะ
I spoke too soon.
Well, I mean, in that moment it was, and then afterwards it wasn't.
Yeah, Lazyfield dashing towards his jungler. The expectation was he dash towards the tower. He's very low on HP though after the ult combo, and then Will it diving in on the Canyon, keeping up with him. That heal from the ult.
ไม่โดนไอ้ท่าคิวของแคนยอน
Keeping Willa alive, but then just a little bit of an overstep here. It's like he's a Shen. What's he gonna do?
Did Duro get the Raptor? I think he might have.
I didn't see, but perhaps.
Not massively important, but it is funny.
Yeah, it's crazy how low Andal and Lazyfield both ended up on the back end of Ruler's ult connecting. Definitely scary.
Yeah. What's also scary is a Chobi
ผมไม่กดเล่นๆมันรู้เก่งแต่พี่ทับที่ทำให้ทุกอย่าง
Yeah. There was a lot of health stacking.
Deathfire touch with burns, but yeah, not build. I mean, I think he's maybe going to 3rd.
I mean, he's definitely going to build it this game.
Yeah.
It's just weird that like he normally builds at first item.
He does love that item. Actually, doesn't he normally go Malignance into Rocket Belt on Annie?
Yeah, oftentimes that would be the thing.
Whereas he went Leandries.
Maybe that's just the way he's evolved the build. And the culling is going to hit onto Ruler. Let's get shielded though as another ult in from Canyon. Finds the triple man. Wild growth there as well. And the Crescent Guard, I don't think is going to be guarding anything at all. Down they go. One after the other. Yuko another. Pretty unfortunate teleport to say the least as Rich just gets a mega cone out of there.
GG ครับผม
And now this gold lead has erupted.
Seeing to great effect the Neferi Lulu combo.
วันนี้เป็นวันที่แบบว่าคือน้องๆเขาเล่นไม่จริงจังกันหมดเลยทั้งทีวันทั้งเจนจีเขาเล่นจริงจังเกินเลยคุณผู้ดูก็แบบว่า
because now it heals the Shen.
Well, yeah, it
becomes more immortal, I guess.
It's got a little less stats on it, but the healing pretty powerful in duels or even just in a team fight. Here, though, that combo.
แม่นะคอมโบมันสวยจริงๆคือลูลูเนี่ยเล่นกับตัวอะไรที่พุ่งเข้าไปใกล้ๆศัตรูนี่ไม่ว่าจะเป็นวูคองน็อกเคิลแล้วก็ลูลูอันติมันสโลด้วยบางคนอาจจะไม่รู้พี่ก็ไม่รู้บางคนรู้ไหมลูลูมันสโลได้อันติมันอะคือตัวที่อยู่ใกล้รอบลูลูอันติมันนั่นแหละสโลซีแล้วสโลอีก
And I can confirm that back when we had that previous replay, Duro did indeed get the Raptor.
Oh my god, that damage onto Rich is just ungodly.
It's not fair.
เช่นแบบเวอร์ชันแบบไททานิกดัซเซนดอน
also did get buffed on this patch to now it operates different for ranged and melee so melee champions get more ability haste per AD
หรือการดับอย่างเงี้ยทำให้ทอมอ่ะ
so yeah even
คือ
better
ลูกทอมเหมือนเจนจีรู้ว่าทอมอาจจะแบบสั่งลูกทีมให้มาดูวิธีเล่นของเจนจีอะไรอย่างงี้ป่ะก็เลยแบบดับเพื่อปิดแผนแบบพอต้องเจอกับทีวันสัปดาห์หน้าก็เลยแบบเก็บแผน
yeah and just spamming your Q because not only is it a lot of damage but you get the healing as well if you hit 2 so
what's going on here this is an Annie walking a crocodile down and in the meantime there is a siege towards his bottom side Lazyfield was coming on over to see whether he could assist Rich
วันนี้มีตัวสารมันงามไหมครับมีครับยกมันก็สโลว์แบบปั๊มไม่ว่าตัวไหนที่ยกได้
back away and then move on back to take down this inhibitor
คือมันจะเหมือน
just the war of attrition is something that KRX cannot handle
yeah, you can see Ruler getting the damage down on the tower here. It looks like they're trying to set up for a play. There's no deep TP wards though.
Yeah, Kane is going down very low. Still does not have flash. So Duro is going to have to help him. The wild growth is going to be employed. Oh, look, United is going to be there. Let's see whether Kane is going to make his way back in. Canyon has to go untargetable and is just obliterated. The 1 versus 5 was an optimistic angle. We were applauding his proactivity. That might be a step.
That was a little too proactive, yeah.
Yeah. There's proactive and then it's there's
the
other thing. Is Ruler's gonna have to flash, but he's then able to do a fair bit of damage. Send United comes on forward. The Vikings brilliant to make sure that he goes down, and Rich is the one to punish him. King, what the hell was that damage? As he just kills Lazyfield.
I think that's the Cogmore in combination.
It was that as well. But Rich now going to try and fight Chovy here. Duro moving on over to support. And there are 4 left alive.
จะตายหมดหรือว่าไม่กล้าว่ะชูวี่รวยไม่เอาดีกว่าเอาโซพอยด์ด้วย
play coming out from KRX on the back of some Chovy.
Well, he is going to dive towards Yukal here as Wim becomes lightning but doesn't connect. Onto Chovy. Q does land and Chovy is looking a little worse for wear. Gets the molten shield though.
Oh my god.
Simmers will get angry, but I don't think it's going to be angry enough to kill Will it, or will it?
Oh, the burn?
Yeah, the burn is doing a whole lot of work. And Canyon,
he's
back. And so no dragon for KRX.
มีแฟด
As he gets it.
ได้หมดโอ้ยวิลล่าโอ้โหแต่ว่าได้อยู่แล้วรีเซ็ตกับผม
An instant triple. And yeah, I don't think Lazyfield wants any part of this.
Oh, and the kick from Andal was so good.
แล้วมาแล้วไงในส่วนของ
has he just saved his entire team? The answer sadly was no. Canyon able to find the first kill, get those resets in and clean that up. This was a very long passage of play. And very overextended, yeah. There's no TP flank from like a Renekton, so they are able to just walk it out. But then Canyon comes in, and it's like, I'm so strong. I can do this. Keen ult me.
I'm flanking.
Keen doesn't ult him. Keen's like, I'm going to go heal in base. I'm going to save my ult for someone else who's not as crazy as Canyon is right now.
Yeah, I can see Keen's expression when he was saying, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, and then he does ult in on a Ruler, and Ruler just dies. And then it was this burst combo of Keen's damage and the Cogmore that cut the kill there.
So the Acapian surprise is part of what caught me by surprise there. So named correctly, very nicely done.
Now though, you see GENG taking a lot of these structures, only 1 inhibitor left. And Wave is coming in now. That turret is not long for this world.
แฟดแต่ว่ามีทั้งระฆังมีทั้งมีเลโอ
Still they take down the turret. Rich turns up. Great knock up with wild growth, but Keen will be taken out.
โอ้คีนไปแล้วอ่ะ
KRX looking a little worse for wear, but they're the ones
หมา
that
ไม่มี
grab
ตี
the
ด้วย
kills. Willa goes in and then he goes out. Oh, that was
วิลเลอร์พยายามจะ
yeah,
จะเล่นเพลย์นี้ครับจะเป็นเพลย์ต่อเนื่อง
As KRX
จะ 4-5 นะมันแบบพุ่งเข้าไปปุ๊บคือแบบหายเลยเจอแบบแอนนี่ผสมหมาผสมแบบคอกมอ
First one is going to be taken down. The next one soon to follow. As the poke is just kind of ludicrous here. Chovy finds an angle onto Rich there as well. Does get that stun down. As every time a dagger lands, I get terrified for someone just bleeding to death.
12 seconds on Willa.
Yeah, Chovy looking for an angle here. Doesn't get stunned up as the living artillery is so problematic.
หมาไปดูแล้วโอ้โหถ้าเกิดมีแฟนได้หมาเข้าไปอ๋อหมาอ้าวหมารอด
Glazyfield and Yukal are the victim of that one. Willa now on the fountain as
เชนลงมาแบบอย่างไว
taken out. There's the triple for Ruler. Will they let him pick up the penta? No, because Chovy just kills the Nexus. Oh my god.
ดึงดึงดึงดึงดึงดึง
He
ดึ
does
ง
it
ดึงดึง
as
ดึงดึ
Genji
ง
pick up the 2-0 in Hanoi. What a dominant
2-0 นะผมเจนจีก็ยังคงรักษาไว้ได้ครับอันดับ 3 สบายๆครับต่อให้ทีวันชนะวันอาทิตย์นี้ก็ยังไม่สามารถแซงได้
Absolutely.
Denying multiple teammates from getting those throughout the 2 games, but a very convincing match. You know, KRX were hopes that they'd be able to replicate the competition that we had in that match earlier in the season, but it felt like it just fueled
พี่แอบเสียใจเหรอที่เจนจีไม่แพ้
with no punches held back and to demonstrate
คือเราจะมาโฟกัสหนีไม่ได้เว้ยพูดตามตรงคือแบบว่าเราก็ไปดูเอาไปเล่นนี่ดีกว่าโจรสลัดน้ำมันงาดีกว่าเปลี่ยนชื่อกัน